Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
It's all on the line. Here we go.
And the moment of truth has arrived.
What a match-up this is. What a game.
The umpire holds the footy up.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on earth.
On ABC Sport, this is the AFL.
Oh, there's a bit to get excited about.
The intensity and the pressure in the ball is unbelievable.
Take your moment. This is that moment of the game of footy.
This is just football at its best.
And that'll be it. From walking on thin ice to dancing on the mountaintop, the Brisbane Lions never stopped believing. And they are the champions.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
He curled the through for a magnificent goal.
Comes out, gathers, snaps, goal.
An extra bit of class.
He smashed that through. What a kick. Goes bang with everything he's got.
They are leaving nothing out there.
Listen to the roar.
The drop punt. He's gone. And the building is jumping. We know he's a big shot taker. He's a big shot maker. Leans back on the kick. Game on.
Like camera action, baby. Countdown to contact.
From the right forward on it. Oh, he's a sharpshooter, all right.
Step up in the big moment.
Close to the man on the mark. Drop punt. He's there. Gathers. Snaps. He'll bring the house down.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
He'll put it on the boot. Kick up towards the logo.
You take a seat, cause it don't get better than
He
this.
defies the laws of gravity.
He runs onto it 50 from goal. He's in Dusty's pocket. He shoots. Oh, he's as bloody good as Dusty. Oh, yeah.
Rose snaps goal. The drop punt. It's good. And you can hear that body roar.
Walks one way and the next and the snap. There's the finish.
60 out. Oh my goodness. That's a massive kick. Big time spot. Big time goal kicker.
That's why we love football.
Brilliant to watch.
From the centre wicket. Whacks it for six. Scores level.
Running pass. Throws it on the left. Could that be the sealer?
Seconds ticking down. We're not done yet. What a finish.
Welcome to the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport. On radio, on digital, and on the ABC Listen app.
You take a seat, cause it don't get better than this.
Welcome to Kardinia Park in Geelong as round 9 of the AFL continues. Two sides have been heading in different directions in recent weeks. The Cats have won 4 of their last 5 matches, surviving a Jack Crisp shot after the siren to win by 3 points over the Magpies. They bring back Graham Myers alongside Ted Closey and Jed Buse in for his first game of 2025. A win today will bump the Cats up 1 spot on the ladder to 6th on the AFL table. Well, the Giants are hoping to return to a happy hunting ground. They've won their last 4 here at Kardinia Park. And the Giants, having won 4 of their first 5, have now lost their last 3 matches. Sydney, the Western Bulldogs and Adelaide in recent weeks. They have played just the 3 games in Sydney, though, through the opening 9 rounds of the AFL season. So 4 points today would certainly get them on the climb back inside the AFL's top 8. They will also have their second debutant of 2025. Cody Angrove will make his debut for the Giants this afternoon, with Jake Riccardi also returning. And Tom Green celebrates his 100th game for the Giants this afternoon. Matt Clinch with you for Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Great to be alongside Ben Cameron once more. Welcome to you, Benny.
Hello, Clinchy. Great to be here, and happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there celebrating today. I hope they've got their feet up, they've had some breakfast in bed, and maybe enjoying a nice lunch with ABC Sport on in the background. But good game of footy, and GWS, as you alluded to, Clinchy, certainly throughout your show, they've won their last 4 games down here against Geelong at Kardinia Park, and no other team has done that more than twice. So they are certainly on a streak down here against the Cats, and looking forward to seeing if they can do that again, given their 3-game losing skid.
I'm not sure if you picked up Cameron Ling and his memories of Toby Green taking over down here at Geelong. They certainly lived in his memory. There's no late changes for either side, with Joey Delano, one of the other debutants for the Giants this season. He'll be the sub, while Ted Closey for the Cats. Great to have Daniel Harford with us on a Sunday afternoon. Welcome to you, Harf.
Good afternoon, everybody. Don't think I don't know what's happening here.
What's
that?
that?
I think I don't know what's happening, and I'm blaming you two front and centre.
Okay.
I haven't been around the ABC commentary box for a couple of weeks now.
Well, you were part of the Hawthorn celebrations last week.
About a month. You've ditched me. You've put me on the bench for about a month, and all of a sudden it's Mother's Day in Geelong. Don't pretend you don't know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what's going on here. Very excited to be here for a great game of footy. Happy Mother's Day to my mum, Denise, who I spoke to on the way down.
Waited until the car ride down
That's
to give her
what
a
I
call.
did too.
Oh, it's Mother's Day.
Okay.
I had my wife to deal with this morning, and the children getting involved there, shenanigans, and the mother-in-law, just to catch up with Anne this morning. And she said to me, well, tell them this. GWS need to get their bums into gear. That's what my mother said on the phone call down. So that's a message for Adam Kingsley and co.
Oh, you
That's
set it
the
up
best
beautifully.
analysis we've had out of a Harford in a long time.
Well, we are very glad to be dragging you away from the Harford banquet and joining us down at the Cattery on a Sunday afternoon. Great to have the three-time All-Australian AFLW Carlton captain, Karen Peterson, on this Mother's Day. Welcome to you, Kez.
G'day, Clinchy and team. Yes, happy Mother's Day to everyone. And for those who find Mother's Day a little bit difficult, thoughts are with you. But what a privilege to be working with Half again. So I'm looking forward to this one. The footy's going to be great. The commentary, I'm sure, is going to be great. And I'm looking forward to it.
What's it like, Half, when you're in a side that's not quite clicking at the moment, as is the case of the Giants, but you're coming back to a happy hunting ground? Do you refer to it in the team meetings? Do you remind everyone of the good times and try and lean into that recent history?
Yeah, not so much on game day, I wouldn't think, but I reckon it's a conversation you have through the week about the fact that, we're just not a little bit off our tucker at the moment, but we get to go to a place now this weekend, obviously today for them, for the Giants' sake, and we've had great success and we know how to play the ground. It's obviously a unique ground, and that's why Geelong have a significant advantage here with the dimensions of the ground, the way it's formed. But the Giants they've found the key to unlock the secrets of Kardinia Park, and that's what I'd be selling through the week, that despite the fact it's not perfect at the moment, we get a chance to come up against an opposition we know really well on a venue we're really good. So sell that message, absolutely sell that, get them to buy into that, and then you can tweak with what you need to in terms of game plan and strategy.
What's your read, Kez? Is there a bit of sort of fake it till you make it? Sometimes as you captain the club, you try and instill everyone right. We've had some good times here. Maybe we're not the dominant force. I think everyone thought the Giants would be there come September, but it's sort of a big game this afternoon. In order to stay in touch with the 8, they don't want to find themselves sneaking too far down the ladder. And yet you look at their lineup, and there's still a few young players who are in this side.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be hitting the panic buttons yet. Adam Kingsley spoke throughout the week about you don't want to be playing your best footy in round 9. You want to be saving that for the back end of the year. So I don't think they'd be selling the message too much about, hey, we're off the boil or we're not quite there yet. I think they'd be saying what we're doing is we're picking out elements of our game that we're improving each week. They'll be coming in here, and the whole notion of the success that they've had down here is just selling a different message to them. The players would know, the coaching staff would know exactly where they're at. So just trying to find a little bit something to hang on to, and as you said, maybe fake it till you make it. I think this ground really suits them. We know that they really like to play the corridor game, and there's a stat that I came across throughout the week that, knowing when I've played down here myself, just how narrow this ground is. When they win, they're number 1 ranked in the AFL with corridor ball movement. When they lose, they're number 18. So they don't want to play the wings. They don't want to play wide. They want to play straight A1 football down the middle in that orange tsunami that we've come to know of the Giants, which hasn't quite been there for the start of this season yet. But I'd imagine that today they'd come down here and go, hey, this ground suits us perfectly. We've had the success here, yes, but this is a totally different ball game with an opposition today, and we need to get back on to our winning ways.
It's almost like from opening round we got a little bit of a false economy because of how good they were and maybe how poor Collingwood were.
Yep.
We all thought, gee whiz, the GWS Giants are on. And maybe they haven't quite lived up to that in the weeks that have followed to be 4-4 on the season now.
Yeah, I think that's right. And they've had a relatively challenging draw too, which is you're going to get when you end up at the top half of the ladder more often than not with the way the fixture is structured. So you need to be good. The teams at the top from the previous year need to be good early because of the way the draw's structured these days. Everyone gets a bit of a look. The bottom teams play each other, the middle teams sort of play each other, and the top teams play each other in the first 5-6 weeks of a new season, the following season. So you need to be good to get a good start. That doesn't mean if you lose a few of those games, you're actually not very good. You've just got to find time to get your rhythm, get your groove. And that's probably another thing that Adam Kingsley could sell to the players today. So it's a bit of a scenario about that, Benny. I reckon that the Pies were they were never going to be ordinary after that first game. They just had a bad day. It can happen in round one, any competition around the country. And the Giants were never going to be the dominant force just because of that one game either. So I don't think, as the old classic would say, it's never as good as it seems, never as bad as it seems.
We love that, don't we?
Mum would have said that.
Yep.
The notion that the Giants are going to run every team off their legs hasn't quite proven to be, and yet they've got some players who certainly would be handy to return. So Josh Kelly's been out with a hip injury, Brett Daniels with an abdomen, Steve Cornelio is still a week away, and Toby Bedford's probably the one that Max Holmes would be relieved is not lining up this afternoon. That would sort of probably be the natural matchup if they are trying to impact his influence on the game.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. Bedford's been enormous for the Giants in that role that he's played. I mean, Darcy Jones, another one who's a pretty handy player too, and a ground like this, which is long and skinny, like Kez was talking about before, his ability to connect the game and connect the play for the Giants is going to be lost out there for them. So that's a bit of a hole for them as well as Bedford. So the Cats come into this, I reckon, bring in Myers. I like Jed Buse when he's out there playing the game. And particularly down here, I reckon he plays this ground really well when Jed Buse is out there. I like the fact that they've got a couple of key ins, and it hurts the Giants getting a couple of those key outs today.
In terms of the Geelong side of things, Kaz, I mean, footy's a funny game. Jack Crisp's goal sales through the middle. We're having a different conversation around the Cats than what we are today. Patrick Dangerfield is playing as the modern-day Tony Modra. How do you sort of see the Cats and Bailey Smith and his super impressive start in the hoops?
I've heard Dangerfield told his teammates that he was Modra-esque at the moment, and he had to explain to his teammates who Modra was. So that just shows you, and being north of 30 myself, I can understand that conversation with some of the younger teammates as well. But look, he's been absolutely enormous. I wondered whether if it was Bedford that he would have gone to Smith today rather than Holmes. I just wonder whether that might have been that sort of more inside, gritty matchup that would have gone. That would have gone to him, but obviously not to be with him out. He's enormous, as you guys have mentioned. So, yeah, look, it's the Cats, as they do, I feel like they're still kind of just floating under the radar. They're just going about their business quietly. I think they'd be a little bit happier had they've got that win last week. There's a big difference between being, 6-2 as opposed to where they are 5-3 at the moment. They're sort of in that pack, but they're playing some pretty good footy. They'd be, by their own admission, I think they were pretty lucky to get away with it last week. There was a few decisions that we've all been over this week that could have gone their way, that did go their way that might not have, and it could have been a different scenario. But, to find themselves down 20 points in the third quarter, get themselves into the position where they were, they're playing some really good footy. I'm tipping them to, you haven't asked me yet, Clinchy, but I'm tipping them to win today. I'm tipping them to break the streak. I think that their form is just a little bit better if it's not going to be for some Toby Green magic, which we've all been witness to down here.
I think Modra and Geelong would have been a beautiful combination as well. The reason being that some of the old Freo boys tell a lot of stories. I'm not sure how accurate, maybe a little embellished, but I used to say that sometimes Mods would just leave training a little early with the surfboard on the roof, chucking their shuckers up out the window, and Damien Drum would say, "Don't worry about him, we've got more training to do, off we go." So he would have liked it down here on the surf coast.
He would have loved
Dodger,
it.
wouldn't he?
Imagine Modra down here during his heyday. My goodness gracious me.
I'm not sure he paid for too many drinks in South Australia from time to time as well. He is a regular ABC listener, so cheerio to you, Tony Modra, who was a part of the Crows Hall of Fame when he got inducted, and Rod Jamison took me up and introduced me. He said, "Oh no, I listen to you guys all the time. I listen to Jamo regularly." So down in Victor Harbour, hopefully you're listening to a Paddy Danger Modra masterclass.
Just dispel those myths that the old Freo boys are spreading, Mods, if that is inaccurate as well.
Who would have got the goal square? Senior or Modra?
Oh, that's a good question.
Would have been a good duo, wouldn't
I'm not sure Gary Senior would move, would he?
No. I'm not sure Gary's doing it.
Who are you?
He's not exactly right.
What's your name? Mine's on the grandstand. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. It's Geelong taking on GWS this afternoon. There's no late changes with Delana and Closey, the subs for their respective sides. It's been an interesting weekend of footy that Pie's got to win against some adversity over the Dockers back on Thursday night. Harry Mackay kicked the winner for the Blues, and then some close finishes yesterday. The showdown with Adelaide prevailing despite the fast finish from Port Adelaide. The Suns with a really significant win up in Darwin. That's 7 straight now they've won up in the top end. And the Bombers just found a way to win over the Sydney Swans. Has there been a result, Kez, and half that sort of caught you more than the other?
Probably the one that I was most interested in was the Gold Coast Bulldogs. Both teams in pretty good form, and the Dogs I was absolutely on the train at the start of the year. I thought, oh, geez, they're going to really struggle here. And, where does Luke Beveridge fit in the grand scheme of things long term? The Tassie thing coming up, they had this enormous, injury list, and where does that fit? But my goodness me, that the form that they've been in has been tremendous. And for the Gold Coast to go up there, that was a real, I think it might have been Cameron Lingett talking earlier today just about the maturity the Gold Coast Suns and the way that they're going about their footy at the moment. They've had a few blips along the way, but they seem to steady. So I think that was probably the one that was most interesting for me.
I was interested in the Essendon-Sydney encounter yesterday. I'm still wary of what Essendon can offer to the competition and certainly to their fans. Sydney have certainly been out of their rhythm so far this year, certainly at home, apart from that win last week against the Giants, which was pretty good. And then the way that game unfolded was fascinating. Like, Essendon dominated the game, get out to a really good lead. And like they've done already a couple of times this year, when they get to a nice lead with plenty of time to play, they go into a different mode, which I think puts them under enormous pressure. And we saw that again yesterday. So that's, from a coaching perspective, I'm looking at it. I wonder if Brad Scott gets a chance to reflect on the last couple of weeks and how they've gone into the different phase of play, different mode of play once they've had the game pretty much in control. Rather than put the foot on the throat and try and extend and squeeze the life out of the opposition, they allow them time. They take pressure off them by put more pressure on themselves to contain the footy and own the footy. And I just reckon that's an area that they could have a look at in this couple of weeks and try and exploit and take advantage of when they do have momentum in the game. They do have the game under control, that they can actually make their lives a hell of a lot easier by continuing the rage.
I'll ask you this question, Clinchy, as someone who lived in South Australia for a 5-year period or whatever it was.
You?
Yeah, I lived there for a couple of years. Yeah.
Little cameo.
Does the Showdown deserve a standalone slot?
Absolutely it does.
Yeah.
It would sit perfectly as a Thursday night game. They would still get their 50,000. It's such a parochial game that if it's an Adelaide home game, the tickets go in a heartbeat. If it's a Port Adelaide home game, a few Adelaide fans contemplate whether they'd ever think about going to a home Port Adelaide Showdown. But I think the calibre of the games deserve the showpiece of being a standalone game. And the frustration of last night is that you watch a little bit of the Bulldogs and the Suns, as Kez mentions. That's such a big game with two top 8 sides, and yet you're wanting to watch both games in their, entirely without being interrupted. So I think probably naturally it would sit best as either a Thursday or a Friday night would be the spot, or otherwise, how do you try and clear up the Saturday night so it's a standalone game? Probably have to play an extra game either on a Saturday or a Sunday night.
So I just committed. I said I'm all in on the Showdown. I'm not going to flick and get stuck and be betwixt and between and just watch just the Showdown. And I felt rewarded because what a game it was with all of the lead changes. It was an excellent...
rewarded.
Yeah.
Well, the other game was pretty good too. The Dogs
it was. I did flick over for the last couple of minutes.
Oh, hang on. Did you commit or not?
Sorry, I tell a fib. When I got a text in our group chat for ABC Sports saying, look, they've just kicked 4 goals in a handful of minutes. There's 3 minutes to go. It's only 3 points. So I flicked it on and watched the last 2 minutes, and then I went back to the Showdown.
It deserves its own.
Yeah.
It's a great rivalry. It's a great contest. And when you've got a scoreline like a head-to-head of 29-28 now after 57 encounters, that's a rivalry. That deserves a slot. We talk about Collingwood Carlton, Collingwood Richmond, Carlton Essendon, all that sort of stuff. Hawthorn Essendon. They're yesterday's rivalries, I reckon. This is a really modern-day one that lives up to it every time.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant contest.
And I like the way that Jake Niall put it on the Sunday Footy Forum, that he said, look, there's these great storied rivalries like Carlton and Collingwood, but this is the hottest, the heat in it. And that goes right back to the history of when Adelaide came to fruition and entered the competition. Port Adelaide wished to. They were declined at that point in time and later came in as the Port Adelaide entity that they are now. So, those feelings do run deep in Adelaide, as you know, Clinchy.
Well, you're at the MCG on Friday night. It was a great occasion for Spud's game between the Blues and the Saints, but would have the Showdown potentially sat better as the Friday night showpiece?
I think certainly. Yeah. The game on Friday night, particularly in the third quarter, was a little bit of an eyesore.
They did get 60-odd thousand of the MCG, which is a great outing. Obviously, the Blues have a large crowd, an army that follows them, Kez, that you know all too well, especially when they're winning. And the Saints, it was a great attendance for what is a fitting occasion. The other team, Luke Beveridge and his Dogs is a curiosity for the whole season, Half and Kez, as to how they kind of manage it. I really was impressed with their fight in that final term when the game looked like it was done. It's going to be an interesting relationship as to once they get to the bye. Is that when they sit down potentially Half and say, righto, I know we said there'd be ongoing conversations. He's out of contract at season's end. The side's inside the top 8, yet the Bulldogs have never been a top 4 side under his leadership. So they won the premiership in 2016, but how do they get that consistency week to week? And maybe the short leash is working best for both club and coach. How do you view it?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting assessment of it. The short leash certainly does seem to be working, but I reckon if I'm looking at both parties, Beveridge versus the Dogs, I think Luke's playing them on a break at the moment. The way he's carried this conversation through and been really...
He's been the best politician over the last 2 months.
He's been brilliant. Absolutely, yes. Would have been a few
Won
teams
the
last week
election.
would have loved him. Would have loved
He
him
would have
last
been
week.
the stand-down winner last week.
A couple of teams would have loved him. But I think he's played him on a break all the way through. He's been handling this magnificently because not many coaches in his situation would be as comfortable to just drag this out publicly. I'm sure there's conversations happening behind the scenes about trying to get this done and organise something for the future. But he's happy to drag this out publicly and say, no, there's nothing to see here. I'm very happy about the way it's unfolding. But I also see the Bulldogs side of things, that Beveridge on edge is good. Beveridge on edge is a really positive thing for that footy club, and what he's been able to do has been phenomenal so far this year. They're a long way from the finished product still, and they've had some challenges obviously with personnel, but I like both angles of this. But if I'm the Bulldogs now, it'll become a point in the next month or so, I reckon, where the fans will say, hang on, what's going on here? So it'll become a fan issue, and they'll have to be the ones that kneel on the back of that, I reckon.
Well, we had Luke Beveridge on AFL Saturday last week in Ballarat, and he said, if it's not done... Oh, actually, I need to get this right. He basically said if it drags on late into the season, you'll probably get the sense that it might not be happening. So I thought that was one of his most telling quotes, that maybe it is, like you alluded to, Clinchy, around the bye that we'll start to expect it to be done. The interesting parallel is with Port Adelaide a couple of years ago. Remember, they left Ken Hinckley off contract throughout the season.
Yeah.
It worked well. They played well right throughout the year, and then they re-signed him just before the finals, and they had a poor final series.
Pear-shaped, yeah.
So, yeah, no pun intended with the pair. The power Port Adelaide, but it did go pear-shaped for the finals, didn't it? So it's tough to know what the right answer is.
Yeah, and look, the players as well will be starting to ask some questions about, where their future sits, and is it going to be Beveridge or is it going to be someone else? And, those players that are on the fringe of getting a game and maybe starting to look around, we're seeing that more and more, and that's just going to continue. That's the way that footy's going to continue to go, where players are assessing options and they want to know what's going on with the coaching staff and what the direction and where they fit with it as well. We're seeing that play out at Freo at the moment, in a totally different conversation, but the same sort of idea over there. So it's a really, really interesting one. I agree with Beveridge's comment, the longer it goes, the less likely we see that with players, all the time. There's a few players at the moment that are sort of floating around with the same idea. Probably Matt Riau's one and Tom DeConey's the other. It never tends to go so well for the team that they're currently playing for the longer that those contract negotiations go out. But the whole idea of it hanging on, I actually really like. I think it's been a really, from the Dogs' perspective, they want to make sure that, going into the season, many people had the same opinion perhaps that I did, whereas I just don't know how this is going to play out. Is he ran his race? Is he tired? Is he still got the same level of passion and those sort of things for the competition and when I say the competition, just being a competitor himself. He's been there, I think it's over a decade now, so I think that was a really smart way to play it, but I think that there's going to come a real crunch point, and I agree, Clinch, I think it's going to be around that bye time where a decision needs to be made for all parties.
You mentioned, Benny, you were down in Ballarat, and Ray Chamberlain went down and spoke to Tom Liberatore, and he kind of made the analogy that Bevo doesn't mind his swimming. Who knows, maybe he might swim into the sunset, and not for 1 second until then. I thought that they might reach a natural end of the season where they shake hands and say, you've been good for us, we've been good for you, maybe it's the right time. I've always thought that's against the grain of Luke Beveridge, that's not the way he'd want the story to end. Maybe they might reach that conclusion, but it wouldn't be the way he'd end the story.
So a couple of things about that. I think one of the TV shows during the week played the clip of Libba's answer. Ray did say, I see him down at the beach.
Right, the context to that.
There was context to his sort of unique answer about he might swim off into the sunset. But I agree with you, Clinchy. I was there listening to it, and I thought, oh, gee whiz, that sort of sounds like maybe this is a last dance, sort of we all ride together one last time feeling within the club. And the only thing I would say is listening to Beveridge earlier on in the day, he's so passionate about the Dogs. The way he talks about the Western Bulldogs is with such reverence and love. So I think he would want to stay there and be there, but I think he's also aware that if they don't want him, he won't overstay his welcome, like he said multiple times. And I could imagine Bevo, being the free spirit that he is, getting a combi van, driving up and down the east coast of Australia, going for a surf, a skateboard, and just having a year off, and he'll come back after that. Would not surprise me one bit.
It's that simple for it, is it?
I think that might be in play, yeah.
Do you know any combi van salesmen?
I reckon Bevo would be able to get one, and up through Noosa, up towards Townsville. I think they've got Crocs up there. You can't swim.
Stay away from there. Yeah.
Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. It's Geelong taking on GWS. I'm just going to move us on.
The game can't let that happen. The game can't let Luke Beveridge, if he doesn't coach the Bulldogs, he needs to stay around, doesn't he?
No, but he said that if he doesn't coach at the Bulldogs next year, he won't coach anywhere. So I think he said that the phrase he used is a practitioner. So he sees himself, I think, as a career coach, but it just might not be with the Bulldogs. It might not be next year. Might be a gap year, so to speak. Which I mean, you've done it. It's a pretty
my gap year stretching
job,
out now. My gap year stretching out to 4. Look at Ken sitting over there just smiling at me. Hey.
Not many coaches get that opportunity, though, do they?
No,
to leave on their own terms. I mean, you and I have had many conversations. You either get sacked or, what is it, you win premierships and you go on into sunset. Not many of them get to do the latter. So to be able to, and I don't know Bevo at all, but from what you're saying, I don't know, it kind of seems like it might fit that he just gets to walk out on his own terms. And not to say that he will, but I'm just saying that if that option was there for him and it was something that he wanted to do, like, I can't see any issue with it whatsoever.
If you're looking for a senior coach, if a club finds themselves in a situation where they're looking for a senior coach, and Luke Beveridge isn't coaching the Western Bulldogs, he's the first 2 phone calls you make, isn't he?
Well, I imagine Tassie, you'd be pretty hot on it at this point in time. I can't imagine that the power brokers down there haven't inquired as to where he's at.
Yeah.
That would be a really obvious call from mine.
So who's the first call? Longmire?
Well, one of the first. Longmire and Beveridge.
I thought you were going to say yourself.
No, I'm third.
Harford.
Simpson's around as well. I mean,
Simpson seems to be enjoying himself at the moment.
Yeah.
He seems to be having a good time.
Bucks is the other one.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Bucks.
Right. You know something there?
No, absolutely not. I'm just...
Sounds like it.
No.
Sounds like you do.
I tend to agree with you, Kez. I think
Thanks,
Nathan
Coachy.
Buckley would like to get back into coaching at some stage. It's just a question of why and when he's ready. It's a very personal choice, and he's got teenage boys and wanting to get into an environment. You asked Justin Longmuir as to how much fun it is at the moment. I'm guessing, where would you have him on your pressure rating meter half? Is he at a 9 or 10 at the moment? Or
He'd be in the most precarious situation in the competition, I reckon. Of all the coaches, he's the one under most pressure. How you rate that? 9 out of 10, whatever it is. He's under pressure.
Yeah, I tend to agree. They want for nothing over at Freo, do they? But they just cannot pull it together. And I wouldn't like to be under the hood there.
No.
the voice of Kez Peterson alongside Daniel Harford, Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action with Lauren Borden down on the boundary this afternoon. You can get in touch with us on the SMS 0437 774 774. At the MCG, the Tigers lead the West Coast Eagles by a point, 8-9-57 to the Eagles 8-8-56. So that's been pretty even throughout the afternoon. There is an ABC call of that available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button, but we'll keep you across it throughout the afternoon. A chance to head inside the Giants camp a little bit earlier. Ben Cameron went down one-on-one style. Had the chance to catch up with the GWS footy boss, Jason McCartney.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm down here with the footy boss at the GWS Giants, Jason McCartney. It's a 3-game skid for the Giants. What's the feeling as to why?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's something probably we're a little bit too familiar with over the last probably 3 or 4 years. For whatever reason, this time of year we've had a flat patch in performance. So we realise components of our game have probably been a little bit clunky. But I suppose we look back at the last couple of weeks too, and the third quarter against the Bulldogs, which their form stacked up, was a bit disappointing. And really last week was a 15-minute patch at the start of the game. Other than that, we felt like we got things back on track to a degree.
I think it's interesting you reference this time of year, because it is this time of year that generally you get kicked out of your home ground at the showground. And
it was a 3-week period out of Sydney, last week away game, but at least we weren't on a plane. So that's just part and parcel of being a Giant. So it probably does contribute to what's been consistent this time of year, is some, the odd flat performance. But we're keen to make amends for it here today, obviously against some real quality opposition.
The last one on this, and we'll move on to today's game, but the talk of selling a game to possibly the MCG or games to Melbourne during this period, how real is that, and what are the footy considerations around that?
I think our CEO Dave Matthews had been on record just chatting about that comment. It's one thing really looking at maybe it's something whilst that Easter show period is on, just the opportunity. Obviously, you're going to play finals footy. It'd only be something you'd actually look at during that time of the year. We certainly don't want to be giving away any of our opportunity to play at home at NG Stadium or our games at Manuka and Canberra.
Cody Angove on debut today. What can you tell us about who he is as a player and what to expect?
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's come in. He was probably pretty close right from the get-go, opening round, to be honest. He just impressed with his speed and the way he takes the game on, and got a really high footy IQ for such a young player. It's only been in since last year's draft. So some really strong form in the VFL, which our VFL side's been going well. Sees him get the opportunity this week, and it's great because obviously we've got a couple of players out that are not only good players, they have some genuine leg speed, so we'll look to replace that with Cody coming in on debut.
The Giants have won their last 4 games, or your last 4 games here against the Cats. No other side has won more than their last 2 against the Cats down here. Why are you guys able to handle what Mick Malthouse tells us is the cigar-shaped ground down here, and how well Geelong managed that ground?
Yep, I wouldn't have a clue. We've just been really good here the last 4 times. So it gives you a bit of confidence, obviously, coming here. But unfortunately, recent history doesn't always transfer to future successes. So, we'd love to keep that streak going today. But, I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Do you guys speak much about the shape of the ground, and does it change much of what you do?
No, look, we have an awareness. Like our T2, our main training session, we obviously mark our ground off to similar dimensions to this. So just that familiarisation and feel. But, I don't think it changes too much how we want to go about things. We're a system-based team with the talent on top of that, so we want to stick to what we do well and play our way.
Jace, always appreciate your time. Best of luck today.
Thanks very much, Ben. Good to chat.
Jason McCartney, the GWS list boss, chatting with Ben Cameron down on the boundary a short time ago. The Giants prevailed in the VFL beforehand by 32 points over the Cats. So they are on top of the VFL ladder, 7 wins and 0 losses. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call all the action. Lauren Borden is down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Kez Peterson are your experts on ABC Sport. We're just a little distracted as that interview was playing out. There was a shot of a little flag that had been set up in the middle of Cardinia Park with a golf club to try and win $30,000 for prostate cancer. Nikki Buckley was there. Cameron Ling, our own, was there. Alston Nicholson was there. And none of them managed to hit the bullseye.
No, you're selling this. You're being really nice here. They were ordinary. No, they were really disappointing.
If we put a 40-metre ring circumference out from the pin, there wouldn't have been many balls inside it, would it, Half?
No, it was a disgraceful performance by all those pseudo-celebrities you named.
Not all of
and
us.
as a result, the charity missed out on the cash.
Well, that's a setback, isn't it?
Not all,
find a way for them to get the money.
Not all of us can travel to Monterey to play golf at the most famous, one of the most famous golf courses in the world, like Daniel Harford, but so be it.
And you're not welcome either, by the way.
They wouldn't have me, would they?
But if you get a chance, just go.
Yeah, I will.
It's worthwhile.
I did go to Monterey when I was very young. Didn't even know it was where a certain golf course was, and how many great golf courses there are in that area.
Well,
but so be it.
Millions of them. It's beautiful. It's an amazing place.
So is that the best course you've ever played?
It's the most magnificent because you see it on the TV, and Pebble Beach is a special place. So you know it from the TV, the big tournaments, the big players, of the greats of the US Tour and the world golf scene. So probably yes. Yes. It's a special place.
It was a cool trip that you did with your brothers and your dad. It's a very cool thing to have done.
Yeah, it was a lovely thing to do.
We digress.
We do. We should play more golf. That's what we should do.
Yes,
all of us.
I think everyone aspires to play more golf at the MCG. The Eagles have taken the lead by 6 points in the third quarter there, 9-9-63 to the Tigers, 8-9-57. So 2 goals to 1 the way of the Eagles so far in this third quarter. Of course, they are searching for their first win in season 2025. Does it come today? Jamie Cripps with 3 goals, 2 goals for Matt Owies. Individuals to Waterman, Williams, Hunt and Brockman, while for the Tigers, 2 goals to Tom Lynch and 2 goals to Seth Campbell. So the Eagles leading by 6 points at the MCG. There is an ABC call available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button.
It is interesting today in the AFL. We've got 3 games. And down here at the Cattery right now, we are, about 15 minutes away from the bounce of the ball. I wouldn't say it's a big crowd in attendance on Mother's Day. So a lot of people do have commitments. Usually we get 2 games on Mother's Day. Interesting they've scheduled to 3 this year.
Do you like the Sunday night footy? Like last week we had Brisbane and the Gold Coast on Sunday night. Now, I know it was a public holiday in Brisbane on the next day, so we understand that. But that concept of the last game of the round being a night game on Sunday, school attendance during the year, I get all that. But from a spectacle, we're selling the game to the spectators nationwide these days. It's a pretty good spot, isn't it?
Great slot, I like it. But interesting, I saw Offsiders this morning, and Corbin Middlemass pointed out the fact that I think he said we've played over 100 games down in Tasmania now through North Melbourne and Hawthorn. We haven't played many night games. All of a sudden, we've had 2 night games down in Tasmania this year. Just wonders whether it's helping make the point that, a nice stadium with a roof might be the best option for a night game down in the Apple Isle.
Right, okay.
Right as that campaign's just heating up, stand in the cool down there in a Tasmanian Apple Isle evening.
I wonder if Brendan Gale appears just in the crowd somewhere with a big snowsuit on and an extra scarf around the top, looking like the Michelin Man's. He's so cold, he's so annoyed that it has to be played at night in this venue with no roof.
It's interesting, isn't it? Good theory, I like it.
I like that.
So North Melbourne and Brisbane, the final match of round 9. The West Coast Eagles leading by 7 points at the MCG, a goal for the Tigers. So that margin is fluctuating at the moment. The Eagles 9-10-64 to the Tigers 8-9-57. Mac Lynch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson, your experts. Lauren Borton's in the front row for us this afternoon. Now, Loz, as we look out on this beautiful Cardinia Park, we can see some sort of NFL grid lines, which, of course, this ground has been used to film a movie. Set you the task to try and learn a little bit about what has taken place. What did you discover?
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. You can still see those line markings of an NFL film that was filmed here. For a couple of weeks, they used Cardinia Park. So the first week was about set up, and the second week they were actually filming. They wrapped up last Friday, so about 10 days ago, and finished ahead of schedule, apparently. And then there was that mad rush, I guess, to get the ground ready for this game coming up. So you'll see those yard line markings have basically been painted green just to make them blend in with the colours on the ground. But it was basically, I guess it's Vic Screen. They put out some rebates and some grants to get movies to come to the state to spend some money. So they've filmed at Cardinia Park. They've also filmed down at La Trobe University in Bundoora in the outer suburbs of Melbourne. So that's where they've chosen to film this movie. So it's an untitled John Tuggle project. So it's actually about an NFL player. He was the last player taken in the draft. And you might be able to just make out on the line markings. It was Leo Keefe, our tech, who saw this. It says Eagles. So that was the Philadelphia Eagles ground is what Cardinia Park would have been. So John Tuggle was with the Giants, but he did, I don't want to give away the movie, but he scored his 1 try against the Giants. So I'm guessing this is what they were filming when they decided to take it down here. But it will be Cardinia Park being or masquerading as Philadelphia as it was when it comes to this movie. I don't know when it'll be released, but that's what Cardinia Park will be when it finally does come out.
All right, beautiful work from you, Loz. Loz Borden on the boundary, bringing us the insights as to what film had been taking place as they filmed down here. The locals reminded me today as we came in, it had been 37 days in between home games for the Cats as they sort of hand-passed it over to some of the Hollywood heavyweights.
Now, has anyone here been to Philadelphia?
I have.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, so this is nothing like Philadelphia. I feel a lot safer walking the streets of Geelong than I do walking the streets of Philadelphia.
Do you want to hear my Philadelphia
I do.
story? Without a word of a lie.
I love when it starts.
In the main store in Philadelphia, I ran into Allen Iverson.
No way.
Asked him for a photo. He said no.
The answer.
Security guard said no.
Fantastic. Well, I've got
had his headphones in.
Just as good. Barry Sanders was in the hotel from the Detroit Lions, great NFL running back, one of the all-time greats. And I loved him as a kid. And I went up to him for an autograph. He said, just put the hand out. Nah, man. just shut down. Nah, man.
That was similar to what I got.
Good stuff, Barry.
You and I are used to rejection, though, Half, so we took it well, didn't we?
Any photos or signatures you were chasing, Kaz, that didn't end up in the way you'd like?
No, I don't believe either of those stories. There's no evidence whatsoever.
True.
I don't believe it
100%.
for a second.
100%.
No, Clinchy, not off the top of my head.
No,
sorry.
So it does sort of, I mean, Ben, you've posed these sort of questions on the talkback line. Your favourite sporting movie on 0437 774 774. Coach Carter was always one of my favourites.
You stole it out of my mouth.
I should have offered it to you first. Sorry.
Basketball background.
Yep.
Coach Carter.
Caddyshack. Great golf movie. Great golf movie.
You got one that springs to mind, Ben?
Probably Rocky 4.
Rocky 4.
Rocky 4.
Yeah. I must
Takes
break
on
you.
Ivan Drago and trains in Siberia. That's probably my favourite.
0437 774 774. Let us know your favourite sporting movie of all time. This is with the Cats having had an NFL film take place down here at Cardinia Park over the last month or so, and the opportunity for the ground to be used for another purpose other than just AFL. As the Giants are making their way out onto Cardinia Park, led by Toby Green and Tom Green, who celebrates his 100th game this afternoon. The man from Canberra with his own fan club. Congrats on 100, Tom. Let's get a dub. It says on the banner, and the Giants have had a good history of creating their own storylines with their social media team and what takes place on the banners as the Giants make their way out to Cardinia Park. A chance for us to head inside the Geelong camp. We heard from Jason McCartney a short time ago with Ben Cameron. Lauren Borden's down on the boundary now, and she's with Geelong assistant coach James Kelly.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's a stunning day to be down here on the boundary of Cardinia Park, and I'm joined by Geelong assistant James Kelly. James, thanks for your time so close to the bounce. I guess it was a very tight win last week, an exciting one. Has there been a little bit of a come down this week just from that high?
I think there is a little bit, yeah. Like I reckon you're lying if you say there's not, but I think pretty quickly the boys sort of turned that around and had a really good week on the track. They trained well. They're a really professional outfit, so we're really happy with how they're prepared for today.
And it's rare you meet a side here at Cardinia Park that has a good record, but that's the case that the GWS Giants have formed here, winning their last 4 matches. So what's it like to approach a side potentially that there's no fear coming to the Cattery like some sides do have?
Yeah, it's a real credit to them, really. You know, they travel really well, and they've obviously had good success here. So for us, I think sort of each game's its own event. There was obviously a historical pattern there, but we approach every game with a really positive attitude, and today's no different. I think last time we played him, if we take a little bit from that, we're probably a little bit conservative with the way we move the ball. So particularly at home, we don't want to play that way. We want to play our brand of footy and really challenge the opposition and make them work if they come down here.
Toby Green is one of those players that's been able to turn the game on its head a few times. He's kicked 16 goals in the last 4 games. So what's your approach for him? Who goes to him just to lock him down a little?
Yeah, no gastro for him this morning, I assume. No, look, I think everyone have a bit of a go at him. So the hard thing with Toby is he's such a damaging player on the ground and in the air. So we've got a good back line where guys can sort of play at both levels. So, we'll just match up against him wherever he starts and see how we go.
I wanted to ask you about the back line. Obviously, with the injuries, a few of them have been coming down there. So Tom Stewart and Jack Henry, and I guess Lawson Humphries as well isn't there. So how have you seen the way they've been faring? And, maybe someone like a Connor O'Sullivan, the way he steps up?
I think they've been fantastic. They haven't been the most settled line so far this season. But I think, you mentioned Connor. He's probably outperformed our expectations by a fair way. We just thought he was going to come in and be pretty serviceable. He's a good kid. And he's really playing some good footy. He's really confident at the moment and challenging the opposition with his run really well. Sam De Koning's been, a bit of a mainstay down there. Less time in the ruck as he had sort of last year. And Zach Guthrie just seems to play well every week, and Mark O'Connor's been really good. So those sort of guys just sort of give you a really good foundation. You throw Lawson Humphries in there, who all of a sudden we can't imagine the back line without him. So, they've been a little bit unsettled with the talls, but there's been a lot of guys in there who are there regularly. So I think that's helped, and the team's been playing pretty well across the board defensively, so that helps.
Do you get the sense that Tom Stewart and Lawson Humphries as well will be back next week?
As far as I know, yeah. Lawson's obviously in the concussion protocol, but he's got a bit of a buffer with his sort of 12-day protocol. So my understanding is he's tracking pretty well, and Stewie's the same.
And what about the line markings out here, still on from the NFL movie that was being filmed? Did any of the boys, are they NFL fans, get the gridiron out and have a little bit of a throw around?
There was some chat that we should have had a game instead of actually training, but a few guys were quite interested in it, and a lot of the staff members, which was fantastic by the club and the trust and the movie people, they got a real tour of the whole setup and how the movie was made and all those sorts of things. So to me, it seems like a painstaking process to make a movie, but the actual surface is in good condition, albeit it won't look great on TV, but at ground level it's in pretty good nick, so we're happy.
And now we'll just wait to see the movie on the big screen. Thanks for your time, James. So close to the game. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.
James Kelly catching up with Lauren Borden down on the boundary. It's Geelong and GWS as round 9 of the AFL continues. There's no late changes for either side. With Closey and Delana, the subs for the Giants and the Cats. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson, your experts on ABC Sport. Three-quarter time at the MCG. Richmond pinching the lead right before three-quarter time. A 4-point margin. 10-9-69 to the Eagles 9-11-65. So in that third term, it was 3 goals to Richmond, 2 goals 5 to the West Coast Eagles, as the Tigers finished with a goal just ahead of three-quarter time. So we'll keep you across the events at the MCG. The two respective sides are warming up in a beautiful day here in Geelong with the sun beating down on pretty much three-quarters of the ground. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson with their preview as to what they think is going to be in store for us this afternoon.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a beauty, I reckon, because as we've mentioned a couple of times prior to the start of the game, the Giants have got a great record here. And they'll really enjoy the fact they can come here and get a response and get an outcome that they desire. Kez is strong on the Cats being able to manage the situation pretty well. And you come to GMA, you come to Kardinia Park and you see that more often than not, the Cats get what they want here, Kez. It's such a familiar territory for them, and it's such a different look from most other teams. We see time and time again teams kick the ball out in the full here, and I can't work out for the life of me how that happens, because the boundary line is still there for them to keep the ball in bounds off. But it's about the midfield brigade for me for the moment, for the Giants to be able to get on top of this game and get some territory against the Giants. They're a fascinating team. They're second for disposals, the Giants, but they're 16th for inside 50s. It's a bizarre conundrum from a statistical anomaly, because they normally, and Kez mentioned this before, the Orange Tsunami is about run, carry, direct play through the corridor, she touched on, which was a really good point, and get it inside their forward 50. But for whatever reason, they're being held up through the middle of the ground. And Geelong, Kez, are one of the best teams at stopping flows from any team in competition, let alone what ground they're playing on. They can stop flow of opposition teams better than anyone. So if the Giants could find a way through the middle of the ground here and have some level of flow to their game, I think they can take it right up to the Cats. But to Kez's point before, the way that they master this ground, and with the additions they've got back into this team, it's going to be a real challenge for them to overcome the Cats today here, Kez.
Yeah, it will. I think, not that anyone underestimates Stewart not being out there, but I think particularly today, just the way that he's able to set them up behind the ball, knowing what the Giants are going to want to try and do. I mean, it's pretty obvious, and if it's obvious to me, it's going to certainly be obvious to the Giants coaching staff and the players where they need to win today. And that's going to be, as you mentioned, coming through the middle of the ground. And so without the likes of the experience in Tom Stewart just being there, not necessarily as he's intercepting best, but just having that ability to direct and set up his teammates behind the ball is such a weapon and a strength for them. I agree completely that the defense of the Giants has actually not been so much of an issue for them. It's really been their offense, and hopefully they can go to work on that today. But at the moment, like, they're number one ranked defensively in terms of not conceding. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong stat. So under 10% for opposition defensive half chain. So the Giants themselves have a really good ability to stop the ball movement of their opposition, and the Cats know how to play this ground really well. We mentioned Max Holmes before. He's been a huge driver of that. Brian Myers coming back in today as well. I think the whole competition is across how much of a prolific connector that he is, and his decision-making with ball in hand. Hopefully he hasn't lost too much form over the last couple of weeks that he's been out. But I think it's a really evenly matched game today. And you can see that with, not that these two teams will be looking too much into the history of it, but the last two games here have been decided by 4 points, 7 points. There was a bit of a blowout at 19 points back in 21, and then 4 points again. So the times that these teams play down here, they're really tight. They're low scoring, which, given that the Giants are having some issues with their scoring at the moment. I think at the first couple of rounds they were scoring 90 plus, and the last 3 or 4 rounds they've been down at around the 60s. That won't concern them too much here today, because they know that they can get the job done with a pretty low score. It's just going to be, can they manage Geelong's ball movement, and obviously Patrick Dangerfield and Jeremy Cameron and all the weapons that they've got up forward. But if I could summarise it in one person, it's Toby Green. Every time that he comes down here, he seems to have some magic. He turns it on, he makes things happen, and it's not just his scoring ability, it's his involvement up the ground. His ability, I haven't got the number in front of me, but his score involvements that he would have had over the last couple of years when they come down here. The Cats would absolutely have a target on his back today. I reckon it'll be a real team performance as to how they can stop him and where he goes on the ground, whether he goes in the middle and spits forward. For me, if he has a magical day, the Giants will win, but I would imagine that the Cats have circled his name and they'll get the job done on him today.
The matchup on Patrick Dangerfield's obviously going to be pretty important. So who do they go with? I would play Sam Taylor on him. I think you've got to play your best defender on the best forward, the most damaging forward. I mean, he could go to Cameron and do a really good job, or try and roll off Neil and get in the way a couple of times. But I reckon you play Sam Taylor on Dangerfield. Iden could deal with Cameron if you need him to. Himmelberg's the other option. So they've got some options to cover the real quality tools, or Dangerfield's not a tool, but he's my dresser, we'll call him awesome. You've got to manage those guys forward to the ball for the Cats, and you've got to take care of them. So you do that with your best players. And obviously restriction of flow is one of the things, and source pressure is going to be really important, but I'll be playing Sam Taylor and Patrick Dangerfield too.
As the players head out into position, Lauren Borden on the boundary for us this afternoon.
Oh, thanks, Lynch. It's superb conditions down here. I don't know, I think you can draw comparisons with Philadelphia. Isn't it always sunny in Philadelphia?
Well played.
Look, it's like 23 degrees down here. The premiership flags are swaying a bit, but on ground level, you can't feel any wind at all. So it's absolutely beautiful for a May day. A nice day to come out. Ben, you did mention the crowd. It's not as big. Normally it's a sellout at Kardinia Park, but not as many people here on Mother's Day. You mentioned the subs as well. Geelong for Ted Closey, and GWS is Joey Delana. So those two making their way to the bench, and Paddy Dangerfield did win the toss, and he's got his side kicking towards the Joel Selwood stand in quarter one.
Thank you very much to Lauren Borden on the boundary. So it's been 7 years since Geelong have beaten the Giants at Kardinia Park. A chance for one of these sides, the Cats and the Giants, to make a big step inside the top 8. To get us underway on ABC Sport, here's Ben Cameron.
Blitzarb starting in the ruck, goes up against Briggs. Briggs the opening tap, trying to get it to Toby Green. Cameron starting in the middle there for the Cats. He can't gather it. Atkins shovels out a handball. Finn Callaghan kicks it inside attacking 50. Bouncing ball picked up there by O'Sullivan. He snaps it out towards the wing for the Cats. Bouncing ball tumbles out. Umpire says insufficient intent. And a free kick going the way of the Giants early on in this game.
Jack Buckley to Dangerfield for the Giants.
So Callum Ward to take the kick. Neutral territory members side of the ground as he comes infield with his kick to Whitfield. Left-footed kick inside 50. He was put down by Bailey Smith. Older said that was maybe instantaneous as he kicked, but the umpire disagrees, and in the end, Hogan, a free kick, 30 metres out, slight angle to the right.
That's too big of a penalty, I reckon, for that. I think they were just a little bit hot on Bailey Smith there. Not much in it, but they're well and truly aware of his impact on the game, and the umpires, Matt's had their radar up for him, but too big of a penalty for mine to give Hogan a shot 30 metres out.
Oh, back a long way.
Runs in, crosses the arc of 50. A little stutter for the Coleman medalist. His drop punt never looks like missing until late when it fades hard left and nicks the post on the way through. A behind to begin the way of the Giants through the opening 90 seconds. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
And the Cats waste no time, bring it back in through Mitch Duncan, works it out to Dempsey at half-back. Hand pass to Max Holmes, kicks up towards centre half forward. Shannon Neal cleared a path, but it's the Giants through Ash. Gets a hand pass back to Buckley, and now Callaghan one way then the other. It's centre half back for the Giants, blazes away through the middle of the ground, and O'Sullivan takes the intercepting mark for Geelong, read that well. Feeds the hand pass around the back to Max Holmes. He looks out to vacant territory at right half forward. A beautiful kick lace out that finds O'Sheen Mullen. He's at right half forward, looks into the pocket, kicks looking for Shannon Neal, who just claims the mark inside the boundary line. In front of the passionate Geelong fans in the Joel Selwood stand. A chance now for Geelong to kick the opening goal of the match.
There's an interesting kick from Finn Callaghan coming out of half-back for the Giants in that transition. It was two on one to a long player a long distance away. It always gives time to close down the space from the opposition when they do that. There's an option wide. He just could have owned the ball for a bit. Got the Giants going forward.
6 goals for the season, 1 against the Pies last week. Shannon Neal from deep in the right forward pocket goes the drop punt, and it's across the face of goal. Behind a piece through the opening stages of this first quarter, while the MCG, it's the Eagles who lead by 3 points there.
Wouldn't be many players in the competition that would go with the drop punt from that tight an angle as the Giants bring it out. Must admit, I do love the standing room in the terrace of the Joel Selwood stand. Very old school as Himmelberg kicks to centre half back, and Finn Callaghan, this young star of the competition, goes for a gallop. Runs to the defensive edge of the square, kicks up to half forward. Hogan in acres of space, takes the mark, gives the handball. O'Halloran runs in and goes. That's the Orange Tsunami from one end of the ground to the other in the blink of an eye. First goal of the game, 1-1-7, plays one behind, 3.5 minutes in. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson.
Well, if you can draw it up on a whiteboard, that's how you want to get the ball in from your D50. It was absolutely beautiful ball movement straight up the middle of the ground like we were talking about in the pre-game half. Geelong defenders, we talked about the way that they like to defend the ground. They just got caught way too high, had real density through the middle of the ground, and I don't know who was must have been off the half back line, but just a real piercing kick straight over the top of all the congestion into a running goal. That was absolutely beautiful ball movement, but for Geelong, just got dragged way too high up the ground. I think they need to review that and just make sure they keep a couple of numbers back, as just piercing ball movement. Callahan, again, he's had a couple of possessions. He was great again last week.
Jesse Hogan, the provider in the end for the first goal to Xavier O'Halloran. Back in the middle of the ground, it's the Giants through Tom Green in game 100. Hand pass to Toby Green. He's locked up by Mark Blitzavs, and the umpire will ball it up. Giants by 6 points, early stages down at Cardinia Park. From the stoppage, it spills out the way of the Giants, knocked away by Max Holmes. Jeremy Cameron's over the top of the footy. Manor tries to put a boot in there, soccering it out to Dempsey. He's tackled immediately by Ware and Toby Green. And the umpire circles and will ball it up. Still inside the centre square, slightly towards the Giants at centre half forward.
Up it goes. Briggs slapping it down. Onto it quickly, though. Ball spits out from Manor, out towards the wing. And the Cats emerge with the football wide out. Onto it quickly, Iden. He steps out under a little bit of pressure. Umpire says, that's a free kick. You can't do that. And Geelong will get it. Only Henry with the free kick. Sets it up just inside 50. Onto Holmes, who moves it on towards full forward. Close goes up, drops the mark, lands like a cat, snaps the goal. Geelong with the instant response. 1-1-7 each of two through 5 minutes and change. Opening term Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Well, I talk about transition from one end to the other for the Giants. Kez, the Cats did a pretty good job there from that half-back stoppage there at, just on the other side of the ground. They moved it beautifully all down the outer side. And we do see them play that Reg Hickey stand side of the ground really well. The opposite side to the broadcast side here at Cardinia Park. And it was just good transition. Once they won the ball from that contest, the players who were narrow side of that just bolted. Close was one of those guys who pushes up really high. It gets back really aggressively when they get possession of the footy. And the thing about the Cats, watching them in real time at the venue, is you see them, or they all move until they lose possession. So it's not so much as they move for a period of time and then wonder what might happen. They all stay in the game and stay relevant until they lose possession. So that was what in the end got the goal there for Close.
Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Daniel Harford with you. Back in the middle, Briggs and Blitzavs. In fact, it's Blitzavs who wins down the tap. Tom Green with a hand pass to Ash, streaming away from half back. He left Bailey Smith in his way. Kicks long towards full forward. De Koning brings it down. Stringer front and centre. Breaks the tackle. Jams it on the right boot. That's Jake Stringer at his best. Bouncing on his toes as his Giants forwards come to celebrate with him. And they immediately restore a 6-point advantage. 2-1-13 to Geelong 1-1-7. Jake Stringer's had his issues in front of goal. 7 goals, 12 for the season, but he's on the board this afternoon.
Just that midfield clearance. I don't know who it was, but you could just see Max Holmes was dragged back out of the space that he probably should have been defending out the front of the stoppage, but he wasn't able to because it was Toby Green that was his direct matchup. So he stuck with Toby Green as most players in the competition would, and it just opened up the space at the front of the stoppage for the midfield just to run through in waves again. And Jake Stringer, terrific finish, just maintained that strength through his hips, maintained upright, and great start to the game.
Lockie Ash, the number 1 ranked player in the competition in the first 8 rounds, having a big say in that one.
Thoughts of Kieran Peterson and Daniel Harford here on ABC Sport. Is out of the middle. Toby Green just buffeted off his kick. It spills to Briggs. Briggs sweeps a handball. The Giants work it out. Now Ash, that man that Harf was speaking about, he kicks out wide. And the mark taken there by Callan Ward. So just backward of centre here, Callan Ward bites off the kick into the middle. It's a daring kick, but it's a good one for Tom Green. He moves it on quickly. Off to Sam Taylor. Need to just go down to one knee to mark.
It shifts the whole defence of the Cats. They had them pegged into the broadcast side. They have to change everything.
Kicks into the pocket, looking for Hogan. O'Connor brings it to ground. Now Hogan goes again, gets a handball out. Himmelberg shovels out a handball. Pinched there by De Koning of the Cats. Gives it off to Dempsey. Gets it on towards Holmes. Little underground handball. Bouncing ball away to Bailey Smith. Back to Dempsey. Kick up to the wing.
Where the ball's in dispute. Buckley left it behind. Stengel ducks out of a tackle. Hand pass to Bailey Smith. Got it away from O'Halloran into the middle of the ground. Bowes fires a hand pass to Jeremy Cameron. Swings onto that left boot. Finds a player who's got out all on his own. It's Ollie Henry. And he marks directly in front. 40 metres out from goal.
You just wonder how that happens where you got Jeremy Cameron, who's a terrific ball user, is a really good field kick as much as he is and the goal-kicking tally as well, but just how they get a 2-on-1 so open in Geelong's forward line. Again, the Giants defenders just all at sea, got caught way too high up the ground. Jeremy Cameron finds himself in space in the middle of the ground, and he's good enough on his left to hit Henry.
He's been the sub in the last two for the Cats, so keen to make his moments count. Directly in front, 40 metres out for the answer for the Cats. He misses to the right-hand side and a minor score. Giants by 5 points early. Andrew's been in touch on the SMS, 0437 774 774. Regarding the small crowd, most of us are still outside waiting to get in. Ooh. Extra time spent on security screening. Will eventually get in by quarter time.
All right.
Ash with the kick up towards the wing for the Giants. Right there is De Koning to see it out, throwing right in the middle of the wing. The Reg Hickey stand right beneath that. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Stay with us, Andrew. We'll guide you through the first quarter.
It's not what you want, though.
No, it's not ideal.
And there was the story last night about Teen allegedly trying to bring some items into Docklands, so certainly the screening in the wake of the incident earlier on in the season at the MCG, and that again last night has been upped. Giants by 5 points, 10 minutes played in the first. Slapping it down there for the Giants. Himmelberg out ground level, getting involved. McMullen back towards Himmelberg, looping a handball onto Toby Green. Half forward for the Giants. Short to O'Halloran, centre half forward. He looks into the pocket, trying to get it to Hogan. Drops the mark, gathers it at ground level, gets it on the boot. Kick goes straight up and down in the pocket. Riccardi slaps it on. Back there, Zach Guthrie for the Cats. Off to Mullen. He gets it onto Clark. And a relieving kick. Bose drops the mark, allows in Tom Green. He runs into a Cats cul-de-sac. Goes back to Ward. Centering ball. Great kick. Toby Green takes it. 45 out. Plum in front.
Yeah, they're making some good decisions, ball in hand, under a bit of pressure here, the Giants. A couple of lateral options they've used. They haven't gone back through the numbers. They've looked a little bit lateral to get the Cats off balance a bit defensively, and they've done a really good job in that a couple of times now. They get a good look at goal on the back of it.
We spoke about it in the pre-game. Toby Green just loves playing down here at the Cattery. He's got a set shot early. He trots in straight in front, laces through it from 50, and he fans it out to the right. Not to be on this occasion. 2-2-14 plays 1-8. 1 goal the Giants lead, 11 minutes and change into the first. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
16 goals for Toby Green against the Cats down in at Cardinia Park. The clearing kick for Zach Guthrie, chopped off in the end as it's brought down by Brown. Half pass away to Toby Green for the immediate response. This time he makes good as he finishes from the left forward pocket, and the Giants make them pay on the turnover. Cal Brown involved and Toby Green finishing in front of goal. The Giants by 12 points, 3-2-20 to the Cats 1-2-8. Meanwhile, the MCG, it's the Tigers who lead by 5 points over the West Coast Eagles. 12 minutes gone in the final term there. Karen Peterson and Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport.
Well, you can mark that down. Callum Brown out on the outer side. He had Max Holmes breaking into space into the defensive pocket. Ordinarily, he'd probably outrun most players in the competition, but Callum Brown just did a terrific job not giving away a free kick, was able to affect the spoil, and then most importantly go back and win the ball. Finds his captain with an easy handball in space and a terrific finish. So a little bit jittery early here, Geelong out of their back line, but certainly for the Giants, no issues with their ball movement and their defensive transition.
Giants with an early 12-point lead. Riccardi in the ruck. He wins the tap. Holmes bursts onto it, though. Tries to break away. He can't get away. Great tackle there from McMullen. Does get a handball away, though, Holmes, but the Giants are onto it. Here's Callaghan kicking around the wing. Mark taken by Tom Green. Tom Green looks inside 50 for the Giants. Gets it towards Stringer, and he takes it 45 out. Worse than a 45-degree angle.
Gee, Callaghan's having an influence, isn't he, through that middle of the ground. Anytime he gets the ball, he's such a penetrating kick.
And we're a fair way away from the commentary box up here, but gee, he is big. He's an imposing figure in the midfield for the Giants.
Already playing the NFL, Benny?
Probably wide receiver, probably quarterback. As Stringer comes in, his drop punt is across the face off the hands of the pack alongside the behind post and sliding out a play for a throw-in. In fact, a Geelong free kick has been picked out in amongst all of that, and Connor O'Sullivan will get it. Giants by 12 points, Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
As the Cats, a little bit of risk as they switch to the back pocket. Jed Hughes takes the mark in his first game of 2025. Kicks out towards Clark. He marks under the ridge. Hickey stand. Looks up towards half forward. Stengel's up against 3 Giants in the end. It's brought down by Fondy. Well done in the end as Joe Fonte spins his way out of traffic and gets a hand pass away at half back. Swinging away. The kick is long by Brown up towards half forward. Hogan flies in the pack, can't take the mark. Hand pass comes out to Stringer. 55 metres out. Vacant goal square. Goes for home and bounces it through for his second. Beautifully pitched just inside the right goalpost and sent it through for his second. The Giants have got the fast start here at Kardinia Park. They're 4-2-26 to Geelong 1-2-8. 14 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Just what you need when you're travelling. You come down here in particular where the crowd is as one-eyed as you'll expect across the country, just to shut them up. And they've done that beautifully in the first 15 minutes with 4 goals. And it's their ability to win one-on-one contest, but also spread from the win. It's been really pleasing to watch, really impressive to watch, I must admit, Kez, to see the Giants explode into space. And they've been able to catch the Cats so far off their roll. They're pushing up really high in transition, the Cats, and they're just getting them out the back every time.
Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Well, everyone's mentioned Toby Green's impact. He's absolutely fired up. He's come back onto the field after being on the bench, but was elated by that last goal and it was absolutely well. He was wrapped with his own as well.
Neil in the ruck for the Cats. Palms it down, but it doesn't clear the muck. The umpire crosses himself. He wants it. Umpires Stevens, Nichols, Wetton and Bales in charge of this match. Up it goes for a second time. Riccardi wins the tap down this time. Atkins pinches it. Gives it back to Neil. Kick smothered. Callaghan pinches it. Off to Toby Green. Squeezes the kick out to the wing. The kick marked there by Himmelberg.
Brilliant kick.
Who swings a handball out wide to the runner Van Gogh, the debutant. He kicks inside 50. O'Halloran low down. Can't take the mark. And the Cats have the numbers. O'Connor, he will kick up to the wing. Shocking kick out of bounds on the full. Maybe not shocking, but not his best either.
No, it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking, Benny. Can't be doing that at your home ground. Away teams can be forgiven, not home teams.
I'm not a great kick, so I didn't want to be too critical.
Finn Callaghan veers out to the left, drives it inside 50. Brown and Hogan's in the pack. Spills out the way of Toby Green. Tackled by Bailey Smith. Ball spills clear. Gathered by Atkins. Hand pass to Bose. Spins out of traffic. Swings onto his right boot. Kicks up towards Close, who juggles a great mark. In front of Joe Fonte at left half back for the Cats. It's the Giants who lead by 18 points. As he comes back inboard to the back edge of the centre square with a kick that finds Jack Bowes. We'll look to switch across the half back line as O'Connor takes the mark. And now completes the switch to Mitch Duncan, who has it at right half back for the Cats.
Good to see Mitch Duncan back out there playing game 298 today. Moves it on to Myers, who's also back from that concussion. He goes back to Bowes, who gives it off towards O'Connor. Short kick for De Koning. Worried out of it there quickly by Iden, who goes again at ground level. It's picked up by Bowes. The Cats again at centre half back. Handball to O'Connor. Handball out wide. Bouncing ball here for Atkins. Twisting, turning, shrugging. Gets the handball out. He was legged. So Myers takes the advantage down the wing for the Cats.
Does he pick just throw up all over himself?
And he kicked it straight in the back of Whitfield, so they've turned it over here, the Cats. Quick hand pass came away from McMullen. The kick up towards half forward in the end by Angove. And in the end, Jesse Hogan might have given away a free kick against O'Connor. The Cats take the advantage through Mitch Duncan. 1-2 with Sam De Koning. Switches back inside the defensive 50. On the bounce for Jed Hughes. He really only has Bailey Smith short. He finds him with a kick to right half back.
The old pinball arcade days. The Cats are on tilt here. They're not anywhere near as fluent as they have been in previous weeks.
Again, Duncan doesn't deliver his best kick, and it's mopped up down there by Taylor for the Giants. Across half-back, off to Buckley, under pressure, kicks into the middle of the ground to Koning. Takes the intercept mark for the Cats. Goes route one up the middle, looking for Neil, right there with him, Iden. Ball comes off the pack, gathered there by Himmelberg. Away towards Fonte, who gets it on towards Whitfield. Now McMullen, handball to Riccardi. Toby Green out through the middle of Kardinia Park. Hit goes into a litter of Cats, and they're able to mop up through Duncan. His handball errant though, loose ball in the middle of the ground.
Where it bounces around, and in the end, Sam De Koning lays a big tackle, knocking the ball up with Xavier O'Halloran, the last to rise.
That didn't get past me, Benny. Your litter of Cats comment.
I had to think quickly about what a group of Cats is.
You handled that very well. Giants by 18 points. Shannon Neal doing the ruck work. Wins down the tap to Bowes. Back to Neal. Trying to get it to Clarko. Halloran swicks in for the Giants. Hand pass to Ware. Got it away to Riccardi. Now the hand pass to the run of Whitfield. Clever kick. A centering ball to Himmelberg at the edge of the centre square. Looks up. Has Hogan deep in the pocket. Trying to get it to him towards Mark O'Connor, who might have given away the free kick. Had his back to the footy. Tried to get back and provide a challenge to Jesse Hogan, but gave away the free kick.
He was just completely out of position. He was probably 2 or 3 metres in front of Hogan, meaning that as soon as the ball went over the top, he had to work back. And in that sort of example, you're more than likely going to give away a free kick because smart forwards are going to play for that contact. As soon as the contact comes, he goes to ground. Absolutely free kick was there.
He's got a goal in his last 39 matches, Jesse Hogan, the longest consecutive streak in the AFL. Charlie Curnow got it above 65 at one stage, but the ball in the hands of the Coleman medalist is Jesse Hogan in the right forward pocket, only about 10 metres out to extend the Giants' lead. He pops it straight through the middle. And the Giants have 5 goals in the opening term to Geelong's 1. 5-2-32 to the Cats 1-2-8. The Giants by 24 points, approaching 20 minutes gone in the first term, while scores are level at the MCG. 11-13, 79 apiece between the Tigers and the West Coast Eagles, approaching 20 minutes gone in the final term there. Karen Peterson and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport.
Me.
Okay, so you go.
I'll throw to you in a second half. I reckon the problem for the Cats at the moment is they're just getting outworked from the contest. The Giants are just spitting forward. They're almost high risk, high reward. Look like they're going to win it and they're going to spit forward. Dangerfield yet to have a touch. I wonder how long it'll take him to move himself into the middle of the ground.
I just love the way they're trying to get the ball deep against this Cats defence. He talked about Tom Stewart not being there before. I just think if he can get them really under pressure on the last line more often than not, don't worry about the guys hitting up for the little short leads. Get it deep, put some pressure on the defence. They'll make some errors like we saw on that occasion.
Briggs wins the tap. Holmes gets it for the Cats. Kicks quickly towards half forward. It ricochets off bodies. Straight up and down in the air and a ball up. Centre half forward for the Cats.
Danger still on the goal square, or just come out for this stoppage, but started in the goal square at the centre bounce.
I can only really remember one opening term where Geelong were put to the sword down here at Cardinia Park in recent memories, and that was Port Adelaide last year. They came all the way back on that occasion, didn't quite get there as Blitzarves with the clearance, kicks towards Danger. Ballistic as ever he goes at the footy, bundles over an opponent, free kick. And that is Patrick Dangerfield. He is always full throttle.
It just makes defenders nervous, doesn't he? He attacked that footy harder than anyone else that was in the contest. It was a 2-on-1. For the Giants, and Dangerfield just attacked that contest much, much harder. He makes people nervous around him just because of the way that he's so good when the ball hits the ground. We saw that particularly in the last quarter last week, but free kick well and truly there. It's got a little bit high.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do.
I was speaking to his granddad, Bob Upper, during the week, and he told me, he said that when the team is struggling, he said Patrick really puffs himself up. You'll see it, a lift in his demeanour. Can he be the man here? Danger's always the man. He drills it through the middle and gives the Cats the lift they need. Their second goal of the afternoon, 5-2-32. Plays 2-2-14, 22 minutes into the first term. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson.
Good old Puffy Dangerfield, is that what you're saying?
said he's noticed over all his 345 games, of which Bob tells me he's watched all of them. He said you'll notice that when the team's struggling, his body language lifts.
Righto, well, we'll keep an eye on Puffy through the afternoon and see how he goes. Certainly the Cats needed that. They needed a lift and they needed someone to take charge, and he did that. I'd got the first whack across the chest and then came over the top and hit him on the back. I don't know, but it's a free kick. It's gone. It was really important for them. Centre bounce was important for the Cats.
He's gone into the middle here too. He's lined up next to Toby Green at this stoppage.
At the MCG, the Tigers by a point against the West Coast Eagles. Briggs does the ruck work and the roving. A clearing kick towards full forward. Hogan in front, palms it down, trying to get away from Buse, who's trying to desperately hold on. Did he do enough to force a turnover? It's in the end kicked forward by Buse into the middle of the ground, spinning through traffic. Holmes can't gather. Blitzaz puts the pressure on. Ash tries to knock it out. Dangerfield goes to work. Hand pass to the runner, Max Holmes. He shins it. It dribbles inside 50. Stengel races out to meet it. He can't take it cleanly. Buckley in for the Giants. Gets the hand pass to Toby Green. Hand pass over the top looking for Iden. He knocks it away from Brian Myers. A chance still for the Giants. It's sliding in. It's Himmelberg who got the hand pass away. Fonte took too long and he's pinned holding the footy. And the free kick go the way of the Cats, and Max Holmes at right half forward. He kicks for Jeremy Cameron, who rises over the top of Buckley and takes the mark. Tight in the right forward pocket, 45 metres out from goal.
Starting to get involved, Holmes, through the middle of the ground. He's up to 8 touches himself, but he just doesn't waste a possession besides the one that he just had because he shinned it, but that was because he got perhaps a little bit of a leg tap from behind. But his run and carry is so important to the Geelong midfield, and he's starting to get on top at the moment.
He's kicked a goal in every game, Jeremy Cameron, as he goes through his textbook tradition of squeezing the footy before he starts his set shot out to the right. He's outside 50 as he veers in on his left, strikes it towards the face of goal. It's across the face, and Briggs rises and punches it through for a minor score. The Giants by 17 points, 24 minutes gone. Opening term, Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. While the Tigers by a point over the Eagles, 24 minutes gone in the final term of the MCG.
See how they defend this kick in, Kez. They coughed one up, a goal against earlier in the quarter because they got pierced through the middle of the ground.
Whitfield goes short to Himmelberg, which was how the last one started as well. Half and Kez. This time he goes back to the opposite pocket, and the mark taken by Whitfield. Gives it back by hand to Himmelberg, who sold the candy and was run down. He got around danger, but not Manor. And the ball wasn't returned back. The umpire says, "Come with me."
The umpire says, "Come on, how could you let that happen?" That's the look on his face. How could you do that?
Who threw it back?
I think it was Lockie Whitfield.
No, it was Himmelberg, I think.
Himmelberg, was it?
Yep.
Whitfield's the one complaining at the moment. Not surprisingly. But that was just a bad decision.
Manna from heaven, perhaps, for the Cats. As from the goal square, he pops it through. And just like that, the Cats are right back into this game. 5-2-32 plays 3-3-21. It's back to 11 points. 25 minutes into the first. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Just a manner of minutes. The Cats are back in.
Oh, that's bad. You know I'm going to go in and defend, or at least provide an opinion on the defenders, and I will give Harry Himmelberg a little bit of an out here. Sean Manor was on the ground when he threw that ball back, and it was a dumb decision, no doubt, but I could tell what he was trying to do. He was trying to get rid of it so that he could go back and match up. I think it was Shannon Neal that must have been bolting back towards goal that he went and tried to match up on. So really silly decision, but I could see what he was trying to do.
All of a sudden, Geelong have come to life with the last 2 goals of the match. 3 minutes remaining at the MCG. The Tigers by a point there will keep you across all the action. Bounce back in the middle. To Koning up against Briggs. To Koning wins down the tap to Dangerfield, who tries to burst away. Briggs, great desperate tackle. It's picked up by Manor at half forward. Swings back on his right. Long kick looking for Neal out number 2 on 1. Himmelberg makes the spoil. Holmes ran at best for Geelong. Hand pass to Blitzhouse around the body. Kicks to the teeth of goal. Himmelberg defends desperately. Knocks it into the path of Bailey Smith. Corralled by Iden. Hand pass away to Dempsey. Hand pass to Zach Guthrie. A centering ball. Buckley's underneath it. Blitzhouse over the top. Claims the mark. Poor old Buckley had to cop one right in the middle of the back as big Mark Blitzhouse, the decathlon, came charging out. And in the end claimed the mark.
Treated him like a steeple.
It did. And this would be 3 on the bounce for the Cats to close the margin back to single digits.
Out of nowhere, really.
A couple of centre clearances and Geelong have found their rhythm. Mark Blitzhouse kicking to the Joel Selwood stand in from directly in front, 35 metres out. You heard the box cheers there, even they were surprised.
Collective groan.
The theatre crowd here at Kardinia Park, a minor score to the right. And the Giants lead by 10 points.
The little puddle after the steeple is one of the strangest remaining things in modern sport, I reckon, but I love it. Like, it is so weird.
What the hell's it there for?
What would you want to run with wet shoes for?
Wet shoes and socks as Whitfield kicks up to the wing and Briggs stands tall and marks in front of Blitzarves.
Thought of that. Who's the first person? You know what we'll do? We'll give him a really big bench to jump over and big puddle at the back of it.
Where's Bruce McAvaney when I need him? He'd be able to tell us, no doubt, as Briggs goes back to Ash, who goes across to Wyden, who moves it on short.
So they've stymied the ball movement now. The Cats have found their groove defensively. They've set their ground up really well the last 5 minutes or so and stopped the Giants' ability to just transition the footy like they did in the first 15 minutes.
Buckley on a back flank, kicks up towards the wing. Riccardi with hands to it. Off hands it comes down. O'Sullivan grabs it, floats a kick up towards half forward for the Cats. Buckley again brings it down at ground level, coming through Bailey Smith. Off his chest, out of play it goes. 60 around from the Cats attacking goal. The Giants by 10 points. 5-2 plays 3-4, 28 into the first.
So it was all corridor in that first 15 minutes. Kez was all over this from the start of the game, and they executed perfectly, but the Cats have shut that down now. They've got to find another way.
It's Bruce Jenner, a decathlete. Thrown back in. Briggs and Cameron. As it's knocked down to the very front of the pack. Chance for Bailey Smith. He can't break away as Buckley's defending desperately once more.
Daley Thompson, that was the Daley Thompson one, wasn't it?
I think so. It's a little before my time.
Yeah. Really steeplechasey though, was it?
Beauty of the modern day footy. You never quite know where you're going to end up in your conversations. Certainly never where I thought we'd end up as it's thrown back in. Cameron wins down the tap against Briggs. Jeremy Cameron doing well in the ruck. It ripples out towards Tom Green. His kick is chopped off by Jeremy Cameron. Long towards the goal square. Neil can't take the mark as Taylor makes the spoil, the number one interceptor in the AFL this season. Now to play a throw in the right forward pocket for the Cats. The Giants holding on to a 10-point lead.
Geelong with the last 2 goals of the game after GWS kicked 4 straight and 5 of the first 6.
5 of the last 6 inside 50s too for the Cats.
Both rucks miss it. Ball just bobbling around at the moment. Atkins trying to come through. Dangerfield always at full speed. Ball spills out to Atkins again. His handball a turnover. And Brown with the clearing kick for the Giants. High ball into the middle. Up goes O'Sullivan. Out the back goes the ball. Gathered there by De Koning. Cats back in possession. Loops a handball for Blitzarves. Off to Holmes. Speaking of track athletes, he swings it out wide. Tackle there quickly on Buse. He's taken the ground. And a ball up between wing and half forward for the Cats.
Big pat on the bum for Toby Green there. He ran 50 metres to come across and lay that tackle on Holmes in the half forward flank here for the Giants. He saw what was happening 3 or 4 possessions before and got his backside moving.
Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport alongside Kez Peterson. Macklich and Ben Cameron calling the action with Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Free kick going the way of the Giants for high contact, and Connor Iden is going to take it at half back.
Had the option to go out wide and go quickly then, but decided to hold it up.
Closing in on 31 minutes gone in this opening term as Iden sends it out to Taylor. His chip kick to right half back and over the top to Tom Green in game 100.
Yeah, I can see the sign up on the bench. I reckon they've been told just to... They're pretty happy with where things are at the moment. Let's just maintain possession. End of the quarter, we'll reset and go again.
Back to Connor Iden. Of course, they got jumped by the Sydney Swans last week, so Adam Kingsley will be happy with this start up towards Briggs. Buse had to sit underneath it. Spills down the way of Sam De Koning. He hacks the kick to half forward where Jed Buse takes the mark. Here's their chance for one more Geelong goal.
Buse feeds a handball forward. Stengel goes back with the handball to Bose. Bose with the kick into the pocket for the Cats. Looking for a marker. Neil comes in late, reaching up over the top of Cameron in that famous number 5 down here at the Cattery. How to play for a throw-in in the pocket.
I reckon Chris Scott, despite the fact that they got jumped in that first 15 minutes, will walk out of the coach's box to the quarter-time huddle relatively buoyant about the way they've been able to get this game back on terms.
Giants by 10. Forward 50 stoppage for the Cats. Briggs brings it down boundary side and onto it McMullen. Another ball up. Might be able to just close out this quarter here, GWS. By Stevens. Flicks it up into the air. Briggs slaps it down for Tom Green, and then the siren saves the Giants as they defend in their back pocket. So the Giants, they did lead by as many as 24 points. It's 10 points at the first break. A little bit of push and shove between all of the players as they disperse towards their huddles. But Geelong with the last 2 goals of the quarter bring it back to 10 points. 5-2-32 plays 3-4-22. The Giants lead. The goal kickers for GWS, 2 for Stringer, singles to Toby Green, to Hogan and to O'Halloran, while for Geelong it is all singles, Manor, Dangerfield and Close at quarter time.
Quarter time here at the Cattery, full time at the MCG. We'll bring you the result on the other side of this. It's Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
It's all about love right now on ABC iView. The hit series Love Me, Love on the Spectrum, Summer Love, and more great titles.
Seriously? I can't stop smiling.
Find them where it's always free, always heartwarming.
Cheers to us.
ABC iView.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Finn Callaghan, this young star of the competition, goes for a gallop, runs to the defensive edge of the square, kicks up to half forward. Hogan in acres of space, takes the mark, gives the handball. O'Halloran runs in and goes. That's the Orange Tsunami from one end of the ground to the other in the blink of an eye. Ollie Henry with the free kick. sets it up just inside 50. Onto Holmes, who moves it on towards full forward. Close goes up, drops the mark, lands like a cat, snaps the goal. Geelong with the instant response.
Tom Green with a hand pass to Ash, streaming away from half back. He left Bailey Smith in his way, kicks long towards full forward. De Koning brings it down. Stringer front and centre, breaks the tackle, jams it on the right boot. That's Jake Stringer at his best. The clearing kick for Zach Guthrie, chopped off in the end as it's brought down by Brown. Hand pass away to Toby Green. This time he makes good as he finishes from the left forward pocket. And the Giants make them pay on the turnover. Hogan flies to the pack, can't take the mark. Hand pass comes out to Stringer, 55 metres out, vacant goal square, goes for home and bounces it through for his second. Beautifully pitched just inside the right goalpost. The Giants have got the fast start here at Kardinia Park.
Can he be the man here? Danger's always the man. He drills it through the middle and gives the Cats the lift they need.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Quarter time here at Kardinia Park. The Giants by 10 points, 5-2-32 to the Cats, 3-4-22. The Giants kicked 5 of the first 6 goals of the match, 4 on the bounce, and then all of a sudden the Cats finished with the last 2 goals of the term to hold a 10-point deficit the way of the Giants. Macklich and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borton is down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson are your experts here at Kardinia Park. But a thrilling finish at the MCG. Here are the closing stages with Brett Sprigg and the team, with the Tigers leading by 2.
Tigers by 2 points. Seconds tick down. 20-odd seconds left. Brown, who's a long kick anyway, goes towards the boundary line. Williams couldn't take the mark. Marrick's there, right on centre wing. Ball falls underneath. Players everywhere, and Marrick wraps up Nankervis. We'll have another stoppage on the outer side. It has to be this play for the Eagles. Tossed up. Ball to ground. Hoff missed his shoe. Now a chance for Nankervis. Picks it up. Hand pass siren. Tom Brown's tackle wins Richmond their 3rd game of the season. Heartbreak for West Coast, who tried all day, but the young Tiger Cubs win by 2.
The Tigers put 1 goal 6 in the final term, but they prevail over the West Coast Eagles, 11-15-81 to the Eagles, 11-13-79. Tom Lynch booted 2 goals, Ryan Mansell booted 2, and Seth Campbell as well. As you heard there, Tom Brown with a crucial goal-saving tackle in front of 29,539 at the MCG. And the Eagles' search for their first win of 2025 continues on.
And just seeing some of the vision of Andrew McWalter in the coach's box, he knew there was a moment. Tom Gross, I think it was, had a chance running through 50. He took a bounce 4 steps in, didn't need to. And that was the tackle for the Tigers that stopped the game and stopped the chance for the Eagles getting their win. And McWalter was devastated, under enormous pressure, despite the fact his first year in a team that no one expected too much of. He'd be itching just for some level of success, some lick of the ice cream, they say. He cares, just some reward for the effort that the Eagles are putting in at the moment. But again, they were found lacking again today.
So the last 3 behinds of the match went the way of the Tigers after Bailey Williams kicked a goal for the Eagles. So we'll bring you further details of that game once we get the reactions from our commentary team there at the MCG. But the Giants by 10 points here at Kardinia Park. The thoughts of Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson, your experts on ABC Sport.
Really entertaining first quarter. Really enjoyed watching the Giants get a jump on the Cats. They moved the ball beautifully through the middle of the ground. Finn Callahan was really prominent early doors. Ended up with the 7 disposals in that first term, Kez. And they made them pay. Deep entries inside the forward 50. Found the free player, shifted the defence of the Cats behind the ball and caught them in transition a few times. So that was really pleasing. If you want to see the Giants play well, that's bordering on the sort of system you want to see the Giants executing. And then the Cats found their feet in the game and were able to get the ball in their forward half and play that forward half territory game, Kez, and lock it in. 6 of the last 7 inside 50s it was for the Cats, despite the fact they were 5-2 down in centre bounce clearance, which gave the Giants territory. Their ability to lock the ball in the game in their forward half in that last 10 minutes got them back into the game.
Yep, it certainly did. They've had 5 tackles inside their forward 52 to the Giants 0. So a couple of reasons for that. The goals that the Giants scored, as you said, were because of the free-flowing offence. Most of them weren't coming from marks and go back and kick over a defender through the goals. They were running transition goals. So the Cats certainly did a much better job in terms of the territory that they were able to gain and withhold and as you mentioned, has been able to hold it inside their forward 50, giving themselves some repeat entries too. Both teams are set up particularly well behind the ball in that probably final 20 minutes of the first quarter. In the first 10 minutes, it was pretty free-flowing. The Cats got caught way too high up the ground defensively and gave the Giants a look out the back, but certainly corrected themselves there. Really even in terms of the stats, so game on for the second quarter.
Giants leading by 10 points. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Umpire slams it down in the middle. Reaching over the top, blitz half, slaps it down towards Bailey Smith. He gets a handball out. Cameron comes in, squeezes a kick forward. Bouncing towards half forward there for the Cats. Picked off there by Ware for GWS. Now McMullen, driving ball. Just inside 50 here for the Giants. Stringer can't mark. Down at ground level though. O'Halloran gets it moving forward. Catman in the pocket. Handball, Aaron O'Connor steals it. He's tackled in the back pocket. His handball spills out. And a throwing coming. Left forward pocket here for GWS.
Good for Cadman there, just to get his first touch of the footy. That was it. That little handball received there.
It's interesting speaking to a recruiter telling me about he played so much wing before a growth spurt late in his development and then changed into a key forward. So still adapting to playing key forward, Cadman.
Thrown back in. Briggs got down the tap to Stringer. There was nowhere to go, though, as Zach Guthrie lays the tackle and the umpire will ball it up.
Maybe there is that chance for him to evolve into a Jeremy Cameron type role. He started on the wing at the second quarter.
What is he, 195 centimetres? He'd be a tall winger as Bailey Smith can't get a clearing kick. Callahan's hand pass away is chopped up by Zach Guthrie. Hand pass to Dempsey, close to the boundary line. His kick just stays in play. Jeremy Cameron back with the flight, was able to claim the mark. Centre wing on the broadcast side. Giants leading by 10 points.
Everyone's tall these days, Clutchy.
That's true. Cameron veers out.
Metre on balls.
To the left, kicks up towards Shannon Neely, can't take the mark, spoiled away. Taylor tries to slap it away. McMullen gets a hand pass away to Himmelberg, trying to fire an underground hand pass, could get around Max Holmes. Hand pass to Neal, hand pass to Dempsey, now to Manor, the centering ball looking for Neal, can't take the mark. Taylor makes the spoil. Holmes' hand pass to Bailey Smith. He's tackled with a bone-rattling tackle by Connor Iden. The Cats keep it alive. Manor dribbles a kick into the pocket. Stengel tries to keep it alive. He can't in the end. And it goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Cats. The Giants leading by 10 points. Just repeating at the MCG, it was the Tigers who held on by 2 points over the West Coast Eagles.
4:50 stoppage for the Cats. Umpire brings it back in, Neil, and also Briggs. Briggs palms it down straight to Atkins, who's wrapped up by Briggs. The ball up. 25 out from the attacking goal for the Cats. The players stand end of the ground.
Just the 2 tackles for Tom Atkins at the moment. Pretty disappointing return from a bloke who just eats tackles for breakfast.
Usually a tackling machine. Briggs slaps it out again, straight to Callahan. He's dispossessed, comes out to Ware, and he's tackled.
He's slightly facetious too. He's a fantastic player. Has been a real gem for the Cats through the middle of the ground this year, just changing their mix-up.
Another forward pocket stoppage for the Cats. Neal, handball to Bailey Smith, to Dempsey. Gets on his left, floats the kick towards full forward. They come from everywhere. Toby Green punches it away. Loose footy inside 50 for the Cats. Here's Duncan. Duncan snapping goaling. Showing his vet moves. He's still got it. And the lead is cut to 4 points for the Giants. 5-2-32 plays 4-4-28. The Cats with the last 3 goals of the game. Daniel Harford, Karen Peterson.
Well, Benny, you called a vet move. The best vet move that he made in that sequence of play was just holding his width. He just maintained probably a 10 or 15 metre gap on his opponent. He didn't get sucked into where the ball landed. He probably anticipated that it was going to be punched by the defenders, and it was straight into his lap. So if he had followed the ball in, the ball would have gone over his head, and that result probably may not have happened. So really, really clever from Mitch Duncan, and a really good lesson for any young kids watching, just about maintaining your width on that wing position.
Great block from O'Connor too, just allowed the ball to go straight through to him. He took the Giants player out of the contest without the Giants player knowing what was going on.
So the Giants keep 5 of the first 6. Cats now with the last 3 to take the lead. Mark Blitzhouse does the clearance work. Kicks Geelong to half forward. Danger couldn't take it cleanly. It's gathered by Buckley. Hand pass away to Finn O'Callaghan, who's running hard through the middle of the ground. Callaghan shows a clean set of heels. Kicks long for Hogan out the back. He got a couple of metres on Sam de Koning. And what a great kick it was to find Jesse Hogan directly in front, no more than 25 metres out.
Well, I think the strategy is pretty clear for the Giants. Get it to Finn Callaghan, get out of the way. When he gets the ball through the middle of the ground, he is absolutely devastating. His pace, his ability to get into clear space with his legs, drives his legs really hard, but then his decision-making and penetration with his kicking is first class. That was brilliant.
Kicked one in the first quarter, Jesse Hogan, to move to 19 for the season. Looking to take back the lead for the Giants. He starts outside 50 with his stuttering approach and comes in to fire for his second. He's able to steer it through. And the Giants answer back after 3 consecutive goals for the Cats to take back the lead. Giants by 10 points. Hang on. What's 6-2-38 to the Cats, 4-4-28. Had a couple of bizarre flies floating around and it's distracted me here.
I just swallowed one.
Taking me off the scoreboard.
Steeplechase in the first quarter. We've got flies in the second. It's all happening here.
Open your wallet, Benny.
Oh, cop that, Benny. I love
what
that.
Did he say? Open the wallet. Yeah, don't mind it.
Good comeback, good response from the Giants. As I mentioned, Finn Callaghan, obviously a big part of that. The other one who's impressing me is Briggs. Kieran Briggs' impact at stoppage and even in general play is what I'm most admiring. He puts himself in positions to be a link player in their chain of possession. That's actually causing problems for the Cats.
Restart in the middle. Holmes twisting, turning, emerging with the footy. Goes with the outside of the boot. Inside attacking 50 here for the Cats. Taylor, he loves to spoil. Punches it away. Smith's there for the Cats off the manor. Kick to full forward. Bouncing ball. Ollie Dempsey trying to hack it out of the air right and beelines it. Gets it over the line and ensures it's a minor score. So the Giants lead back to 9 points. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. 6 minutes into the second.
Yeah, well done, Connor Iden. He made 2 or 3. Just got his hand on the ball and just affected it. You won't get a stat for that, but that was goal-saving efforts. Really, really well done.
Lockie Whitfield looks to bring the Giants back into play, into the right back pocket. Sends it long to the Hickey stand where a lot of the Giants are set. Briggs is there in the back. Cadman as well. Spills down off the hands of Tom Green. It's kept alive by Ward. Kicks around the boundary line, but it's picked off by Mitch Duncan for Geelong. Into the middle of the ground for Bailey Smith. Long kick looking for Dempsey. Wrestling with Ash. Ash makes the spoil for the Giants. McMullen got a cruel bounce. Neil tapped it down to Myers. Hand pass to Jeremy Cameron off the outside of the boots. He curls it through for a goal. An awkward one for the left footer as he kicked across his body. Was able to check side it straight through the middle. And the Cats close that gap once more. A 3-point lead the Giants' way. 6-2-38 to the Cats 5-5-35. Jeremy Cameron with his first of the afternoon.
3 goals in 6 minutes. We're in for a good second quarter if this rate continues. Looking forward to that. I do wonder sometimes the merit in getting those long balls kicked out of the goal square from the kick-ins to the numbers at half-back. The team that are defending, trying to advance the ball further up the field and get in their forward half, just the quick kick forward, because you're never going to get the numbers. The quick kick forward, you're rarely going to get the representation you need in those situations. And that's, in the end, what got the opportunity for the Cats to get the ball back through the midfield to Bailey Smith, to get it to Ollie Dempsey. It wasn't a clean passage of play, but it just opened the ground up for the Cats to move the ball as they like coming back in when they got back possession. So just be mindful of how haphazard you are with the quick kicks forward when you know the Cat's going to be so well set up.
Thoughts of Daniel Harford alongside Kieran Peterson. Back underway in the Cats with the momentum. Here is the goal kicker Cameron driving a long kick towards full forward. Neil, up he goes, straight up. And he takes the mark, 30 out directly in front.
It's the advantage of having someone who's as good with ball in hand as Jeremy Cameron playing on the wing. Again, just held his width and came in at the right time. Terrific kick forward. When you're 2 metres like Neil is and just pops his hands up, it's very hard to stop. So great ball movement again by the Cats, but they're well and truly on top in the clearances in the middle.
23 goals from 15 games last year. The man they call Scratcher Neil claws back the lead for the Cats. 6-5-41, plays 6-2-38. And they've kicked 5 of the last 6 goals of the game. They lead by 3 points, 9 minutes into the second. Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson.
They've done that on the back of their clearances half. At quarter time, it was 10-5 to the Giants, and they've evened it up. It's 10-10 for clearances and 5-5 for centre clearances, 5-5 for stoppages. There you go. So 5 + 5 = 10.
Thank you, Kes. Always on top of things as always. I'm just disappointed you didn't pick up on the scratcher clause for the cats.
I thought that. I was coming.
Scratching
I'm still thinking about the litter of cats that we were talking about in the first quarter. I'm a bit distracted like Lynchy.
So Geelong take the lead for the first time in this match. It comes at the 9-minute mark of the second quarter. As Ben May mentioned, they've been hot in this second term. Blitzav's in the middle of the ground, wins down the tap to Bailey Smith. He volleys a kick to half forward. Overrunning the footy was Fonte. It spills out the way of Jeremy Cameron. Himmelberg puts the pressure on him. Kicks long towards the goal square. Dangerfield crashes the pack. Shannon Neal's the only one standing, and Scratcher can't reel it in as it goes out of play in the left forward pocket, just wide of the left behind post. Geelong leading by 3 points here at Cardinia Park. A warm welcome to our listeners who have joined us from WA, the Tigers and the West Coast Eagles. Matt Clich and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson, your experts.
Briggs slapping it down to the front. West slaps it away. Tom Green onto it. The Giants out of their D50. Ward runs across it. Long kick up towards the logo. Riccardi goes up, hands to it, doesn't mark. Brown overruns it. Allows in Duncan for the Cats. Handball to Tom de Koning. His handball errant. Ward goes in hard as always. Handball to Riccardi and back with the Giants. Quick kick from McMullen up towards the wing. O'Halloran. He gathers. Handball misses the target there of Brown. Has time to recover. Handball back to Ward. Fends off Zach Guthrie. Now back towards Brown, who somehow gets a kick away to Tom Green, attacking point of the square for the Giants.
And Green gestures for someone to lead towards him. He sends it out in the direction of Himmelberg. It clears him. Cadman at the back of the pack can't gather. Blitzavs back to O'Connor, and Clark is pushed through for a minor score for the Giants. So Cats leading by 2 points. As Mitch Duncan comes in to take the kick-in duties as he closes in on that 300-game milestone for the Cats.
First game of the year last week for Mitch Duncan, who goes short to Bailey Smith, one of the new Cats. A headband on. Socks mid-shin, mullet flying as he kicks up towards the wing, and Taylor comes across, intercept marks. What a player this guy's become. WA audience would know about that. Recruited out of Swan Districts in the WAFL. Geelong by a couple of points. Moves it on to Iden. Iden goes short to McMullen. Called to play on. Swings a handball to Ash. Breaks one tackle. Loops the handball back to McMullen. Has to get the kick away. Up to half forward for the Giants, and the mark taken there by O'Halloran. Gesticulating strongly at his forwards with what he wants. Now he runs himself into trouble. Goes on the left. Kicks to full forward. Big pack forms. Cadman goes up and drags it down. 15 out. Slight angle to the left.
Good from Riccardi too. He was coming in behind him and he didn't try and jump up at the footy because he knew Cadman had the reach to get there. All he had to do was get in the way of his defender, and Cadman did a great job.
Pick one back in 2022. Trying to work out this tall forward line with Hogan, the Coleman medalist. Stringer in there as well. Riccardi playing a role. Cadman comes in and slides it through. Swings the lead again on that goal. The Giants take it back. 7-3, 45 plays, 6-5, 41. Giants by 4 points. The former Hawk and Blue, Daniel Harford, and the Carlton AFLW captain, Karen Peterson.
Yeah, they'd be disappointed, the Cats, with that defensive effort. I think might go down as an uncontested mark, I reckon, for Academy, because he wasn't really opposed. Even though he had his teammate blocking for him, Geelong is so renowned for having that third defender come across the front and provide a spoil. So you're looking at the likes of Sam de Koning or Tom Stewart, who's not out there today, but someone like Connor O'Sullivan, who's lined up directly on Cadman. You'd like to think that he'd get some help come across. So they nearly made a mess of it, the Giants. I think it was Riccardi up the ground who had to go left, then go right, then go left again, and just put it to the hot spot. And in the end, it was an uncontested mark. So I'd like to tighten that up, the Cats defenders.
The voice of Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Back in the middle of the ground, it's Riccardi who does the clearance work for the Giants. Followed up his right work, hand pass to Stringer, back to Riccardi, to Tom Green. Clever tap onto Stringer. They keep the momentum going. He veers away from Bose, fires on goal, and just squeezes it in for a minor score to the right. Push. But the push, as he got his kick away, will result in a second shot on goal, and it will come back to Jake Stringer.
It was a nice little setup from the Giants area in the middle. Stringer in the middle was a good addition. They were 5-0 down this quarter out of the centre bounce. So 5-2 up at quarter time. So that was an area that Cats needed to get a hold of. And they've been absolutely clinical in the first 10 minutes of this quarter. But good. That's a big win for the Giants to get a result with the centre bounce clearance and then end up with another shot at goal. I got the first one, but obviously the free kick's going to give them a chance to maximise the opportunity, and Stringer being involved can only be good things, I think, for the Giants going forward.
Kicked 2 goals against St Kilda, starting to build his time in orange. A chance to make it 3 before half-time. Out to the right, he'll kick from just inside 50. Jake Stringer, he likes it off the boot. He hits the post.
He did like it too.
As it sails from right to left, and Cannon's 3/4 of the way up, a minor score. The Giants hold on to a 5-point advantage. You mentioned, Benny, about Aaron Cadman playing on the wing. I've all of a sudden noticed Jeremy Cameron is spending a lot of time on the wing, so one for you, Half, and Cares. A different role for him this afternoon.
Even started on ball in the first centre bounce down as the kick from Holmes up to the wing. A good one, Ollie Henry. Leaping, sprawling mark. Has it on the wing. Kicks infield to Zach Guthrie, edge of the square. He takes the mark. Likes the look of the switch. Sends it to the Hickey stand wing, accepted by O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan comes infield. Away to Jeb Hughes, who goes for a run, looks into the pocket, sets it up in that direction. Dempsey down there, somehow controls it. He's got sticky fingers. Ollie Dempsey somehow controlled that ball off balance and drags it in.
You talk about third player coming in before Kez that the Cats are normally really good at. Ash had a chance to do that there for the Giants, but just trusted his teammate to get that one-on-one covered and didn't even bother coming near the contest. And as a result, they were mark inside 50 down.
Very casual on the snap. Dempsey, it's touched on the line. A little too casual.
Great word from Sam Taylor.
Well, it was, but where were the Geelong forwards to get there and make a contest on the line? That's really lazy. Really lazy. That was Sam Taylor, one out, just had a paddock of space to have a run and jump at that. Didn't have any opposition to work against.
Giants by 4 points, 16 minutes into the second term.
Whitfield sends the Giants into the pocket for Cal Ward. The Giants games record holder switches it back to the right back pocket to Whitfield. Kicks it as far as he can up toward the Hickey stand. In the pack was Riccardi. Palms it down to the front. Tom Green emerges with it. Quick 1-2 as he links up with Riccardi once more. Pulls his kick to Cal Brown. He marks centre wing on the Hickey stand. Wants to come inboard to O'Halloran. He takes the mark between wing and half forward. Wants to get it long because Hogan's forward. In there in the pack is Cadman as well. Hogan puts the block on and Cadman takes the mark.
It's twice now that Sam De Konin's got caught, probably 10, 15 metres in front of his opponent. I can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to play aggressive, but he's not moving when the ball is coming in as hot as what it is. He needs to adjust much quicker than that, try and find the contact on his direct opponent and try and affect a spoil. Because at the moment it's a 2-on-1 and he's just standing 10, 15 metres in front.
Hogan has a couple, Stringer has a couple now for Cadman to try and put through his second from the right forward pocket. The 21-year-old misses to the right-hand side and leaving a few out there, the Giants.
Don't want to do that here. Got to make the most of your chances here.
Giants by 5, 7-5-47 to Geelong 6-6-42. Earlier the Tigers 2-point winners over the West Coast Eagles at the MCG. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Jake Stringer being a multiple goal kicker, he might be having a few issues on the boundary at the moment. He's getting a lot of work on his right hamstring. He's got a doctor and 2 trainers around him. He's just lying down and getting some work on it at the moment. So we'll see how he fares after he gets a little bit of a rub down and he's checked out.
Good work, Loz. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Umpire flings it in. Riccardi in the ruck. In front of Neil. Palms it down. Follows up well. Paddles to his own advantage. Little spin move. Snaps to full forward here for the Giants. De Koning hands to it. Out the back, Cadman getting back. Mullen goes in low, taken high.
Ducked his head.
Umpire lets them play and wants to ball it up.
Good decision.
Good decision.
Dropped his head as the tackler came in, as Cadman came in. It certainly got him high, but he was the one that made that happen. Good call.
Umpire Matthew Nichols, very experienced. Riccardi takes it out of the ruck, feeds a handball to Ward. He goes left. He zigged when they thought he'd zag. Gets on the right and snaps the goal.
Great goal.
That is vet moves. We spoke about it with Mitch Duncan. Callum Ward still doing it. And the Giants, they lead it by 11. 8-5-53. Play 6-6-42. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson.
Well, that's just footy now, isn't it? Talking about vet moves, it's just knowing your capabilities, but also knowing what happens in those scenarios. You would have lived it through this many, many times. We see the replay of the no free kick call, where is it? Connery? No, it was Mullen, was it?
Yeah, O'Shea Mullen.
Mullen ducked his head as Cadman came at him. It's no free kick. It's the right call from the umpire. Matt Nichols got that 100% correct. You can boo all you like, but that's the outcome that we should have got. And then you get the experience and wisdom of Callum Ward just making the most of an opportunity.
Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Delanor's about to come on. Joey Delanor standing at the front next to Adam Kingsley. Right. And it looks like Stringer sat at the back of the bench after having that right hamstring checked out.
All right, thanks, Laws. That would be a big story. It's back in the middle. Briggs tries to get down the tap to Toby Green, but it's Tom Atkins for Geelong. Kicks up towards the 50. Jeremy Cameron in the pack. It splashes as it foils to the front of the pack. Onto it, Ollie Dempsey, as he's locked up by Whitfield and Himmelberg. And the umpire will ball it up 40 metres out from Geelong's goal. Cats took the lead after 3-1 to start the term. The Giants have wrestled it back. Briggs wins down the tap to Whitfield. He loses it. Hand pass comes out to Jeremy Cameron. This is his go. Curling it around his body from 45 metres out on his left. Vintage Jezza with his second. And when Geelong need a spark, the man in number 5 in the past has so often delivered. Geelong back within 5 points. The Giants 8-5-53. The Cats 7-6-48. Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson, your experts on ABC Sport.
Not quite as puffy as Paddy Dangerfield cares, but I tell you what, when they needed something to happen, they went to their man again, and Jeremy Cameron did it. I just can't believe how much distance he gets snapping the ball around his body. I don't think I've ever come across a player who's been able to get as much penetration from those scenarios as Jeremy Cameron. He's quite remarkable. That move to the wing has been a godsend.
Yeah, it has. And the reason I've mentioned it a couple of times, he's such a great field kick. He rarely makes bad decisions, and when he gets it, he makes things happen. But he's just holding his width, and then what he's doing is he's spitting forward as hard as he possibly can. So he's ultimately becoming almost another forward for them, but he's losing his defender on the way, and that's why he's been able to impact the scoreboard today as well.
Your right half, thanks for picking up what I'm putting down. Danger a little more pigeon-chested, whereas Jezza's a little more of an emu build. Free kick in the middle, going the way of Bailey Smith. Giants lead it by 5. There's a whistle inside 50. Free kick going the way of GWS. Umpire initially pointed the wrong way. Yeah, Danger. A little too full-chested there, gives away the free kick. It'll go the way of Buckley in the rat fullback as he kicks to the back pocket, and the mark taken by Connor Ryden. The left back pocket here for the Giants. Ground entirely in shadows now. Kicks up to a contest, and Neal in from the side, marks on the wing for the Cats.
He's having his run in the ruck at the moment, Neal, so it's good to see him getting involved in general play.
Kicks infield. Mark taken there by Buse. Buse looking deep into the pocket here for Geelong. Danger comes in, reaches over the top, doesn't mark. Ware robes the pack, clearing kick, tumbles it up to the wing, bouncing ball, Buse again. Can't gather the first time, does the second, wheels and kicks inside 50. Up they come, Ollie Henry. Nearly unopposed in the end. He marks 45 out, 45-degree angle.
Callum Ward could have gone on that occasion. That's twice in the last couple of entries for the Cats. Giants players have decided they wouldn't go and try and impact that aerial contest. Really unusual.
Has been a little out of sorts, Ollie Henry. Still just 22 years of age. He's been goalless in 4 of his 8 games this year, and that's something he is not normally. Often kicks multiples. Has been involved in the sub. Boot the ball from 50. This drop punt looks pretty good. It's there. And Geelong reclaim the lead by the smallest possible margin. 8-6-54 plays 8-5-53. 23 minutes into the second. Daniel Harford, the former Hawk and Blue, and Kieran Peterson, the Carlton AFLW captain.
Yeah, a really great finish. And not to skip over the Jake Stringer, I think it's a hamstring that Loz was reporting before, but he had a hamstring injury in the pre-season, I think it was. Yes. So, unfortunately for him, his history of soft tissue injuries continue, Half.
Yeah, and that's a blow. He's 2 in the first quarter, we talked about. Had a couple of other looks in that term. Was in this, becoming a centre bounce player. Was a bit of an impact player for them through this second term, but no longer going to be applicable for Adam Kingsley to pull that lever when he needs it for the remainder of this game. I tell you what, it's an entertaining affair. It's really entertaining to watch these two teams go head-to-head like this.
As we're back in the middle, a chance for the Giants to try to merge with it. One way, then the other. The kick squeeze forward is chopped off in the end by McMullen, and in fact it's a Toby Green.
Kick it.
He gets the hand pass away. Finn Callahan on the run. He blazes away and misses everything out to the left. Out of bounds on the full. The Giants holding a 1-point advantage. As Jake Stringer didn't start his season until round 4 against the Hawks after that hamstring injury, having made the transition from the Bombers to the Giants in the off-season. As it's O'Sullivan sends the Cats to half-back. Toby Green, strong mark. He marks it left half forward. Swings onto his right, a dart into the pocket. Finds Cadman. A couple of metres on Connor O'Sullivan, and it was a great kick.
Just whipped it around his body and wouldn't have gone any higher than head height, but landed on the chest of Cadman, who was put a bit of distance, as you said, clinching into his opponent. He's now lining up for goal. But what a luxury having a player like Toby Green just taking intercept marks across half forward. And his delivery inside forward 50 is just absolute gold.
It's a couple of goals against the Swans last week. Aaron Cadman, 1-1 so far this afternoon. Out to the left, 45 metres out. It's across the face to the right-hand side. And through for a minor score. So scores level at 54 apiece. 25 minutes gone in the second term. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Holmes with the kick into the back pocket and Bailey Smith. So the Dash brothers getting involved in the back pocket as he moves it on to Buse. A little something around the NFL ground that was painted on the ground as well with the filming of the movie as the kick goes up towards the wing. No mark taken there. The Giants win it back. Tom Green, handball forward towards Jesse Hogan, working up the ground, moves it on to Himmelberg. All of this by hand. Ash, forward handball onto Wangove, the debutant. Kicks for Cadman. Sullivan there with him. That is Connor O'Sullivan. Comes back to Wangove, who swings the snap on goal across the face, and Duncan, a little panicked, slapping it through for a minor score. Scores level. 8-6, 54 each of two. 26 minutes into this second term. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Giants by a point, I should say.
Tigers won by 2 points over the Eagles at the MCG. We'll bring you all the details at half-time. Mitch Duncan brings the Cats back into play to Graham Myers. Hand pass away to Jed Buse. Kicks out to Jeremy Cameron, working across half-back. Kicks up the ground and finds Myers once more. Cameron was floating past boundary side, elected not to go to him. Instead chips it inboard to Tom Atkins. At centre half back, out of the run of Bailey Smith, gesturing with that wide headband as he kicks the Cats up towards half forward. That's a great kick, although O'Connor dropped the mark. Mark O'Connor tries to put in a boot in. Cal Brown thought he had his hands on the footy. No free kick. Spills out the way of the Giants, trying to get it forward. And Callahan had it for a moment, somehow got it out. And the hand pass comes to Tom Green. Kicks the Giants up to left half forward, where Riccardi takes the mark.
Famous Geelong name, no relation, playing against them today, and a beautiful kick. Like a heat-seeking missile onto the chest of Jesse Hogan in the forward pocket.
I think it's Riccardi been today. Just so solid with his hands. And again, another one who's making great decisions by foot. That was a terrific kick. Again, just whipped it around in his right boot, rather. And Jesse Hogan finds himself in the pocket.
Extricating the ball by hand at half back in that little scrimmage down in front of us was a big moment. Very clean tonight.
Already has a couple, runs around on the snap. It's curling back and curling through. Hogan's got 3. The Giants lead it by 7 as we approach half-time. 9-7-61. Plays 8-6-54. 28 minutes into the second. Daniel Harford, Kieran Peterson.
So when they're able to get some handball chains together, that's, to me, Kez, just watching it obviously from up here, that's when they seem to be able to break the Giants through the middle of the ground, because the Cats play a bit of a zone here. They try and stop you going through the areas they want you to stop going through, more often the middle of the ground the way the Giants started the game. So there's opportunities down the wing. If you can just find a little bit of space, keep your width that you've been talking about through this second term, which is absolutely relevant. That seems to be the moments they're breaking the Cats' defence open.
Yeah, it is. It's off the back of turnover too. It's up here on the Cats half forward line that they were able to affect the spoil, and that real quick handball out, I think it was Callahan that you called, really quick hands and been able to almost catch Geelong defenders on the hop down the line.
9 goals so far in this second quarter, in which the Cats have booted 5 to the Giants 4 as Max Holmes gets the clearance. Hand pass away to Blitzhouse, who followed up his ruck work. Long kick towards Neal. Taylor makes the spoil. Myers front and centre. Jams it onto his boot. A textbook goal from the small forward. Geelong get the answer back at the other end, and the Giants lead is cut back to a point once more. 6 goals for Geelong in this third quarter to the Giants 4-5. And the Giants 9-7-61, holding on to a 1-point advantage over the Cats. 9-6-60. It's good to have Grind back.
My word, what a player he is. What a fabulous talent he is, Brian Myers, and they would love to have him back. Geez, he got ball hand to foot really quickly there. Another centre bounce win from the Cats. That's 8-2 for the quarter, and they are demolishing the Giants in the middle of the ground at the minute. And you see the replay, just gets to a good spot, and within a step, the ball is on his boot. It's just brilliant. Brilliant reflex, creativity, and ability is what he shows in those scenarios. He's a good player.
What about the 10-goal term?
We love this.
Like the good old days.
Chris Scott will hate this. Adam Kingsley won't mind it. We love it.
Briggs and Blitzarves. Blitzarves a hand to it, taps it down to himself, gets it off to Holmes. Cats in possession. Back feeds a handball to Bowes, who floats the kick towards half forward. Close can't mark, punched away by Ash. Cameron roves the pack, gives it off to Bailey Smith. Time to get back infield on his left, delivers inside 50. Stengel cuts in front of Ollie Henry. Marks on his chest, 45 out. Cameron. Slightly better than a 45-degree angle.
Cameron again, Smith involved. Smith's had 16, Cameron's had 11 for the game, but really impactful possessions for Jeremy Cameron. And the delivery inside forward 50 was sublime.
Tyson Stengel had a relatively quiet start to the year. All Australian back in 2022. Was in the squad last year. 8 goals in 8 games this year and trying to kick his 150th in AFL footy. From 47 out, starts it right. And it spins a little bit like a wounded duck on the way through for a minor score. Scores level again.
Surely another cat reference.
No.
No?
It was a bit of a... It wasn't a full wounded duck, was it?
Wounded duck?
Yeah.
How many of those have you seen spinning?
I got it from Brendan Goddard. Blame him.
Sorry, you, BJ, thrown under the bus as well. As Lockie Ash brings the Giants back into play, finds Connor Iden at left half back. Risky kick inboard, back to Ash on the bounce, couldn't take it. Dangerfield's onto him, trying to get the hand pass inboard. Callahan knocks it out for the Giants, back to Iden, has to wear the tackle of Jeremy Cameron as he throws him into the turf. And the umpire will ball it up. Matt Lynch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson, your experts for ABC Sport. Cats inside their forward 50. Briggs wins down the tap. Got it to Tom Green. Kicks up towards Cal Brown. It's over his head. And the mark is taken by Mark Blitzhouse for Geelong.
He goes back into the middle. De Koning wants to go the Hickey stand side of the ground. Short for O'Sheen Mullen. Attacking point of the square. Pokes it out wide for Holmes. Holmes chips it over the top and Myers tucks into a little hole and marks 40 out. 10 metres in from the boundary line, half forward.
He's 100% going to roll out here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Has he got the leg on him?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. So if I'm the Giants, you want to try and cut off that chance for him to get to the 3 or 4 metres from the mark and then roll out and try and get that extra 3 or 4 metres on his kick.
I mean, O'Halloran's there loosely, but not really.
Well, the umpire's called his 10 metres, so that's the limit he can go to at this point.
Here comes
now he's out.
Brian Myers, veers out to the right, that unique kicking style, and kicks across his body a little too much, misses left.
Remember when they used to shut down Buddy Franklin's natural arc?
Yeah.
And that was allowed, but now you can't.
Brian Myers would have to go the narrow side if he was to kick after the sirens, so that he can veer out. Geelong leading by a point, 33 minutes into this second term.
Fourth lead change of the match as Lockie Whitfield brings the Giants back into play. A raking kick to half back. Himmelberg can't complete the mark. And off the hands of Blitzhouse, it goes out of play under the Reg Hickey stand, which is the last of the grandstands here, bathed in sunlight on this Sunday afternoon. The Cats holding a 1-point advantage, 9-8-62 to the Giants, 9-7-61. Jake Stringer subbed out of the match after 2 goals in the first quarter, with what we believe is a hamstring injury. Thrown back in, closely the sub for the Cats. It spills away at Bowes. He kicks up towards Ollie Henry. He dropped the mark. It's centre half forward. Close couldn't run onto it. And it's a chance here for young Delana to try and clear. Delana's kick up towards the wing. And Cal Brown in the end is happy to take it across the boundary line and a throw in. So here's the sub for the Giants into the action.
No chase from Brown.
Joey Delana for GWS and a Geelong throw in. Centre wing on the broadcast side, the Cats by a point.
There's a great video of his dad saying, "I'm bringing half of Fiji along to your debut last week." I absolutely loved it. As Toby Green gets the clearance, a high kick towards half forward. Looking for a mark off the hands of the pack. It comes down for Riccardi, shrugs the tackle. Handball spits out towards Bailey Smith. Kick up to the wing. And that will do it. What a half of football. GWS kicked 5 of the opening 6 goals of the game. Geelong fight back. We had 10 goals in the second term, and it is the Cats who lead it home by 1 point at the half. The Giants have won their last 4 games versus Geelong down at Kardinia Park. No other team has won more than 2 in a row down here of late. 9-8-62 the Cats, GWS 9-7-61 the goal kickers. Hogan with 3 for GWS, Stringer with a couple singles to Toby Green, to Aaron Cabman, to Callan Ward and to Xavier O'Halloran, while for Geelong 2 to Patrick Dangerfield, then it's all singles. Cameron Manor, Duncan, Myers, Neal and also Brad Close.
So it's the Giants who led by 10 points at quarter time. The Cats booted 6 goals to 4 in that second quarter to take a 1 point advantage, which, as we said, an entertaining game of footy in which 9 goals apiece. Certainly one for the natural footy fans this Sunday afternoon. The thoughts of Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson, your experts on ABC Sport.
Just super entertained by 2 quality teams. That's what we're seeing here today. The transition footy from both, when they get the game on terms, has been scintillating. When they get a chance to block it up, the Cats have probably been the best team at negating space and taking away the space of the opposition than the Giants are of the Cats, I must admit. We saw a bit of a change in the way the Cats are moving the ball into their forward arc, I reckon, Kez, in the last 10 minutes of that quarter. They've decided to honour the hit-up leads as opposed to trying to find holes out the back, and that's creating a different look defensively for the Giants, which they've had to adjust to. Haven't done it very well to this point, but in the end, at halftime from Adam Kingsley, I'm going in, we're working out what the hell is going on at centre bounce. We've got absolutely mauled at centre bounces through that term. It was 5-2 at quarter time. It's now 9-2 again. Sorry. Yeah, 9-5 against. It was 7-2 for the quarter, 7-3 for the quarter. So way too many opportunities for the Cats to get territory, to get good looks, 6-on-6 with obviously the new 6-6-6 rule, the relatively new 6-6-6 rule, and they got some looks on the back of that. But entertaining when the Giants get in space, they're scoring. When the Cats control possession, control tempo, they seem to be the ones that hit the scoreboard a bit more effectively. So we have an arm wrestle and a great contest.
Yeah, we absolutely do. I think Kingsley, as you mentioned, will be absolutely ropeable with the clearance work in that second term. Prior to last week against the Swans, that was one of their major issues with their form, was the clearance work. And throughout the week, he spoke about that he was really happy with their clearance work last week. They seemed to have gone to work on it and adjusted it, and they were good at it in the first quarter, and then it just completely fell apart. When you got the likes of Toby Green and Tom Green in the middle of the ground, you'd imagine that they'd be able to get that sorted after they've lost 1 or 2 in a row, but just weren't able to do it. But a really, really impressive quarter of footy, I thought, from the Cats, to the way that they got jumped early in that first quarter and then worked their way back in to certainly get their the wrestle in their direction in that second term was outstanding. I thought Bailey Smith in particular, he's sort of playing a bit of an unusual role. He's starting in the middle, but he's not spitting forward like what you see with Toby Green. He's more sort of hovering on the half back line and getting a lot of his possessions across the half back line, which wouldn't be an issue for Geelong because of the way that he moves the ball. He's just so penetrating with his kick. When it comes off his boot compared to other players, it just sounds different. There's so much more penetration, and again, he's another one who makes terrific decisions. And when he's linking up with Jeremy Cameron, who's playing that sort of wing role that we keep talking about, and then being able to push forward, geez, they look dangerous. Really, really entertaining quarter of footy. I'm looking forward to it. The other point that I will make is that the scoreline that we're seeing at the moment isn't. We've had 18 goals combined. It's not what we're seeing in the past from these two teams up until, as I said, we haven't quite hit the mark yet, but unless something really goes wrong in the second half, we haven't seen a score above 84 points in the last 4 games between these two teams. It's been a real arm wrestle and not an overly high-scoring game. So, as I said, unless something completely goes more in the Ross Lyon St Kilda direction in the second half, which I can't see happening, I think we're in for a really entertaining, high-scoring game overall.
So who does the shootout favour, Kez?
Who does the shootout favour? I think it's going to favour Geelong, just given the recent form, the spread of goal kickers that they've got at the moment. If it's not Hogan for the Giants at the moment, and obviously with Stringer, he provides something different. He's not going to be playing in the second half. We think he's got a hamstring injury, so I think it's going to favour Geelong, just because of the spread of goal kickers that they've got and the weapons that they've got. Dangerfield's kicked 1, I think. He's kicked 2, Benny. If he really gets going in the second half, along with Brian Myers, who we saw have an impact late in that term, Jezza Cameron, obviously, we've talked about through the night as well, but they've just got so many options forward.
The thoughts of Kieran Peterson and Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport.
I corrected Kez, and I was wrong.
Oh,
Benny.
Benny.
Hey, you got one job.
Sorry,
He's come up with a few today. There's a few things that we need to write down.
Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Should have doubted me.
You're right about Bailey Smith, Kes, 13 disposals in that second term, and Cameron's 8 and 2 for the quarter.
I really panicked when Half sort of leant forward and looked at the computer. I thought, oh no.
He's always got my back.
Oh no.
He's always got it.
Oh no.
Don't get messed with my skipper.
On the SMS 0437 774 774. Helen from Horsham. You keep telling us who the comments people are, but you don't tell us who the broadcasters are. That's Ben Cameron. I'm Matt Clinch. It's Freddie the Fly who's been floating around in this first half. Paul says on the SMS, why are there so many overseas players playing in the AFL than Indigenous players at the moment? Not enough support to the clubs. Well, Kez, you're involved in the AFLW program. Each club now has their own Indigenous liaison officer.
Yep, they certainly do. I think there's probably a lot of facets that go with that that question, and I'm sure it's absolutely something that AFL House is looking at, is how we can get more Indigenous players involved in our game, because correct me if I'm wrong, Half, but I think the numbers of Indigenous players in both the AFL and the AFLW are on the decline, which is a real shame given how much talent that there is in the Indigenous community. So I'd love to see more Indigenous players come through the system, and I think the system has to do a better job of supporting those players that come through.
Yeah, the flip side of that is the NGAs are providing opportunities for the more multicultural players of different backgrounds to come through the system and get a really good look at the AFL level, should they be good enough. And that's why we're seeing an influx of those type of players, which is great. And the Irish connection's always been there. We know that. Jimmy and Sean White were the stars of that show for many, many years, and that's always been strong. And certainly in the AFLW, where they're becoming dominant, the Irish connection. So there's a couple of layers to that conversation.
And, of course, we are seeing that this afternoon with Joey Delano, who is the Category B selection for the Giants with his Fijian heritage for GWS this afternoon. Geelong leading by a point at half-time. We'll bring you all the details from the MCG in a few moments' time. But let's bring you the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Thanmaya Navada. The White House is yet to comment on allegations from both India and Pakistan accusing one another of violating a truce agreement agreed upon last night. Pakistan's foreign ministry says it's still committed to the ceasefire but has blamed Indian forces for initiating the violations, while India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has called on Pakistan to take appropriate steps to address the breaches. US State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce says Washington helped broker the deal.
Clearly, the issues between India and Pakistan, we know, again, have been generational. And this is exactly the kind of a situation where President Trump's vision and Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance can make a difference for everyone there, but around the world, that people can realize it doesn't have to be this way.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has proposed holding direct talks with Ukraine this Thursday. It comes as the leaders of Britain, France, Germany and Poland called on Moscow to agree to an unconditional 30-day ceasefire with Kyiv starting from Monday. Mr. Putin says he wants the talks to be held in the Turkish city of Istanbul and should be aimed at removing what he's called the root causes of the conflict.
War is continuing with Russia at the hands of Ukrainian nationalists. I repeat, Russia is ready for negotiations without any preconditions, and we propose to resume the negotiations that were interrupted, not by us. What's wrong with that? Those who really want peace cannot but support this.
Pope Leo XIV has made an unannounced visit to the church where his predecessor, Pope Francis, is buried in Rome. The former pontiff had asked for his body to be entombed inside his favourite Roman basilica, Santa Maria Maggiore, rather than in the Vatican. The new pope has also explained to cardinals why he chose his pontifical name.
There are different reasons for this, but mainly because Pope Leo XIII, in his historic encyclical, addressed the social question in the context of the first great industrial revolution. I have sensed myself called upon to continue on the same path. That is why I've decided to take the name Leo XIV.
Making news at home, thousands of people have gathered across the country to call for an end to violence against women this Mother's Day weekend. The events were organised by Indigenous-led not-for-profit organisation What Were You Wearing? One of the key issues raised was the need for mandatory trauma-informed training for domestic violence first responders. One attendee at a rally in Perth says she wanted to show support for loved ones affected by domestic violence.
I have lost several friends, too many, to male violence, and no means no and enough means enough.
The Tasmanian government has announced 100,000 vouchers will be made available statewide to use on hospitality and tourism over winter. Georgie Burgess reports.
The government's $10 million Eat Local, Stay Local initiative is designed to stimulate the economy over winter. In early June, Tasmanians will be able to register to enter a ballot to receive a $100 voucher to be used on experiences, accommodation or dining. The Premier, Jeremy Rockcliffe, announced the scheme in Devonport today, saying previous schemes showed they were effective.
We have so much to offer in Tasmania, and this will be that added boost to small businesses, the local economy.
Recipients will be randomly allocated a voucher at the end of June and will have until the end of October to use it.
The Victorian government says the 2027 Australian Grand Prix will run smoothly, while newly announced facility upgrades are underway at its site in Albert Park. The government says a new pit building will be built featuring 14 garages, a race control centre and media room, as well as 7 indoor sport courts and upgraded club rooms. Work on the new building is expected to begin after next year's race and is due to be completed by 2028. Victorian Sports Minister Steve Dimopoulos says the works will be completed in 2 stages to ensure the event runs smoothly.
We'll start building the 14 garages and some of those associated spaces in time for the 2027 race. But then we'll still have temporary hospitality spaces and paddock clubs for that race. When they pack up on the 27 race, we'll then have in earnest building the upgraded paddock clubs for 2028.
And in men's basketball, the New Zealand Tall Blacks have beaten Australia's Boomers 106 points to 97 in the Trans-Tasman Throwdown game in Hamilton. Ruben Tarangi led the scoring for the home team with 18 points, while Elijah Pepper had 28 for the Boomers. Australia finished the series with 2 wins from 3 games.
The World Test Championship is coming.
He gets connection here, lifts it over the keeper, 1 bounce for 4.
Australia versus South Africa.
And he nicks it, he's got him again.
Catch every ball on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Another forward pocket stoppage for the Cats. Neil, handball to Bailey Smith, to Dempsey. Gets on his left, floats the kick towards full forward. They come from everywhere. Toby Green punches it away. Loose footy inside 50 for the Cats. Here's Duncan. Duncan snapping goaling.
Ash makes the spoil for the Giants. McMullen got a cruel bounce. Neil tapped it down to Myers. Hand pass to Jeremy Cameron off the outside of the boot. He curls it through for a goal.
23 goals from 15 games last year. The man they call Scratcher Neil claws back the lead for the Cats. Riccardi takes it out of the ruck. Feeds a handball to Ward. Who goes left. He zigged when they thought he'd zag. Gets on the run, snaps the goal.
Briggs wins down the tap to Whitfield. He loses it. Hand pass comes out to Jeremy Cameron. This is his go. Curling it around his body from 45 metres out on his left. Vintage Jezza with his second.
Already has a couple. Runs around on the snap. It's curling back and curling through. Hogan's got 3. The Giants lead it by 7.
9 goals so far in this second quarter, in which the Cats have put it 5 to the Giants 4 as Max Holmes gets the clearance. Hand pass away to Blitzhouse, who followed up his ruck work. Long kick towards Neil. Taylor makes the spoil. Myers front and centre. Jams it onto his boot. A textbook goal from the small forward. Geelong get the answer back at the other end, and the Giants' lead is cut back to a point once more.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time here at Kardinia Park. It's Geelong who lead GWS by a point, 9-8-62 to the Giants, 9-7-61. Matt Lynch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Kieran Peterson and Daniel Harford, your experts, and Lauren Borden down on the boundary for Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Plenty of footy still to come, including the second half from here. We have North Melbourne and the Brisbane Lions to close out the weekend's footy. But the events at the MCG, the West Coast Eagles kicked a goal through Bailey Williams. They took the lead And then it came down to an arm wrestle, really, with our commentary team, led by Brett Sprigg alongside Andrew Mays. And it was Tom Brown who laid a crucial tackle in the closing stages for the Tigers. And then Joel Peterson got the chance to catch up with him in the change rooms afterwards.
50 seconds left. Can they wheel and go here? Here's kicks the high ball. Hutchinson takes the mark. Strong contested grab. Plays on with a hand pass. Through hands it comes to Hoff. And now Gross bounces. Run down from behind. Tom Brown got him. That was Fraser Brown on Dean Wallace. That's what it was. And it might just ensure this game for Richmond.
I'm here with one of the, well, really the hero of Richmond's win in the dying moments, Tom Brown, who made the rundown tackle on Tom Gross for the West Coast Eagles in those dying stages. Let's talk us through that final play. Did the eyes light up? Did you know you had him when you sort of made the effort to get across there? What were you thinking?
Oh, well, it started before that. I looked through the corridor and they had about 3 free. So I've gone, oh, shit, like, I've tried to press up. We talk a lot about body spoils at the club, and I've absolutely missed my body spoil and they marked it. So in my head I'm thinking, oh, I've just lost the game, so I've got to make something up here. So I just took off, I tackled him, and I was just pretty lucky. I just had a lot of motivation because I thought I'd lost the game. But
Did you know you stuck the tackle straight away, or did you have that sort of moment of panic to think, oh, you haven't gotten his back here or something?
Yeah, well, I heard the crowd roar and it was really loud, so I assumed that was our fans roaring. So I was like, oh, okay, must have got him. So I was relieved, very relieved, because I was gassed.
What's it like in those kind of moments? You know, you're someone who grew up in a footballing family in country Victoria and no doubt lived and breathed the game. But when you're here on the MCG, where every young kid dreams to be playing, and you have that moment in a pretty critical stage, what's that like when that 30 seconds and then after the siren when you get to soak it all up?
Yeah, well, I guess after the siren's a lot different, but during the game, it's probably been the same way my whole life through juniors and through now. I just play on instincts, so I just do whatever I feel is right, and my gut feel is often right, often it's wrong, but I'll learn from that. So yeah, I just go with my gut like I have been since my juniors times. So yeah.
And you had a late shot at goal as well from 50 odd metres out. That one, it just drifted right, I think, but you certainly had the leg. You went back with some conviction. You can let them go. What was going through your mind in that moment late in the game?
Yeah, well, as soon as I marked, I was like, I'm going to have a shot because I backed myself in. But I was thinking in my mind, Ben Rutten talks about physics when having a shot at goal. So if I go out to the right, I've got to start at left, and I didn't start at left, and it drifted right. So, yeah, I stuffed it up. He'll be getting into me for that.
You had a couple of wins early in the season. You probably surprised a few people out of the blocks, and then you go through a little bit of a dip in your form. What's the messaging been like from the coaches to try and keep things going and keep things ticking over until you're able to get another win like this?
Yeah, well, the messaging is just get in every day and use every day as well as you can. Come in every day with a purpose, try to get better, and things will roll along and momentum will create itself.
Your own form, you've had a really good second season playing regular senior footy now. Is there a reason that your game sort of stepped up to another level?
Well, I mean, I had a pretty interrupted pre-season with my shoulders, so I would love to have had a full pre-season and worked on my contested side, but yeah, I'm trying to really grow that side of my footy, and yeah, each week I'm getting the opportunity to do that, and I think, yeah, I got a great coach in the back line, Steve Morris, great players around me, Vlosten, Bolter, Broad, Short, Miller, all those blokes, so like, yeah, I'm working with the best every day.
And hopefully the roar of that 30,000 strong crowd echoes in your mind for a few more days yet, Tom. Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
The voice of Tom Brown there, catching up with Joel Peterson in the rooms after that epic tackle for the Tigers in the battle of the next generation. Richmond very much trying to rebuild as quickly as they can, and the West Coast Eagles likewise. The Eagles searching for their first win of the season. They couldn't do so as the Tigers prevailed by 2 points. They kicked 1 goal, 6 though in the final term. 11-15-81 to the West Coast Eagles, 11-13-79. Luke Ball in the ABC Football of the Year gave Sam Banks the 3 votes, Tim Taranto 2, and 1 to Ryan Mansell. So a victory there for the Tigers by 2 points, their third win of the season, which Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson is probably a couple more than what a lot of people thought they might have had this season.
Not a doubt about that. Obviously, they started like a house on fire with that first win over the Blues, but they've had a good couple of moments. I reckon Adam Uzo's doing a good job with this crew. It's a tough crew. I mean, you're coming from that far back in terms of expectation and capability at the level. there's so much unknown about these kids. There's immense talent, we all know that, but there's so much unknown about what that translates to in the AFL system. And we've seen that through the generations with talented kids come in, they haven't quite hit the mark or took them a long time. I think he's doing a hell of a job. The Richmond system and process at the moment looks pretty good to me.
I just hope it's not a graveyard shift for him in the sense that comes in after Damien Hardwick, has to turn over the list, and then they don't give him the time that it takes, because we're seeing premiership teams skew older. I mean, think how old Dustin Martin, Jack Rewalt, Trent Cotchin were when they succeeded. We've seen it with Geelong and also Collingwood in the last few years as well.
Players are back in position. Storm defeated the West Tigers 64 points to nil. Cronulla lead the Manly Seagulls 14 to nil. Second half with Ben Cameron.
Geelong leading by a point. Blitzarves taking it out of the ruck, nowhere to go.
64 nil.
Yep.
Oof. Cop that.
I did say, so that was the Storm winning, Clinchy?
That was the Storm winning.
I did say during the week, I heard Pappenhausen saying that Craig Bellamy wasn't over the defeat from the week before, and looks like the team wasn't either. Quick kick to half forward for the Giants, marked by Mullen. Moves it out to Connor O'Sullivan, who gives it off to Duncan, kicks the Cats to the wing, off the hands of Stengel. Whitfield tries to handball it to a teammate O'Halloran, who's out of bounds, and the ball tumbles out. Thrown beneath the Reg Hickey stand.
He scored a lazy 36 points himself, Pappy. Just a little State of Origin audition in their 64 to nil point victory.
Good on him.
He could be the first $2 million man if he goes to the Perth Bears. Thrown on the wing, whistle on the playback here at Cardinia Park, going to Blitzarves. Gives it to the dash of Holmes, takes a bounce, forward handball, away to Bailey Smith, another forward handball, wide out Stengel, cuts back infield, kicks a centering ball, looking for close, Ward ducks back, defensive mark for the Giants at fullback.
Stengel and Close are the ones that really need to get busy for the Cats, I reckon. They've only had 3 and 4 disposals respectively in the first half, so some work to do for them. It does provide some opportunities for more avenues to goal, like Kez was talking about at half-time. It's not a bad thing, I reckon, for the Cats to have 2 players in that area of the ground that largely underperformed in that first half.
Short to the back pocket for Lockie Ash, who wants to be adventurous. Slipping over was Taylor. Dropping the mark in the end was Shannon Neal. It may still work. Stengel onto the goal. Bounces it forward. Ash got desperately back. Just got there in the nick of time to see it through for a rush behind. What did you say? He's the number 1 defender. That was almost a howler. The Cats by 2 points.
Man amends. His kick in there went about 7.5 metres as well. For Lockie Whitfield.
Did too.
Surely you can tell by the fact that Whitfield's about 8 metres away from the top of the goal square as his kick goes out to the wing and Taylor takes the mark, juggles it down. Didn't kick it from right at the top of the goal square, but even then as Taylor chips it over the top, up towards the wing. Cats by a couple of points. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Still to come, North Melbourne and Brisbane. Himmelberg on the wing, chisels a kick and it's a good one. Brown leading up marks. He'll kick infield. The run of Whitfield, who marks in stride, kicks inside attacking 50, trying to get it down there towards Angove. Can't take the mark, down at ground level. Hogan picks it up, gets the handball away. Now Toby Green gets involved. Right on the arc of 50, goes back to Whitfield, who chips it short. And the big frame of Hogan presents towards him. And marks 35 out. Tight angle in the right forward pocket.
It took him an extra 15 seconds to get there, but that's what should have happened when Whitfield came through the first time, Kez. I can see you bouncing your head up and down agreeing.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. They chose an Angove lead instead of the Jesse Hogan lead. Hogan could not believe what he was witnessing. Could not believe it, but to his credit, he stayed with it. He didn't have a spray of his teammate up the ground. He stayed with it, and the right result in the end.
As that long run up, Jesse Hogan stutters as well. His drop punch starts right, comes back, sneaks through. Giants with the first of the second half. And it's 4 for Jesse Hogan. And it is another lead change in this game. The Giants 10-7-67. They lead Geelong 9-9-63. 3.5 into the second half. Here's Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson.
Again, we're seeing another example half of that real methodical, down the boundary, wide ball movement from the Giants. We spoke at the start of the game. It turns out we were a little bit wrong because we thought that for the Giants to be really in this game, they're going to have to open up and use the orange tsunami through the middle of the ground. And I mean, we did see that in the first term, but the way that Geelong have been able to wrestle back the momentum defensively is by setting up behind the ball really well, which they're still continuing to do. But the Giants are finding another method forward, and we saw it again then. I think it was Iden, piercing kick down the middle of the ground, and then go out wide again. It's really, really clever. A good tempo by the Giants.
Darren Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Blitzouts one down the tap, but Callaghan went racing after it. He dives on top of the footy with Holmes coming the other direction. And the umpire circles and will ball it up. Early stages down in Tasmania. The Brisbane Lions leading by 3 points over North Melbourne. We'll take you there at the completion of this match. Briggs wins down the tap. Bowes had it for half a second. Lost it to Tom Green. Socket off the ground by Blitzavs into the middle of the ground. Ollie Henry races after it. Ash lays the tackle. And the umpire will ball it up between the centre circles and half forward in the middle of Cardinia Park, with the Cats heading to the Joel Selwood stand-in this third term. Briggs wins down the tap for the Giants. Diving on top of it was Connor Iden. Gets the hand pass out to Callaghan. Too slick in the end for Whitfield. Stengel gathers for Geelong. Hand pass to Manor. Kicks towards the pocket. Leading up with Shannon Neal. It was over his head. And Dangerfield and Buckley racing back. Buckley gets there first. And out of play for a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for the Cats. The Giants lead by 4 points. 5 minutes gone in the third term. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
6 lead changes in the match. Giants with the last of those. They lead it by 4 points. Forward 50 stoppage for the Cats. Neal back boundary side. Callaghan gets back there. Handball to Buckley. Fumbles it out. Lobs it into the back of Sean Manor. Boundary umpire comes in to throw it in front of the terrace where they stand in the Joel Selwood stand. Lean on the pole in front. Hold a cold drink. Enjoy the footy. Briggs slapping it down, bursting through Bowes, gets a handball away, comes back to him, nowhere to go, stealing it O'Halloran, and the Giants can get out of dodge. A kick up towards the wing, trying to get it up there to Harvey Thomas. The diminutive Thomas juggles the mark, has it on the wing, bites off a dangerous kick into the middle, coming across Mullen, spoils it down, lands in the lap of Smith. Cats back in possession.
Out towards Manor. It lands wide of him and Ware. Dangerfield trying to run onto it. It gathers just inside the field of play. Kicks up towards Ollie Henry. Can't take it cleanly on the half volley. Connor Iden puts the pressure on. Taylor wants the boundary line and the umpire says throw it in. It's Harvey Thomas's first touch in the match coming in this third quarter.
Big one-on-one win.
Against Mitch Duncan.
Bit off a lot with that kick in board. Don't mind the mindset. It's clearly an indication of what the Giants are trying to do here to break this game open.
I mentioned Cody Angrove on debut from WA. He's had 5 so far for the Giants. As from the throw-in, it comes down the way of Himmelberg. Hand pass out looking for Ware. Overrunning the footy was Angrove on cue. And it's Bailey Smith who squeezed the kick up towards Dangerfield. Can't take the mark. Stengel roving. Put the pressure on Whitfield and the tackle. The hand pass from Iden went straight to the boundary line. How does the umpire view this? Throw it in. Enough pressure in the right forward pocket for Geelong.
I reckon they had
the
a
locals
case.
Just putting the pressure on.
They had a case, I reckon, the locals.
Stengel's starting to look really dangerous in the forward 50 for Geelong too. He's just getting his hands to the ball and he's in the right spot. He's floating around this stoppage like a beat of honey. Is there another cat reference we can go with, Half? I'm not sure.
Well, there's no ducks need to be mentioned here.
Neal taps it down. Stengel gathers the footy, gets a handball away and then tackling is Atkins on Whitfield. Ball close to the boundary line. Dempsey cleverly soccers it back into play. Picked up though by Taylor, back pocket. Handball to Ash, back to Taylor. Giants under pressure. Iden flicks out a handball. O'Halloran to Tom Green and they work it out. Now Ash showing his dash. Handball to Callaghan. Bursting through the middle. Full chested the big body. He kicks to half forward. Back there, Blitzarves drops the mark. Time to recover. Away to Duncan. The Cats away.
They're on there, the Tsunami, but the Cats repel at half back. O'Connor in 2 minds, wants to switch it back inside defensive 50 and finds Mark Blitzavs. The Geelong Swiss Army knife as he goes short to Duncan and honours the lead, and the mark is taken by Jeremy Cameron inside the defensive 50. Chips it through the middle of the ground to Shannon Neal. He gets a hand pass away to Duncan. Kicks out to De Koning. He marks forward of halfway on the broadcast wing. Dangerfield leads up unopposed. And he takes the mark just outside 50. But this is in the danger zone.
It looks relatively puffy too, that chest.
Yep. I'm not going there for what it's worth. He's been very generous to the ABC team over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
No, it's a positive.
I want a happy Dangerfield.
He's got his chest puffed out. He's ready to go. Don't take it the wrong way.
Came from the family.
It's family.
It did, but the hoops can sometimes not be the most complimentary of jumpers, and I think he looks a picture of health. At 35 years young, Patrick Dangerfield from 55. Has it got the legs? It's just short of the goal line. And Neal and Briggs sees it through for a minor score. Lauren Borden's down on the boundary with the Giants leading by 4 points.
I'm just sitting next to the Geelong bench. Max Holmes has come off. He had a blood nose. They're just trying to plug that up, making him watch the incident as well. But I like the ingenuity from the physio who went and grabbed some grass and rubbed it on a bit of the jumper of Max Holmes that had blood just to cover up the blood. So I like that from the physio.
Very interesting down there from the physio. Didn't want to go to the blood jumper. Free kick won here by Bowes, just forward of the wing. Callum Ward caught holding the ball. Bowes sends the Cats inside 50 with a kick to full forward. Can they find a marker? Dempsey. The spring-heeled Dempsey comes down in front. Ollie Henry wrenched off it. Atkins always hunting after the footy. He goes again, unable to gather it. Tom Green picks it up. Myers goes in, shovels out a handball. That's a turnover. Angove look away handball. Zach Guthrie wins it for the Cats. Out to Manor. Handball out in front of close. Half forward, time to steady. Handball back to Bailey Smith. Plenty of room for Bailey. He fires on goal, tugs it. Stengel keeps it in. Gathers, snaps it into the post. Gee whiz, he brought it down, stayed in play, tried to squeeze it through, but hit the padding. Giants lead by 3 points. Cats coming 10.5 into the third.
It's a messy passage of play. There's a bit of pressure up at the moment. The game is escalating in terms of what's on the line for both these two teams. I reckon they're starting to feel it.
6-1. The inside 50 is the way of the Cats as they're asking the question in this third quarter. The Giants by 2 points. Whitfield out of defence up towards Cadman and Briggs. Neither can take the mark. Diving on top was Atkins trying to get a hand pass out to Guthrie. He gains a few metres and then bounces onto Toby Green, who took possession of the footy, and it takes 2 to bring Toby down. Eventually he's taken over the boundary line for a throw-in. He's very involved early in the match. Toby Green kicked a goal early in the match, but reasonably unsighted so far in this third quarter with just one disposal. Briggs wins down the tap, looking for Ware for the Giants. Tom Green through traffic, tackled by Bailey Smith. Whitfield gets a hand pass out to Lockie Ash. Hand pass to Ward, close to the boundary line, a metre too far for the big ruckman Briggs. It goes out of play for a throw-in.
I'm impressed with that element of their game, the Giants, the ability to get out, extract the ball by hand from large number contests. They've done that really well all afternoon. Geelong look better when they get on the outside from those ones. That's quick possession out. But the Giants are the ones that can work it from in to out really, really effectively.
It's like the Bulldogs in 2016, isn't it? Remember with the handball club in their premiership year?
They're still doing it, the Dogs at the moment, the way they're playing.
Picked up by Holmes on the wing. Another driving ball inside 50 for the Cats. Taylor spills down to Bailey Smith. Take 2 for Bailey. Snaps on goal. Dempsey marks. Right on the goal line. Outbodies his opponent in the bigger Harry Himmelberg. And now casually snaps it through. A 7th lead change. Geelong lead it by 4. They've been pressing in this match. 10-11, 71 plays 10-7, 67. 12 minutes into the third. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Probably could have let that one go through for Bailey Smith, who hooked it around, but in the end he probably made the right decision. He bodied out his bigger opponent, as you mentioned, Half, but he's another one of those small forwards for the Cats that hasn't really had a massive impact on the game thus far, but we all know that he can bob up and play a big role late in games as well. So really, really great body work and a great finish. The Giants, probably for the last 5 or 6 minutes, have just really struggled to move it beyond their sort of half back line, mostly because of the way that the Cats are set up behind the ball. They're just, again, set up beautifully. There's nowhere to go for the Giants, and when they do try and bite off one through the middle, it's being turned over by the Cats. So, well and truly game on here.
Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Riccardi into the ruck. Is he up against Tom Atkins there as the ball spills down to the front? A chance for Tom Green trying to get a hand pass away. Riccardi has it locked to his chest. Has to knock it away somehow. He does so. Racing onto it, Callaghan. Hand pass out to Tom Green for the Giants. A chance for them to go inside 50 for just the second time. Over the head of Hogan in this quarter. Knocked away by O'Sullivan for Geelong. Only as far as Cadman. He's kicked towards goal. Smothered by DeConing. He's trying to claim the mark. Umpire says play on. He got the smother, but it wasn't 15, and it goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Giants.
That's 3.
A lot going on there in that little passage.
Forward 50 stoppage here for the Giants. Geelong by 4 points. 7 lead changes on the day. Riccardi and Neal. Neal reaches over the top, slaps it down. Tom DeConing. Handball away to Bailey Smith. Handball back into the corridor. A little dangerous. Sets a task for Clark. He's over the footy and a ball up.
This is good for the Giants. Just some repeat stoppages. Keep the ball in their forward half.
Thoughts of Carlton AFLW captain Karen Peterson. Neither ruck decisive. Comes down for Hogan. Gives it off to O'Halloran. Snaps to full forward. No one able to gather it cleanly. Eventually Brown does. Off to Riccardi. He swings it on goal. Back there, Buse. Marks on the behind line and maybe check whether it was over. My gut feel was that he marked it in the field of play.
Score review.
Geelong by 4
call
points.
Is the mark. Please confirm that the mark was taken before the line. Review underway.
I'm with you, Benny. In real time, it looked like it was in the field of play. Review doesn't tell us too much in the replay.
Really complete. Looking at these angles, we can see the ball's controlled before crossing the back of the behind line. Decision on the scoreboard.
So Geelong by 4 points. They'll have it in their back pocket through the second generation cat, Jeb Buse. 10-11-71 plays 10-7-67. Quarter hour mark, third term.
Have a camera on the left goalpost, but hard to see around the right goalpost to make a definitive decision. So got a bit of work for the technology, but it did the job there. Buse kicks the Cats up towards the wing. Himmelberg dropped the mark, was man-o-legged. The Cats are away regardless. Dempsey looks out to close. He's breaking it right half forward. No one between he and the goals. Hand passes over the top to Ola Henry, losing his footing. Hand pass to Dangerfield. Hand pass to Myers. He's normally a good option. He kicks a high ball inside 50. Neil in the pack. Can't take the mark. Iden for the Giants hasn't cleared it. Jeremy Cameron throws his hand in the air. Thought he was tackled when not in possession. Ware clears for the Giants. Kicks out towards Cadman. Can't take the mark at Buse. Sees it out of play under the ridge. Hickey stand. Geelong leading by 4 points here at the Cattery. 10-11-71 to the Giants 10-7-67. The Tigers by 2 points over the West Coast Eagles at the MCG earlier. And the Brisbane Lions lead 2-3-15 over the Kangas 1-6 approaching quarter time down in Tassie.
Neil and Riccardi again. Riccardi taps it to the back. Overrunning it there, Max Holmes. Callaghan goes in for the Giants. Feeds out a handball. Ash can't gather it cleanly. And still the umpire lets them rumble. Somehow Dempsey extracts it. Kicks to full forward. Taylor brave and skillful as he marks at fullback for GWS. Somewhat reminiscent, not quite as spectacular or as brave with the footsteps coming as Mark Keane last night. What a mark that was.
That was amazing, wasn't it? Wasn't that a brilliant moment? A brilliant game of footy.
Iden on a back flank. Sends the Giants up to the wing. Himmelberg plucks it out of the sky. He's got it beneath the Reg Hickey stand wing.
And he looks for options across half forward. Just tries to send it as long as he can. Hogan's the target. He and Cadman fly in the air. They collide in the end. O'Sullivan gathers for the Cats. He's tackled and locked up in the end. Joey Delana and the umpire will ball it up at left half forward for the Giants. The Fijian subbed into the match at the expense of Jake Stringer, who's out with a hamstring injury after 2 goals in the opening half. Riccardi doing the ruck work, wins down the tap. It's the Geelong side that gathers though. Myers around his body, up towards Ollie Henry. It bounces off his knee, through the hands of Callaghan. Got it to Ware. The Giants into the forward pocket. Jeff Buse is happy to see it trickle out of play, and a boundary thrown in the left forward pocket for the Giants. Cats leading by 4 points. 17 minutes gone in the third term.
So they haven't had a heap of looks inside their forward 50 this term, but I just haven't been able to lock it in long enough. Kes talked about a couple of repeat stoppages before, but really, to put some pressure on this Geelong outfit, they need to keep the ball in their forward half, and the Cats have been able to get out way too easily in this third term.
Yeah, only their 4th inside 50 of the match as Neil punches it straight back over the boundary line on the full, and the umpire says that's a GWS free kick. Sort of put his hand to his head as if to say, what have I done immediately?
He got too much of it, I think, is what happened. He got way too much of it. You can't do that.
So Tom Green to take the free kick. The mark set 47 metres out, right on the boundary line.
Really tough pocket to kick from over that far side. That sort of open area on the grandstand just provides this breeze that should probably push this left to right.
This will take some sort of kick. Tom Green.
Stop it.
Has done it from the impossible angle.
Wow.
Tom Green with a brilliant goal. And again, the lead flips for an 8th time in this match. The Giants lead by 2 points, 11-7-73, plays 10-11-71, 19 minutes into the third. I remember many years ago, in 2005-6, I reckon, Michael Braun hit the post from out there to try and win a game for the West Coast Eagles against the all-conquering Cats, and they went down by a point, but Tom Green went one better.
No, that's
it through the middle.
That is a bit special from Tom Green. And it might come down, this game might come down to the way it's been played, just little moments and having something out of nothing moment. And that's certainly one of those for the Giants. There's been so much good quality play end-to-end all evening long, but sometimes you just got to maximise your opportunity, and that might be a moment we look back upon at the end of the game and say, well, that might have been the turning point.
Tom Green in his 5th year, game 100 this afternoon. What a way to have a signature moment. Bailey Smith trying to get the clearance. He lost it to Toby Green. He kicks the Giants inside 50. Hogan caught behind. De Koning with a little fumble. Under the pressure, he gets a hand pass out to Buse, who kept it in play. In the end, he kept his footing. Hand pass back to De Koning. The Cats are out of defence. Hand pass to Bailey Smith on the Reg Hickey stand wing. Sends it up towards Dangerfield, trying to shove Buckley out of the way. Off hands, it came down to the front. Running onto it, Callaghan for the Giants. Hand pass away to Whitfield. Wants to try and switch, but he's under enormous pressure. Kicks out to Cal Ward. Awkward bounce for him against Clark. He fires out a hand pass. Bumped off at Ango.
Bodies.
Sliding in as Thomas. Close over the top of him. It's a great contest. Ware got it forward. Callaghan as well. The Tsunami charges forward. And here goes O'Halloran.
Handball out in front of Angove. The debutant takes a bounce. Nearly run down by Holmes. Off to Thomas. He'll kick inside 50, a floater. And De Koning in front of Hogan, he marks.
He had Delano all by himself, 35 metres out in the corridor.
De Koning kicks laterally away to Connor O'Sullivan. He'll float it out wide to Myers. A little bit of respite here for the Cats. Giants by 2 points. They turning tonight. Down here at the Cattery is Myers. His kick is pinpoint for a sliding blitz halves. He gives it off to the dash of Bailey Smith. Down the Hickey stand wing. Kicks up to close. Cluttered into as he marks. Umpire pays it.
It's a big result for the Giants, though.
Just holds it up.
Because they were off. Had he marked that unopposed, they were off. They had numbers streaming back to goal. And it would have been a walk-in for the Cats. Professional free kick, that one.
So Close has it. 55 metres out from home, but it's allowed the Giants get numbers back. Cameron leading. Dangerfield ignored. Close puts it to the hot spot. Ollie Henry looks to fly. Riccardi, what a game he's had. He's got that glove and a vice-like mark as he takes it 15 metres out from his defensive goal. Around the back, the hand pass to Buckley, who kicks out to Cal Ward. He marks in the right back pocket. The Giants by 2 points. A seesawing afternoon, which the Cats have booted 1 goal 3 in this third term. The Giants 2 straight. Ward long down the wing. In from the side. Cal Brown takes the mark. This time Riccardi put the block on. He looks up. Cadman's on a long lead up against O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan spoils it down. Clever from Angove. Got a hand pass over the top to Cadman. He has options inside 50. Can he get a bounce here? Clever tap on to Thomas into the open goal, who sets it up. Joey Delaney involved with a tap over the top, and a classy finish from the Giants as they worked it from half back inside 50, and they combined. And Harvey Thomas, who hadn't touched it in the first half, he now has a goal this afternoon, and the Giants lead by 8 points. 12-7-79 to the Cats, 10-11-71. Pretty clever from Delaney in the end to come up with a goal assist. Kieran Peterson alongside Daniel Harford.
That was incredible for a guy in his second game to have the presence of mind to be able to just flick it over the back and almost Harlem Globetrotter style, wasn't it, Half? But you talked before about some big moments and the goal from Tom Green over, and it was Green in the pocket on the other side. But, geez, there's been some big one-on-one defensive wins in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Callum Brown out here on the wing, big contested mark just to get his team rolling forward. There's one over with Dangerfield too. I think it was Jack Buckley.
Yeah, huge.
Big win, D50.
Good call.
That goes into a mark. It's a different ball game.
Restart in the middle. Briggs tapping it out for Toby Green. Worried out of it there by Bailey Smith. Blitz halves. Handball for Holmes, who shows his clean pair of heels. Runs through the bullseye. Kicks inside 50. Good mark. Didn't allow it to get there, Buckley. Intercepts for the Giants. Gives it off to Fonte, who chips it short for Thomas. He's come to life in his second half. Member of my brethren, and he's got it on the outer edge of the square. Giants by 8 points. Thomas puts his boot through it. Up towards half forward. Up they go. Brown can't mark. Hogan roves the pack. Gets a handball away. O'Sullivan leaves it behind. And then Atkins wins it on the back flank for the Cats. Handball to Clark. Handball to Bowes. Bowes unsure, but gets rid of it to O'Connor.
O'Connor pulls his kick cleverly to Bailey Smith. The Cats run the broadcast wing. Hand pass to Mitch Duncan. Pokes it over the top to Tyson Stengel. He's kicked 3 behind so far this afternoon. Into the pocket for Jeremy Cameron. Was he brought down by Connor Iron? He was. And Jez will get the shot on goal deep in the left forward pocket. He's about 40 metres out from goal, and this is the wrong side for the left footer.
Good controlled possession there by the Cats. It was in flow, but they just managed to do the easy thing, take the easy option all the way down the field. Made the Giants defend them, and in the end, I'll tell you what, it was just a trip. They tripped legs, interlocked legs was what happened there for that free kick given away by the Giants, where Jeremy Cameron now has his shot. It's a bit stiff.
Jeremy Cameron, deep in the left forward pocket, has 2 goals so far this afternoon.
If anyone can.
Cameron starts his approach. Drop punt in hand. Fires with his left boot towards the left goal post, and it's the wrong side of it. The left-hand side and a minor score. Giants lead by 7 points, 25 minutes gone. Third term here on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, down in Hobart, it's still the Brisbane Lions who hold a 9-point advantage there.
As Iden looking to handball it to Ward, was a little wide of the target, out of play, throwing half forward for the Cats.
Sorry, Cameron's just spent a lot more time forward this quarter. Second quarter, we saw him have a real impact up on the wing. Haven't seen much of that at all in this third term. Something they might look at in the last quarter if they need to get things rolling, the Cats.
Giants by 7 points. Nice high throw in from the boundary umpire. Briggs brings it down to the front. Picking it up is Fonte. Releases Callaghan, who kicks around the members' wing. Up to a contest. Zach Guthrie. Good intercept mark. The Hooch back with it. He goes back inside the D50 for O'Connor. Didn't know Toby Green was shouting something at Jeremy Cameron as he took his set shot on goal. 2 of the inaugural Giants. There as it's moved on to Atkins. He kicks to half forward. Bailey Smith in a collision with Taylor. Free kick. And tunnelling there. So Taylor the free kick. Callaghan takes the advantage. Giants through the corridor.
Into the middle of the ground for Tom Green. Hand pass to Callaghan. Draws an opponent. Hand pass to Ash. Just got his kick away as Stengel was looming. Up towards Hogan. 1-on-1 with O'Sullivan. And he juggles the mark on the third bite. He's a hard man to stop, Jesse Hogan, when he's in front. And certainly the youngster Connor O'Sullivan in his 10th game is realising what a challenge it is.
He's out of position a little bit too, Jesse Hogan. So just the ability to be able to manoeuvre his body and get his opponent on the other side while the ball's in flight is so underrated. And then to be able to juggle the mark on the way down, that's a true contested mark and great forward craft. I mean, Connor O'Sullivan didn't really do anything too wrong in that contest. He was just outplayed by a stronger, bigger-bodied opponent.
Jesse Hogan booted 9 against the West Coast Eagles. He's got 4 this afternoon. Directly in front, 35 metres out. Hogan for number 5. He puts it straight through the middle. And the Giants are answering every challenge at the moment. That's 3 goals on the bounce for them to stretch it out to a 13-point lead. 13-7-85 to the Cats, 10-12-72. That's 4 goals in this third quarter to the Cats, 1 goal for. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson, your experts, Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it's a transition again from the back half of the ground, back through the middle. Callaghan was involved, and Lockie Ash got it deep. Tom Green as well. So all their guns are having a big influence when they're going well. So the challenge for the Cats is to try and minimise the influences of those key players for the Giants when they get possession. Almost lock them out and let somebody else beat you, because you can't let those guys do it. They seemingly have a really good system and chemistry and ability to find each other in traffic, and they don't find each other in space.
It's a really good career that Jesse Hogan is putting together now, and I love it because it's never too late to become what you might have been. As Atkins gets the clearing kick for the Cats inside 50. Neal brings it down. Stengel Rhodes goals! Cats answer quickly out of the middle and keep themselves within striking distance. Back to 7 points. 13-7-85 plays 11-12-78. The Giants lead late in this third term. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson.
Mike, on your man, Half, you called that at half-time that Geelong needed the likes of Stengel to start to get involved, and he's lifted his work rate in this third term. He hasn't had a huge impact overall. It's only his 9th disposal, but he's had 6 tackles, and I'd imagine that probably 3 or 4 of those have come in this second half, and then terrific forward craft. Just to be at the drop of the ball, great finish, and again, the contest by Neal in the air was outstanding.
7 disposals, 3 tackles and a goal in this third term.
There you go.
Bryson Stingle. So he has been one to elevate for the Cats. A very handy. He's the 10th goal kicker, I think, too. So variation makes it difficult for the Giants to stop. Game on.
Had 3 behinds before then. Briggs is able to sock it off the deck, gets it to half forward for the Giants. Going back is Bowes. Hand pass out for the Cats. Finds Mitch Duncan at half back and around the wing. Ollie Dempsey receives the short pass and marks centre wing. Swings onto his right-hand side. Long kick towards Neil and Dangerfield. Dangerfield was shoved out of it. Buckley got rid of Neil and taking the mark. Sam Taylor at the very back for the Giants. Works it out to Fonte at right half back. He sends a high ball up towards Hogan. Up against Zach Guthrie. Jesse's too big, too strong and takes the mark. He's got Riccardi leading into the pocket. Puts it out in front of him and he takes the mark in front of Jed Buse. Out to the right, 50 metres out from home.
Well, they had a player running back through the middle of the ground. It was Brown, it might have been. But ended up kicking it to Riccardi, who's playing like Stuart Lowe this afternoon.
Sticky mitts, hasn't he?
Big, massive mitts, and he catches everything. He's very impressive.
Jake Riccardi yet to hit the scoreboard so far today. He comes in and gives it everything. It won't quite have the journey. In the pack is Brown. Couldn't take the mark. First back onto it, though. His hand pass to Angove. Keeps it alive. Hogan's a look-away hand pass. Deep in the pocket. Kick is smothered in the end as it spilled out the way of the Giants. It ricochets out for the Cats, and Connor Iden's going to be first to get back onto it. Hand pass away to Ash. Swings onto his right boot. Reloads inside 50. Getting back Cameron. Couldn't complete the mark. Giants putting the pressure on. It's kept alive in the end by O'Halloran. Spills out in the end to Max Holmes. He's high and up under kick to half-back. Bledsoe crashes the back as Whitfield looked like he'd take the mark. And here's the chance for Dempsey at half-back.
Paddling to his own advantage. He gives the handball infield. Atkins, nowhere to go. Goes back to Dempsey. Now Dempsey will kick up to half forward, looking for Neil. Works his opponent underneath it, doesn't complete the mark. Down at ground level, he goes in again. Harvey Thomas arrives, fights the much bigger man, halves the contest, forces a ball up, left half forward for the Cats.
What a great battle. What a terrific game of footy this is. 2 high-quality teams.
Right beneath the fairy floss skies, down here at Cardinia Park, hues of purple and dark blue. Briggs taps it down to Tom Green. Off to Ash, kick smothered, comes out to Manor, fires on goal. Back there is Taylor. Sprawling mark in the back pocket. I think I'm quite a poet just yet, Half and Kez.
I'm happy with it.
Giants leading by 7 points. Very nearly three-quarter time.
And there it is, right on cue. A good quarter for the Giants. They put 4 goals straight to Geelong's 2-4. And at three-quarter time, it's the Giants who lead by 7 points. 13-7-85. The Cats 11-12-78 after the Giants led by 10 points at quarter time and the Cats led by a point at half time. For the Giants, 5 goals to Jesse Hogan, 2 to Jake Stringer, who was subbed out of the match at half time with what we believe is a hamstring injury. Individual goals to Toby Green, Cadman, Ward, Tom Green in game 100 and Xavier O'Halloran. While for the Cats, 2 goals to Jeremy Cameron, individuals to Manor, Duncan, Dempsey, Meyer, Neil, Dangerfield, Henry and Close. Three-quarter time at Cardinia Park. It's the Cats who trail by 7 points. Meanwhile, down in Hobart, it's the Kangas who have taken the lead by 2 points. A goal to McKercher, a goal to George Wardlaw. And North Melbourne 3 straight 18 to Brisbane 2-4-16. But Eric Hipwood has just marked at the top of the goal square. So Brisbane take back the lead in the second quarter. The Lions in front by 4 points there. Earlier today, it was Richmond who prevailed over the West Coast Eagles by 2 points. Tom Brown with a big tackle late in the match, which allowed the Tigers to prevail by 2 points. 11-15-81 to the Eagles, 11-13-79. Sam Banks got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year from Luke Ball. And the West Coast Eagles still searching for their first win of season 2025. What a humdinger we've got here at the Cattery. The final quarter still to come. This is Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
The Exxon Valdez supertanker
Salman Rushdie's the satanic
People's Liberation Army have
Step back to the 80s for the end of an era.
I am excited.
Season 3 of The Newsreader, Sunday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
That's that long run up. Jesse Hogan stutters as well. His drop punt starts right, comes back, sneaks through. Giants with the first of the second half. And it's 4 for Jesse Hogan. And it is another lead change in this game. Picked up by Holmes on the wing. Another driving ball inside 50 for the Cats. Taylor swirls, spills down to Bailey Smith. Take 2 for Bailey. Snaps on goal. Dempsey marks. Right on the goal line. Outbodies his opponent in the bigger Harry Himmelberg. And now casually snaps it through. A 7th lead change.
The Giants, probably for the last 5 or 6 minutes, have just really struggled to move it beyond their sort of half back line. Mostly because of the way that the Cats are set up behind the ball. They're just, again, set up beautifully. There's nowhere to go for the Giants. And when they do try and bite off one through the middle, it's being turned over by the Cats. So, well and truly game on here.
So Tom Green to take the free kick. The mark set 47 metres out, right on the boundary line. This will take some sort of kick. Tom Green has done it from the impossible angle. Wow. Tom Green with a brilliant goal.
Jesse Hogan printed 9 against the West Coast Eagles. He's got 4 this afternoon. Directly in front, 35 metres out. Hogan for number 5. He puts it straight through the middle. And the Giants are answering every challenge at the moment. That's 3 goals on the bounce for them.
Atkins gets the clearing kick for the Cats inside 50. Neal brings it down. Stengel Rhodes goals! Cats answer. Quickly out of the middle.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
Jesse Hogan has 5 goals for the Giants, who lead by 7 points at three-quarter time, chasing a 5th consecutive victory down at Kardinia Park, a place where not many teams are able to win. 13-7-85 to the Cats, 11-12-78. Matt Klitsch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson are your experts. Before we hear from them, Lauren Borden on the boundary, a bit of a concern for Toby Green.
Yeah, at the very end of that third quarter, he just stayed on the turf after the siren, holding onto his right ankle. He's been on the ground throughout this whole three-quarter time break, getting attention from the doctor. So I couldn't see, his back is to me, so I couldn't see if he's taken his boot off, but it's a right ankle issue that he's got. He's still sitting on the ground at the moment. It looks like he's putting his boot back on now. So I don't think anything's stopping Toby Green from getting out there in the last quarter, but he was definitely grising in pain at the end of the third.
Thanks, Loz. Ted Closer yet to be used, the sub for the Cats. Jake Stringer was subbed out in the second quarter, and Joey Delana came in for the Giants. The thoughts of Daniel Harford and Kieran Peterson. It's the Giants who lead by 7 points.
Well, the other T. Green might be a key player in this last term. He had 10 disposals in that third one, kicked a goal as well, and really did help set the Giants alight, kicking with those 4 of the 6 goals for the quarter. Callahan was the other one who impressed, really did impress with the way he's working through this contest. 10 disposals for him as well. Ash and Whitfield 8 and 6 apiece. Bailey Smith was the one that led it for the Cats. I love watching him play. He is that release player they try and get the ball to between the arcs, and he's a real go-forward player. He's a 70-metre, 80-metre player. Gets it, runs, and then kicks it his full distance more often than not, and just puts defences and opposition teams under enormous pressure. So seeing him live in action has been a joy this afternoon, but he needs a bit more support, I reckon, through the middle of the ground. Clearances back in favour of the Giants through that third term, and if they can manage that part of the game in this last quarter, Kez, I think they'll be really tough to overrun if they can just get some territory against the Cats. And the longer this game goes in terms of the energy required from both teams, it looks to me, I might be wrong, it looks to me like the Giants might be the beneficiaries of that. The Cats, the way they play and how hard they've had to work in transition offensively and defensively today, they might just be starting to run out of gas. I reckon that might be a problem for Chris Scott and his boys in this last term.
Yeah, I can guarantee that however many 25, 30,000 Cats supporters that are here tonight to watch this game had their eyes on Toby Green at that three-quarter time huddle, because their memories and nightmares of Toby Green in the last quarter down here, they would have been hoping and praying he wasn't going to play out the rest of the game.
Starting out there.
He is starting out there,
yep.
So good news for the Giants. The only thing that's really going in Geelong's favour, to sort of just rebut your argument there, because I actually agree with you, Half, is that Geelong have won the final quarters this year in games by an average of 18 points. So they do seem to find a way to come home strong and be able to put a score on the board, and they're going to need to, because they find themselves 7 points down here. But yeah, I agree. I think the Giants just look like they've got a little bit more run in their legs. They're just finding a way. Every time it goes forward for the Cats, it needs to be perfect. Otherwise, the Giants are managing to intercept with their great defender, Sam Taylor, Connor Iden, whoever's playing back there. They're doing a great job. Jack Buckley on Dangerfield. But them going forward is messy, and it just looks like that orange tsunami that we've come to know.
Yeah, they've won 7 final quarters, Geelong. GWS have only lost 1 as well. So they're a very good finishing team. The final term underway and a free kick going the way of the Cats and Blitzarves. Giants led it by 7 points. Blitzarves gives it off to Bailey Smith. Pokes it short to Holmes. Runs his measure. Drives it from 50. It just slides right. Maybe nicked the post on the way through.
Jeez, what a start that would have been.
Yeah. Blitzarve's going to be important this last quarter, I reckon. He might be the one that can win the game for them. He's got to quell Briggs' influence at contest and then try and get used in general play as well and get some looks inside forward 50, I reckon.
What about the Dash brothers as well? Holmes and also Bailey Smith, both involved there.
Lockie Ash brings the Giants back into play, takes a bounce, sends it as far as he can, up to the Reg Hickey stand side. Himmelberg dropped an easy mark in the end, hand pass to Toby Green, he loses it. Dempsey squeezes a kick forward, Atkins runs on for Geelong, chips it into the pocket, looking for Dangerfield, can't pull in the one-handed mark against Ash, gets a hand pass away to Henry, hand pass to Atkins who kept going, to Manor, who dribbles through the first goal of the final term. Here come the Cats. If you didn't think we'd end up here, here we are. Scores level. Geelong 12-13-85. The Giants 13-7-85. What a vintage final term we have in store for you on ABC Sport. Ahead of half and Kez, Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Jai Clark that's at the back of the bench. So both subs have been used. Jake String obviously was a forced one off. Jai Clark just off tactically.
Great start for the Cats. We saw it before with the Holmes kick shot for goal, which just went to the wrong side for them, but they've owned the ball in this first couple of minutes of this last term, and great finish from Manor under pressure there. It was Ashton and Dangerfield 1-on-1 from the kick, and you can sort of find your matchups all over the shop sometimes, and the ball comes back in quickly, and Danger's ability just to hold the space and then tap it to his teammates was a very, very important part of that goal there. Puffy back in action.
Last 2 goals of the game for the Cats, either side of the three-quarter time break. Tapped down by Blitzarves. Toby Green getting out of handball. Straight to Ash, who's tackled by Bailey Smith. With that Finn Callahan, he helps him back up to his feet. Umpire throws it up, slapping it down Briggs. Toby Green dispossessed of it. Tom Green trying to get a kick away. Slews off the side of the boot. Whitfield picks it up off the Callahan. Now some go forward for the Giants. Kicks inside 50. Brown can't mark. Sam de Koning cleans up, clears with the kick up to the wing for the Cats. Arden drops the mark. Where roves the pack? Handball for GWS to Toby Green, to Briggs, to Tom Green. All of this by hand. He'll kick out wide. Out to the Hickey stand wing. Himmelberg takes it, looks inside 50. Overshoots Hogan, out the back it goes. Zach Guthrie in the back pocket for Geelong.
One way then the other, corralled by Cal Brown. Good kick it was. He found Max Holmes, who looks up and has a couple of metres for Bailey Smith. Takes the mark in front of Tom Green. Hand pass to O'Shea Mullen. He cups around Tom Green. Hand pass away to De Koning. Links up once more with Mullen. Gets it to Myers. All of a sudden Geelong starting to get their game going. Hand pass back to Bailey Smith. His third involvement inside 50. Dangerfield flies in the pack. Can't take the mark. Connor Iden front and centre. Knocks it out for the Giants. Got it to Ash. Almost brought down by Henry. Gets the hand pass away to Himmelberg. Back to Iden. Kicks up towards Tom Green. At right half back. He breaks the tackle and is away. Got away from Bailey Smith. Kicks up towards Brown. Zach Guthrie got there late. Brown gathers. Gets the hand pass away inside 50. Hogan takes the mark. The Giants playing the counter-attack here. He had O'Halloran over the top, who gave the pass to Hogan. In the end, he's now going to have the set shot on goal, shooting for his 6th of the afternoon.
Right decision. He's the man tonight. He's kicked 5 goals. You may as well go back and slot your 6th. That was, geez, they nearly made a huge error in the middle of the ground because Jesse Hogan was on his own probably 8 or 9 seconds and just needed to find him, and they did.
The Coleman medalist starts his approach outside 50, out to the right, kicking from 40 metres out. Hogan comes in for number 6. What a finish. Stand up when your team needs it most, and he puts the Giants back in front by that goal. He is a one-man show so far this afternoon for the Giants. 14-7-91 to the Cats, 12-13-85. And after Geelong scored first in the opening minute of the final term, the Giants answer back after 4.
It's another goal from D50. That was a intercept or a spoil down in their defensive 50. They were able to work it out by hand. Ended up with Tom Green was actually being lazy, which is unusual for Tom Green. Just stayed in the middle of the ground once the ball had got out of his area. He was just having a bit of a blow and ended up falling at his feet. And that was the moment, because then he kicked out to, I can't remember who it was, maybe Himmelberg, that Guthrie had to leave Hogan and come up and try and influence the contest. He didn't, and that meant Hogan was going to be free by himself. Guthrie did the right thing. He did exactly what he had to do, But in the end, because of that contest down at defensive 50, they were able to get the goal.
Back in the middle of Cardinia Park, tapping it out there quickly is Blitzarves. Out to Holmes. He'll swing a kick to half forward for the Cats. No one able to mark it. Ball hits the deck. Buckley shovels out a handball for GWS. It's centre half back. Callahan to Whitfield. Handball to Briggs. The big ruckman goes for a run. Thumping kick inside 50. The two Cats collide. Out the back it goes. Zach Guthrie, the last Cat. He sorts it out in defence. Knocks it to Mullen. He's tackled. Ball upcoming. Right forward pocket. Here for GWS. They lead it by one straight kick. 6 minutes into the fourth. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Thrown in the air. Blitzarves wins down the tap against Briggs. Spills out to Hogan though. Hand pass to Green. Trying to get a shot on ball. Curls onto his left and he misses in game 100. It's a good goal from out at range in the left forward pocket. Last quarter this time misses. The Giants by 7 points. Duncan quickly brings them in. Finds Bowes who works it in the middle of the ground and Shannon Neal takes the mark.
So Neal just assessing his options. Now he goes for a little run. He'll send it long towards centre half forward for the Cats. Ward, he was held, impeded and still marked it. Opposed to Closey, gives it off to Ash. And then in charcoal and orange, Ash goes short. O'Halloran takes it, pokes it into the middle, kick, dodgy, great pick up Whitfield. Handball not so good. That's a turnover. Duncan takes it back.
Oh, wow.
Half back there for the Cats. His handball not great. Delana gets involved. So too McMullen. Now he sends a kick into the pocket. Hogan's down there, 2 against 1. Halves the contest. Goes to ground level. Handball away. Delana. Kick it, Joey. No. He missed on the snap.
Gee, Hogan's work's fantastic, isn't it?
Oof.
Just so strong. Just to be able to maintain his feet and fire a handball out that's on target from that sort of contest is incredible.
Giants lead it by 8. 7 minutes into the fourth. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Holmes got it from Zach Guthrie. Chips it over the top to Sam DeConing. Can work it around the boundary line and Ted Closey, the sub into the action, takes the mark at the expense of Jai Clark as Lauren Borden told you down on the boundary. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron call the action. Karen Peterson and Daniel Harford, your experts on Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Stengel leads up, takes the mark centre wing. On the members' side here at Geelong, he's called to play on. Wanted to go short to Holmes, now has to kick long in the direction of Shannon Neal. He flies in the pack. Dangerfield got there late. Beautifully read in the end. McMullen runs onto it, jams it onto his left boot, kicks up towards Toby Green. Allows Zach Guthrie to slide in front, and the reliable Geelong defender takes the mark.
Bites off the kick into the middle for Duncan. He'll look inside 50 and look long. Dempsey's down there. Henry too. Dempsey out the back. Gathers it. Gets it on the boot. Somehow Dempsey. A work of magic. Flicked it onto his boot to kick his second. And it's back to 2 points. It is a grandstand finish on a Sunday night in Geelong. 14-9-93 at GWS. Geelong 13-13-91. 9 minutes into the fourth.
Love the way he just gets in such dangerous positions, Ollie Dempsey, for the Cats, playing that out open side winger more often than not. He's the one that rolls back to help defensively and gets going forward when they get a chance as well. And that's his 15th goal for the year, I think it is. So
yep.
Extraordinary return for a player of that position.
He's got the most goals of anyone playing on a wing this year.
That makes a lot of sense.
Beautiful insight from you, Half.
We're working beautifully together. Can't wait for that duck to start falling down again. That's going to be good. He's just such an impressive talent. Leaps at the ball really high. He's got a great aerobic tank, clearly. And again, a bit like Myers before in that second term, boot the ball was so quick.
Back in the middle of the ground, a chance for the Giants, although the hand pass was a little too sharp and Holmes pinched it in the end. His Blitzarves taken high by McMullen, who got away the initial hand pass he was, and the free kick will go the way of the Cats. Hand pass to Max Holmes. Duncan almost too slow as Cal Brown came chasing after him. Awkward bouncing ball for O'Shea. Mullen couldn't gather and go for the Giants. Hand pass to Whitfield. Awkward bouncing ball for Graham Myers. Couldn't gather. Whitfield does, though. Hand pass for the Giants. Got it out to Tom Green. Back to Angove. Kicks up towards Toby Green at half forward. Can't take the mark with O'Connor in tow. Spills out the way of Cadman. Trying to kick out in front of Toby Green. Racing back inside 50. O'Connor's all over him. Angove slides in, a third involvement for the debutant. He knocks it out. A chance for the Cats. O'Connor knocked it straight out, but it's straight to Cadman. Long ball towards the goal square. Getting back, Max Holmes takes the mark.
It's another winger pushing back to the last line to help for the Cats.
Holmes just settles it down for a moment. Giants by 2 points. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Daniel Harford, Kieran Peterson, Lauren Borden, kick. Just gets to Bailey Smith in the back pocket. One headband wearer to another. He moves it on to De Koning. Still inside their defensive arc, the Cats. De Koning back to fullback and Holmes again. Holmes looks longer, out to the Hickey stand wing. In the O'Sullivan direction. Drops the mark, gathers on the bounce. Now he's under the pump, gets rid of it. Away to Myers. Myers will poke a kick and waits it beautifully for Buse. Has running room in front of him. Takes the grass, forward of the wing. Looks long inside 50. Danger! Or should we say Modra? Up he goes and gets it. 40 out, 45-degree angle, and the chest is puffed out as he'll go back and kick for the lead.
It's a power puff. That's what that is. That's a real power puff from Paddy. I'll tell you what he did. He got rid of Taylor beautifully. As this ball was coming in, I was watching that matchup, and he just was able to, with his strength, just shrug him off and then get back to the ball. He put Taylor off balance. That's how strong it was, the shove. And then he got back to the footy, and there was no one else going near that footy. Puffy had his moment.
Socks up. Boot to ball from 45, kicking for the lead. Not to be. Halves the deficit, though, from 2 points down to 1. 14-9-93 plays 13-14-92. 12 minutes played, final term. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
Ricky Whitfield brings the Giants back into play. Hogan's worked a long way up the ground. He marks it left half back. You can hear the locals trying to get involved with their geelong chant. Hogan at left half back, 6 goals for the afternoon. Jake Stringer booted too early, but he has played a lone hand. Toby Green pretty quiet after quarter time. He's had a great record here at Kardinia Park. The Giants work it through Hogan up to Cal Ward. The Giants games record holder trying to sell some candy around O'Connor. Has to pull his kick inboard and finds Tom Green. And switch it out to the Hickey stand wing. There's options aplenty out there. Buckley takes the mark. They all run into the space. It's left for Ash, who runs into it centre wing. He takes the mark, but Geelong are well set. They have their grid in the middle of the ground, so the Giants will have to take a risk. Into the middle of the ground for Sam Taylor, but no closer to goal. Switches it out to the member side, where Connor Iden takes the mark. The Cats just shuffle across. Out wider still to Cal Ward. He has it between wing and half forward, below our commentary box. It's the Giants who lead by a point.
Good saves orchestrated the defence behind. He's the conductor at the minute.
Ward called to play on. Send it long to Hogan. That's the plan. Riccardi's in the pack as well. Spoiled down by De Koning. O'Sheen Mullen onto it. Players dive on top of him. And over the shoulder. A free kick going the way of the Cats.
It's a sloppy free. They shouldn't have gone anywhere near giving away a free. They had him toasted 3-on-1. They could not afford to give that free kick away.
Thoughts of Daniel Harford alongside Kieran Peterson, your analysts in this game. Mullen moves it on to Myers, who goes out wide to Guthrie. Back to Myers inside the defensive arc.
Both teams happy to play a bit of considered footy here.
Myers moves it on to O'Connor. The Irishman out to the wing, looking for De Koning. Right there with him, Harvey Thomas. The little man made a good effort, but De Koning too big. He marks. De Koning sets it up to half forward for the Cats. Punched away there by Jacob Webb. And a throw-in, 60 out from the Cats attacking goal. The G-men lead it by a point. 14 minutes into the fourth, that Geelong chant. As we always say, you know it's serious when that goes up.
In Hobart, the Brisbane Lions lead North Melbourne by 20 points, approaching halftime there. And breaking news from the match review officer, Zach Merritt has been cleared after his incident with Nick Blakey yesterday at Docklands. We'll bring you the latest in a few moments. Bowes tries to get a hand pass inside 50. Lockie Ash runs onto it and Stengel takes him over the boundary line.
That's the right decision, isn't it?
So in the view of the MRO, Merritt and Blakey approach the ball from opposite directions with Merritt's eyes on the ball. Merritt's attempt to tap the ball over Blakey's head, and after making contact with the ball, Merritt made high contact with Blakey. It was the view of the MRO that Merritt made a genuine attempt at the ball.
I think the fact that he touched the ball really helped him. Like if he'd missed the ball, might have been a bit of a different outcome. I think we're all happy with that. As Brown picks it up on the wing for GWS, hurries a kick up to half forward. Cadman trying to gather on the bounce, does well to keep it in front. Handball goes to Mullen though. Geelong with it. Myers, quick kick, gets it to Blitzarves. He's under the pump. Handball to Guthrie. The Giants are closing. Thomas tackling. Ball up in the middle. This is a great game of footy.
ever.
Hope you're enjoying it with us. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Finals-like atmosphere.
As the ball spills clear, the Giants leading by a point. Trying to run onto it, Dempsey spills out the way of Himmelberg. His hand pass is chopped off. Tom Atkins for Geelong at halfback. Hand pass to Blitzhouse. Has to ride the tackle of Riccardi. Gets it closely. Ran straight into Ward. Laid a big tackle. Back to Riccardi. Trying to knock it out for the Giants. In goes Grime Myers. Hand passes it to Riccardi, who's sitting down. He hand passes it to Tom Green. Away to Ward. Now a chance for O'Halloran. Inside 50. Cadman rises. Can't take the mark. Spoiled by Mark O'Connor. Tom Green wants onto it. Great hand pass away. Got it forward to Lana, into the open goal, Hogan for number 7. Jesse Hogan, he is proving the difference here at the Cattery. The Giants lead by 7 points as Jesse Hogan boots his 7th. He has 2 in the final term, and he is putting on an absolute show. The Giants 15-9-99 to the Cats 13-14-92. 2 goals apiece so far in this final term. Karen Peterson and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, what a performance by Hogan. 7 goals, my goodness me. But up until that point, really the fourth quarter's been played around the boundaries. Half you mentioned it, considered football. I was going to say conservative football, and it was going to be whichever team blinked first. You know, which one was going to be prepared to take the middle of the ground, take the risk, but the high reward comes with it, and that's exactly what the Giants got in that passage of play. It was scrappy, it was messy, it was really high pressured, and they just managed to get weight of numbers forward of the ball, and it resulted in a goal. It'll be interesting to see what they do from here.
Takes Jesse Hogan within 2 of the Coleman medal lead, despite the fact it's only his 6th game of the year. Some have played 9. Cats out of the middle again. Myers chiseling it inside 50 onto the chest of Stengel. Claims it low down. It is Ben King, for what it's worth, who's leading that on 27. Hogan now to 25 in his 6th game of the year.
He's going nicely. You can't defend that kick. That's why Myers is so important for the Cats in that area of the ground, just outside the arc. 6 on 6 at the centre bounce. They win that stoppage, get it forward. You're half a chance when Brian Myers has got the ball in his hands.
Would be in the keeping of this match if Stengel was to kick it. It's ebbed and flowed all day, and the Cats aren't done yet. Back to 1 point. 15-9-99. Plays 14-14-98. 2 for Stengel. 18 played. Final term Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson.
Well, that's why blitzarves are such an important piece of this puzzle. Talk about Brian Myers and his ball inside forward 50 when he gets those chances outside the arc. But blitzarves are so flexible that he can play in a position on the ground, and today he's had to do a job on Kieran Briggs, and he's trying to nullify his influence at contest, obviously, but also get involved during general play, and his ability to follow up from contest to contest is what's going to possibly break this game open. He's got Riccardi here now, so he gets a reprieve from Briggs. This is the opportunity for the Cats to again get a centre clearance, get it in their forward 50, lock it in, and make the Giants find a way past them.
On a Sunday night in round 9, a September preview here as the Cats get back within a point. In the middle of the ground, Riccardi wins down the tap against Blitzhouse. O'Halloran breaks away, takes a bounce as he runs away from Bailey Smith. Inside 50, Hogan's the target. Fly from the side was Cadman. Hogan almost took the mark. Was concerned for Cadman, who came flying from stage right and landed awkwardly, and Hogan really should have taken the mark. Chaos inside the forward 50 for the Giants. As it's thrown up 45 metres out, Blitzhouse straight down to Tom Green. Kick is smothered, bounces away from Harvey Thomas. Atkins got it to Smith, kicks the Cats to halfback. Dempsey got a cruel bounce, it was worked in the end by Himmelberg. Hand pass away as Delana feeds the hand pass back to Ash. He's run down by Ollie Henry, who gets him, holding the ball at left halfback for Geelong.
He gets shoved off the ball by Ash as well as he goes back to pick it up. Locals restless.
Yeah, probably had a fair point, the Locals, I reckon.
Giants by a point. 19 and a half minutes into the final term. Henry kicks out wide for Jezza. So Cameron with the football beneath the Hickey stand.
First touch this quarter for Jez.
Cameron kicks for a leading Dempsey, who bursts onto the ball, flicks the handball out, gets rid of it to Buse. Buse kicks inside 50, Neal. Mark set 46 metres out, 5 metres in from the boundary line, and he will need to recreate the goal of Tom Green in that third quarter. if he wishes to kick this.
All of his teammates are very confident. Anyone in the middle of the ground was pointing straight towards the goal as soon as he took that mark, so certainly got the backing of his teammates to have a ping at this.
Any score's helpful at this stage, I reckon.
Hard up against the advertising hoardings. Shannon Neal, boot the ball from 50. Just a little narrow for a moment. The goal umpire was statuesque and I thought it might have been going through. Scores level.
This game is absolutely poised for a Dangerfield or a Toby Green kind of piece of magic in the last 10 minutes.
Who can execute in the final 6 minutes as the ball is brought in by Whitfield. Finds McMullen in the left back pocket, call to play on. So Ollie Henry comes running at him. He looks out in the Hickey stand side. That's been the play for the Giants. Out towards Himmelberg. He and Taylor neither can take the mark, and off hands. It goes out of play. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
You're asking who's going to step up, and at the moment Paddy Dangerfield is standing here on the bench waiting to get back on. He's got Brian Myers, who's been a big part of this last quarter, and Max Holmes standing beside him as well.
Scores locked at 99 apiece. 21 minutes gone in the final term. The Giants looking for a 5th consecutive win here at Kardinia Park. The Cats looking to continue their climb up the ladder. Riccardi wins down the tap against Jeremy Cameron. Bailey Smith ran onto it. He's tackled and dispossessed. Ball spills forward. It's gathered in the end by Buse. Hand pass away to Duncan. Squeeze the kick forward to Jeremy Cameron. He loads up inside 50. Stengel! Did he hold on to the mark? He did. In the end, he was just able to put a little shove on and claim the mark in the left forward pocket. And Joe Fonte can't believe it. The footy is delivered to Tyson Stengel, who kicked 3 behinds early in the match. He now has 2 goals, 3, and a chance to put Geelong in front, but by how much? Slightly left of centre, only about 35 metres out from goal.
Now the Group 1 rotation comes in. Holmes, Dangerfield, Myers.
Inside the final 5 minutes of the match, so get your key players back involved. Tyson Stengel looking to stand up as he comes in, the small forward in the left forward pocket to return along to the lead. He flares it right, and it's only by a point. The pressure might get to everyone. Geelong by that behind. Ben Cameron and Matt Clinch calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Karen Peterson and Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport.
It's been goal for goal in the final term. Whitfield with the kick in. Long ball up to the wing. Himmelberg, good mark. Giants ball beneath the Hickey stand. Himmelberg just twirls the Sherrin in his hands. Wants the switch. It's dangerous. Dangerfield gets involved. Brings it to ground. Goes short. The kick low down. Not marked. Danger goes again. Picking it up. Taylor there for the Giants. Handball to Callaghan. Off to where the Giants should get out of danger. Handball from Iden. Away to Wash. Dangerous handball. Callaghan steps a couple. Now he kicks. He kicks into the middle of the ground. Delana's got to make it his. He wins the footy. It gets out of handball to Tom Green. Flicks it over the top. Here is Fonte. Fonte looking inside 50. Can't get it to a teammate in O'Halloran. Spoiled by Duncan. Cats in possession. Forward pocket though for the Giants. Green turns tackler. That's Tom Green. And it's held in. The umpire wants to ball it up.
When will teams learn not to switch the ball in the back line when Patrick Dangerfield is prowling? How many times have we seen him intercept balls in those situations?
Cats by a point, 24 minutes into the fourth.
Edge of your seat footy, heart and mouth as Toby Green tries to break clear. He's tackled by Max Holmes. The Giants have it inside their forward 50. Jesse Hogan has 7 goals. Who can stand up and be the hero? Blitzavs and Briggs over the top as it was tapped away by Guthrie, and Himmelberg is happy to see it out of play. It's at right half forward for the Giants. Geelong by a point, 14-16-100. The Giants 15-9-99. A thriller here as we tick towards 25 minutes gone in the final term. Umpire throws it back in. Blitzavs and Briggs. Briggs wins down the tap. On the move is Callaghan. Can't get a disposal away. Stripped of it was Duncan. Spills the way of Thomas. Kicks towards Hogan in the goal square. DeConing makes the spoil. Riccardi's after it. Trying to get boots a ball. Cuts an angle and kicks the goal. Jake Riccardi with a hammer drop in the forward pocket for the Giants. And they're back in front by 5 points. Stengel misses at one end. Riccardi goals at the other on the run. And it's a 5-point lead the Giants' way with 3 minutes to go. 16-9, 105 to the Cats, 14-16, 100. 3 goals apiece in this final term. Kieran Peterson and Daniel Harford on ABC Sport.
Well, the pressure is absolutely enormous down here at ground level. I would have thought that was going to be a Toby Green special. He was running at absolutely full tilt towards the ball in the direction of the goals, but it was Jake Riccardi who's had 17 disposals today. He's had absolutely sticky mitts all over the ground, and he just swings around on his left boot and sails it home. That's an incredible finish, but my goodness me, the pressure is absolutely enormous at the moment.
It's a Riccardi potentially kicking the winning goal down at the Cattery. It's not Peter, it's Jake.
Similar hairdos.
No relation, believe it or not, despite those similarities and the likeness. Can the Cats find another? Who will be in front when the siren sounds? 26 minutes into the fourth. The Giants just knocking it forward through O'Halloran. Picking it up though, Mullen. His handball, nearly a turnover. Flicks it on. Holmes. He gets a handball to Bailey Smith. Has to move it on quickly. Spins out of trouble. He'll kick the Cats out wide. Zach Guthrie's in space. Vacant 50. Looks to the pocket. Dempsey's there. Coming across Himmelberg. And he spoils it out of play. Throw-in coming. Left forward pocket. Giants lead it by 5 points. Still plenty of time. 26 and a half into the fourth. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
You need your stars to stand up when the game's on the line. The Giants leading by 5 points. Geelong in there attacking 50. Thrown in. Cameron doing the ruck against Briggs. Briggs wins down the tap. Whitfield gathers. Hand pass to Tom Green. Run down by Manor. Holding the ball. From the VFL to the big time, he was involved in their win over the Pies. There's a bit of hanging on going on by Tom Green. Geelong fans wanted 50. Manor veers out to the right, gets every millimetre. He went for home. His eyes lit up, but it's out of bounds on the full.
Need to rush it.
The composure that was needed was not there, and the Giants holding on to a 5-point lead.
It was a rush of blood. It was a big, big contest that he managed to win, and a bit of a rush of blood.
So the kick to be taken by Ash. Ash just gets it out of there for the Giants. Giants lead it by 5 points. The mark taken there by the Koning. It'll go back in for the Cats. Kicks inside 50. Danger, Blitzarves. Take your pick. Blitzarves will have it. Or is it danger? It's danger.
I reckon Blitzarves. They put it back to him.
Blitzarves.
Yeah, it's Blitzarves.
It ended with Blitzarves.
He jumped off it. He wanted no part of it. He thought, you have it, Skip, but the umpire did not have the wool pulled over his eyes. He said, no. That was definitely yours, Blitzarves.
Talked about him earlier in the quarter. His ability to get forward, press. In those scenarios might be the difference.
He is the Cats' Swiss Army knife. They're Mr. Fix-It. He does it all. Oh, he hits the post here. Rattles it into the woodwork. The Giants cling on. They lead it by 4. 28 and a half minutes into the final term. Mother's Day footy on ABC Sport.
There's under 90 seconds to go. Whitfield into the back pocket. Every man required, and Jesse Hogan's in the back pocket.
He's got to wait for everyone to come across. All the numbers are the other side.
He needs a target to kick to. He has to bang it as long as he can.
Disaster.
In the end, Myers is going to take an uncontested mark.
That's a horrible setup from the Giants.
Ango couldn't get there. Myers pulls his kick into the pocket. He wants Dangerfield, can't get it to him. And Ash takes the mark in front. It's desperate defending as Lockie Ash takes it in the back pocket, and it's his turn to gesture for players to set themselves on the broadcast wing. He has to kick as long as he can in the direction of Briggs and Riccardi. Toby Green's in the back. It's spoiled to the back. Angrove kicks off balance. No one's there though. Connor O'Sullivan underneath, and here goes the Cats.
Last roll of the dice for the Cats. Kicks into the middle. Smith spoils. It goes back to O'Sullivan. Handball to Smith. Swings it out wide to the wing. Here is O'Connor, driving ball inside 50. They need a mark down at ground level. Manor swings it on goal. It's wide of the target. It's out on the full. The Giants still by 4 points. And time is becoming an enemy here for the Cats. The Giants by 4 points.
Just have to execute here as Jesse Hogan does it. Long to half back, big packet, clears O'Sullivan. Running onto it, Himmelberg, he wants it over the line. And like a player in the NRL, he steps over it. And for half a moment, looks back to the umpire, says throw it in.
Good result for the Giants, really good result.
There is 10 seconds remaining. The Giants by 4 points. Throw in onto the Hickey stand.
Got to lock Bailey Smith and Holmes out of this, the Giants.
Sam DeConey's gone in the ruck. He's up against Briggs here. Briggs goes to the front, uncontested. DeConey tries to tackle him. It was a set play, didn't work. Harvey Thomas gathers, dribbles a kick around the wing. Running onto it is Myers. Half past to Closey. The Giants prevail by 4 points. And it's a 5th consecutive win at the Cats Fortress at Kardinia Park. What a thrilling final term. And Geelong will wonder about some of their moments which they couldn't capitalise. But it's the Giants by 4 points.
The mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking. The other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
Everyone takes a deep breath. Geelong 16-9-105. Prevail over Geelong 14-17-101. The Giants by 4 points as the Cats booted 3 goals 5 to 3 goals 2 in the final term. Sean Manor put it out on the full. Mark Blitz's shot hit the left goal post. And that's footy, as they say. The Giants prevail by 4 points as they snap a 3-game losing streak.
There's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking. The other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. Take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
The Giants led by 10 points at quarter time. The Cats by a point at half time before the Giants led by 7 points at 3/4 time. The Cats led by a point at the 19-minute mark of the final term before Jake Riccardi kicked what would prove to be the winner, as a couple of misses late for the Cats were left to wonder what could have been. For the winners, 7 goals to Jesse Hogan, the 4th time in his career he's kicked 7 goals or more. 2 goals to Jake Stringer, who was subbed out of the match in the second quarter. Individual goals to Ward, Thomas, Riccardi, O'Halloran, Toby Green and Tom Green alongside Aaron Cadman. While for the Cats, 2 goals to Stengel, 2 goals to Manor, 2 goals to Dempsey and 2 goals to Jeremy Cameron. Individuals to Neil, Myers, Ollie Henry, Mitch Duncan Dangerfield and Close. The Giants win by 4 points in front of a pretty parochial home crowd here on Mother's Day. Daniel Harford and Karen Peterson. It's pretty quiet as the Giants go about their celebrations.
Isn't it funny when you're on the road and you're a place like this and you win as the opposing team, the away team, there is just nothing. There's no support. There's no love for you whatsoever, Kez. You've got to make your own energy and noise. And boy, they did that through the afternoon, the Giants. And look, someone was going to be stiff to lose this. The quality of the game we saw from start to finish, someone was going to be stiff to lose. At the end, it's the Cats, and they'll lick their wounds. Like we did there, Benny, lick their wounds.
Yeah, I like it.
But the Giants, they will stomp in to their change rooms and sing a song, because it does break the losing streak, as you're saying. It just gives them that belief. It's like matchups. Carlton and Geelong the other week. Carlton played really well against Geelong. They beat them after a tough patch and they find their groove a bit.
Just on that, there was a period, I think, from the back end of last year where Carlton's only wins had come against West Coast, North. Richmond, North, and Geelong.
That's right, yeah. So you match up well against teams, you play well at different venues. This is one of those venues, and you can't underestimate the confidence that gives players, even though they're not playing their best footy, that they feel good. They come back here and there's a positive feeling with it. And I have no doubt that plays a part in what we saw from the Giants today, because they haven't played that well in a while. Certainly last week they were ultra disappointing against Sydney after being jumped in that first quarter. They were ultra disappointing. So to see them be able to manage Geelong, which is never easy to do here, from start to finish, albeit have some slips along the way, because you expect that from the Cats to come and get you at some stage, to be able to manage that moment and those scenarios late. Yes, Blitzars maybe should have kicked his, Stengel should have kicked his, and the shoes on the other foot. But I just reckon they'll get enormous confidence out of what they're able to elevate to, considering the level of play they've started or they've played in the last month of footy, Kes.
By far their probably best win of the season, I'd say. Just in the manner that they played, they had to overcome Geelong's run and some of their momentum shifts that they had. And to wrestle it back. And, yeah, I'm sure that they'll review the last couple of minutes and critique some of the mistakes that they might have made that gave Geelong a chance to get on top and win the game. But I think they'd be absolutely thrilled with the way that they played today. Some of their big names. I mean, Tom Green, he was outstanding. 37 touches. He kicked a goal. He had 17 contested possessions. He was unbelievable. Yeah. I haven't seen Finn Callaghan play live on many occasions, but I'm so impressed by his run and carry through the middle of the ground. Most of his possessions are one on half back, but he seems to be the driver and the one who runs through the middle of the ground, and he just doesn't make too many mistakes with ball in hand. I thought they were absolutely mighty impressive today, and they did it without the magic of Toby Green that we might have predicted might have happened, because he's done it so many times down here, but it was everyone else around him today that really stepped up, and I think they'll be absolutely stoked with that win today.
It's a funny game, footy. Last week it was Jack Crisp who had the shot after the siren. He misses. Geelong win. This week it was Mark Blitzavs who had it, 35 metres out, directly in front. Whether it was he or Dangerfield who had enough of the footy to be claimed the mark. I think Cats fans probably would have felt safer, and maybe Patrick Dangerfield would have felt safer with the footy in his hands. But
I think Blitzavs might have felt a bit safer with it in Dangerfield's hands too.
Just the desperation to try and come up with the go-ahead winner, and it was a bit of chaos in the end from the Cats, as maybe everyone tried to be the hero a bit.
Well, that happens. That happens. We saw the Giants have that moment late where they kicked out from Whitfield to Hogan in the back pocket, but all the other numbers were on the open side. Hogan had to get rid of it because he was called to play on after a certain amount of time. Kicked 2 extra numbers for the Cats. Myers had it, and he was the one you wanted to have, and he just chose the wrong option back into the pocket, and that snuffed out another chance. So players are under pressure. It doesn't matter how many games you've played or how many premierships you won. The pressure of the moment can still get to a lot of these guys out there. Plus fatigue, clearly late in the game, absolutely. But just the pressure, and do you have to do it? Get the ball and you bang it back in rather than try and spot a ball up someone who's sitting there 20 metres away all by themselves. And they're the moments, they're the decisions that make or break teams and can make or break the seasons. I don't think these two teams have to worry about that in the end result. They'll both play finals in my view, but it's a cutthroat game. And when you cough up decisions like that and you make errors, and Kez will know this as well as anyone, you make those errors late and you don't win. They live with, they haunt you for weeks. They do. They do. They haunt
Don't take
you.
that, Kez.
No, I'm not saying Kez has done that. As a teammate of players that have made blues in the past, Kez never did. 3-time All-Australian.
I went 100% down here one day, if you remember.
I do remember that.
There you go. Yeah. It's a big win for the Giants, though. 5-4 moves them back inside the top 8. They were slipping outside with a big win for the Bombers over Sydney. Geelong are now 5-4. So the chance for the Cats to very much stay in touch with the top 4 sort of slips away, and they're in that sort of 5th to 8th bracket. And the Giants, it felt like they needed that. They needed a win, and they're playing at their home away from home. They've won their last 5 matches here at Kardinia Park, and as they make their way into their change rooms, winners by 4 points. Lauren Borden's there to greet them.
Oh, absolutely. What a win it was. And it's quite cosy, the away rooms here at Geelong. I haven't actually been to these away rooms, the new ones, since they've redone it because of the strength of Geelong at Kardinia Park, except when the Giants come to town. So they've all made their way in here. And there's quite a few friends and family in Orange. There weren't that many in the crowd that we could pick out, but it feels like they've all come down here, and those who could get a spot in these change rooms. It's quite tight.
Hey, Loz, I reckon there's about 3 players who are still out enjoying the moment.
There we go. Okay, I'm trying to look over a couple of people in front of me.
So Ango's still out here getting photos. He's taking a selfie at the moment. Joey Delana doing the same. Jesse Hogan was still signing autographs, and they're saying, hurry up, come in.
I can see that now. You mentioned it. They're all looking towards the door, kind of wondering where everyone is. Toby Green's got his hand on his hips. Jesse Hogan's finally made his way in. I don't think he was too late, one of the strugglers.
So they're the 2 guys who should be in the middle of the circle for their first win, and they're holding up everyone as they're acting like rock stars getting photos. Now I think they're aware of it.
They haven't had too many people ask for their autographs, so I think they're pretty excited.
They are up and about, the boys, aren't they? Good on them.
I think they're coming your way now, Loz.
Oh, good on them. Why not? Soak it up and enjoy it.
Listen,
shake all the hands of everyone in Orange while you're out there.
Listen to the boys when they see them come in.
Here they are. heads of everyone in the middle of the circle and each other. It doesn't matter who it is getting a huge hug after that win, and you can see how much it means. I wish you could have seen, or our listeners could have seen, the sports drink that was thrown up into the air right at the very start of that song. There were about 25 bottles and just a mixture of colours going up as they celebrated that win. But all the players just hugging each other and soaking this one in at the moment.
Good on you, Loz. The type of passion you want to bottle as the Giants win by 4 points here at Kardinia Park, their 5th consecutive win at the venue.
That was sung with a lot of feeling, wasn't it? As it should be after that win, to sort of resurrect their season in some ways, as it sort of reached a little bit of a fork in the road. That was passionate.
Yeah, I reckon the players themselves could probably feel that might kickstart their year from here on out. They've had a rough couple of weeks. They know that they've been close, but not close enough, and tonight they were good enough to get over the line. Their next 4, they've got Freo, Carlton, Richmond, Port Adelaide. So it's a spicy run, but if they get on a run and play like they did today, they could really put themselves back in the hunt and feel really good about themselves.
They do have 2 of them back in Sydney. So Freo and Richmond are back in the Sydney Showgrounds, having only featured at home on 3 occasions in the first 9 rounds.
You could easily bank those 4.
Yeah. And that would get them all of a sudden to 9-4.
Yep.
And that would be right up at the pointy end.
Then they've got the Lions and the Suns into the bye. So good run for the Giants.
Yeah, they could easily bank those 4 and put themselves in contention. And on the back of that performance, they could grow enormously.
And all of a sudden, if they've banked those 4 getting into Sydney to Brisbane and the Suns, they'll be right in those matches, is what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't go as far as to say favourites, but they'll be right in them, won't they?
I saw we matched them with the Brisbane Lions last year in the final system. Didn't quite go to plan. But they were certainly able to match it. So if they are getting to that point, they'll be more than comfortable taking on that level of opposition, you would think.
In Hobart, it's the Brisbane Lions 6-5-41 to North Melbourne 4-2-26. We'll take you there for some of our audience in around 10 minutes' time. A little longer than that, 15 minutes' time, but we will bring you some reaction from the Giants' rooms. Earlier it was Richmond who prevailed by 2 points over the West Coast Eagles. We spoke about the opportunities lost for Mark Blitzhouse, for Sean Manor. What about the opportunities taken for Jesse Hogan to boot? 7 goals won. Yeah, as Ben May mentioned, just 2 goals behind Ben King, despite only having played the 6 games so far this season. I mean, the Coleman medalist is certainly making a statement at his 3rd club.
Yeah, and you mentioned before, Benny, that the story of Jesse Hogan and how heartwarming it is to see a player who's at the top of his game as a kid, didn't quite go to plan, went to the bottom of the barrel, not quite sure what his future looked like. He ends up at the Giants as his 3rd club, and he's making such a great fist of it. Coleman medalist now, and who knows, might go back to back with another one this year. It's just such a good story of resilience and persistence and support. And you can never tell that story enough about people believing in you and people supporting you through your tough times. And Jesse Hogan's the shining example of that for the competition. Or one of the shining examples. There's a few of them. He's been brilliant.
I said it during the game as well. It's a great story that it's never too late to become what you might have been.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he's become. We all expected him to be this player. He just took the scenic route to get there, didn't he? There were a few twists and turns. And like all of a sudden, I looked down today and it sort of crept up on me a little bit, because we know he was prolific early at Melbourne, but he's now played his 171st game today and he's kicked nearly 380 goals. So he's going to go past 400. He might well get up well over 500, and in the end he's had a very, very good AFL career.
No, you can't argue with that if he gets to that point. I mean, even to this point, you win a Coleman medal, you've had a great career.
Yeah.
And to survive the journey he's survived and then be able to impact at his 3rd club, it's a great story. Just you tell your kids about, it's never over. You just say it's never too late to be what you want to be or what you thought you might be. Just keep pushing. Just keep going.
He booted 2 final quarter goals. Jesse Hogan in his 7 goals. Jake Ruccardi was the other one who's had an interesting sort of career in and out of the side. He's played his 74th game this afternoon. There was a period where he was sort of popular amongst the Giants forwards. Then he got squeezed out for Aaron Cadman. Could he be used as a second ruck role? It was versatility at ground level as he hit the ground and curled it on his left boot to kick what would prove to be the winner.
It just seemed like today he bobbed up in the moment exactly when and where he was needed. And, throughout the afternoon we talked about some of the marks that he was able to take and his sticky mitts, and it was just so important. He finished with 17 touches. He had 8 kicks and 9 handballs and kicked a really crucial goal that he picked up off his bootlaces and swung on his left foot. So, yeah, look, if he can have that sort of form and play that backup sort of ruck role and have a real impact around the ground like what he did today, he doesn't need 20 touches to have a huge impact. But he was outstanding today.
He's another one out of the formerly Mickey Barlow coached Werribee Bees that have really excelled at AFL level. So Riccardi's one of them. Closey up at the Gold Coast Suns is another. Sean Manor is obviously one as well.
Riley Bice?
Riley Bice was the year after Mickey was there, but did come through Werribee after playing for Albury in the O&M League in one of the grand finals we did. But, yeah, they've pumped out a lot recently, Werribee, haven't they? And he's one of them.
Well, there's this. I've been on about this for years, and you'll get sick of hearing it from me. There's enough good players in the state leagues, given an opportunity and a time in the game and pre-season preparation, full-time system to become really good AFL players. We're seeing that.
Yeah.
The Giants winners by 4 points. Let's head back down to their rooms with Lauren Borden.
Oh, it's absolutely mayhem down here, Clinchy. I've got Jake Riccardi with me. The floor is just drenched in sports drink. Take me into that song. There was plenty of feeling in it, Jake.
There was, and I think for a few reasons. Obviously, we had the celebration of Joey Delana and Cody Anglo getting their first wins. And then also, we've had 3 losses in a row now, so we're probably due. And for some reason, we come down to the Cattery and it just all seems to work out. So Kingers was good throughout the week. He didn't stress too much because he was like, we seem to win down there, so let's see what happens. And it's exactly what happened. So, yeah, there was a lot of passion late and on to better things now for the rest of the year, hopefully.
I like that approach. Was it as relaxed as that? Just, it's all right going there? Because some people do fear coming out to the Cattery and it's got this aura around it, but not for you. That's 5 in a row now.
Yeah. Oh, look, I don't know what it is about it. I think, I think 3 years ago when we won the game here and we weren't going so well, and, this wasn't even a really good team, but we just had a mentality to crack in and bring our best pressure, and I think that just kind of brings a bit of a theme for every time we come down here. And you know what, when you have the confidence like we did tonight, based off previous results, that just gives us a little bit of help. But yeah, it still is. It's the hardest ground in footy because it's so different dimension and the crowd. But yeah, it's absolutely worth it when you get a win down here, no doubt.
The crowd is one of the big things. Does it make it more satisfying when there's not a lot of orange out there in the crowd? You don't hear a lot when you kick a goal. Is it more satisfying that you get one against the home side that, it's 95% of their fans are here cheering on the Cats?
Yeah, it is. And I feel like that's almost a theme for us every week. We are a small club and we're going to travel and we're going to play against big opposition. So we have to learn to embrace the silence that we bring to the crowd. And yeah, we've got to really thrive off it because obviously we're a small team with a big heart and we've got to go travel and do these things. So we've got to make sure that we're at our best and really embrace that, like I said.
Jake, I'll send you upstairs now for some more questions from Karen Peterson and Daniel Harford.
Jake, it's Karen Peterson up here. Congratulations on the win and on your performance. We were just up here discussing your impact around the ground and just seemed to have sticky mitts today. Is that something that you've gone to work on and I suppose that second ruck role that you've got as well?
No, absolutely. I think you nailed it. I reckon last year, because I played the same role last year, second ruck forward, and I probably didn't treat it with the respect that it deserved. I more saw it as get in there for 5-6 minutes and just chop out the ruckman. Whereas now I see it as, you've got 5-6 minutes to go absolutely as hard as you can, and then you'll get a rest after to work around the ground and really bring what I can bring to the table with work rate and skills. So I think the mindset shift was the biggest thing, and I think that's what's held me in good stead to really attack that second ruck role.
I wasn't sure if you were going to say it was the glove that helped you with your sticky mitts tonight.
I'm not going to say that because we know there's been some controversy with gloves.
Yep.
No. It actually, to be honest, it made it harder. So that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, well played.
Yeah.
Just one more from me. You've got a big guy called Jesse Hogan up forward who just goes back and casually kicks 7 goals. What's it like playing with a guy like that in the form that he's in?
Yeah, honestly. I didn't even know he kicked 7. I thought he kicked 4 or 5. There you go. But yeah, honestly, the thing with Hogs is you can just kick it on his head, kick it into him 2-on-1, kick it to him poorly, kick it to him well, and he'll mark it. I could go back through the last 8 weeks of last year, the amount of times we were just sending dump kicks forward to absolutely no hope areas, and he would just find a way to mark it, and that's what made us a good team. And I feel like when you're forward like he's kicking goals, everyone thinks other things go well and you just get on the end of it. But Jesse Hogan is the complete opposite of that. He earns every single goal that he kicks because every single mark that he takes is as hard as you'll see. So he deserves it. He's had a lot of resilience in his life and career, and he deserves every bit that comes his way from now on.
Yeah, well said, Jake. It's a great story. It's Daniel Harford, mate. Well done to you and the boys. I am interested in how the forward dynamic works with you and Jesse and Aaron Cadman. 3 big guys up there that are really athletic, like to create your own space at times. How much work do you have to put in to make that cohesive?
Yeah, I think the main part of the whole work rate of that is probably the study side of the game and the vision side, as opposed to actually being out on the track.
because we play a style where we try and give each other space, you're probably not going to be around each other as much as you think. We try and give each other, plenty of space, at least 50 metres away from each other at all times. So that then creates your one-on-one looks and your space to work into. So I feel like the only times we ever have trouble is when we collide with each other. So I feel like that makes it really easy, and Kingers was really good at that early day, just preaching that, give each other space and everything will work out, and then we see the results of it, and you do. So that's just our biggest thing.
Yeah, well, it certainly worked tonight really well. And I'm interested just overall as a broader topic of the year for the Giants. You come into this season after some disappointment last year, but everyone expecting you to be really top 4 team, really aggressive, really hard to beat every week. You lose 3 in a row. Does the weight of that start to affect you, or is it just another week at the office you've just got to find a way through?
Look, to be honest, I think because we've been in these positions before, I think the past 2-year seasons we've had these rolls of games where we've lost 2 or 3, maybe even 4 in a row, and we've come out and won and have some really good footy on the back of that. I think that's almost what's held us in good stead for times like these. I reckon 2 years ago we might have thought, geez, where are we at? But I think now, like I said, you build confidence off what you've done before. And I think because we've been in these positions before, we almost go, you know what, it'll be okay, just play our system, play your role, and it'll take care of itself. Yep. And, if we had lost tonight, I wouldn't be saying that. We're thinking shit, but, we'll have so it all works out.
We love it. Jake Riccardi chatting to us here on ABC Sport. Jake, we thought it was ironic in some ways that a Riccardi kicked a winning goal down here at Kardinia Park. No relation, correct me if I've got that wrong, but how often were you confused, given the sort of similarities with the hairdo, to Peter Riccardi's son? How often has that been confused for you?
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a real 25-year process with me. It's just, everyone asks me, are you Peter Riccardi? Are you related? And I just say no. And then Stephen Canelio asked me throughout the week, he goes, mate, are you related to Peter Riccardi? And I said, no, I'm not. And he goes, no, you're lying. You got to ask your mum about something, because something dodgy's gone on there, because we do look the same. But yeah, it is funny, and it is good playing down at Geelong. Maybe the Riccardi last name holds me in good stead. So.
No doubt. So, all there is to finish on is just talk us through the winning goal from your point of view.
Yeah, honestly, I knew the pack was forming, so I was just out the back, and I knew that no one was going to mark it. So as soon as it spilled, I was ready to react. There was a few boys there for a handball option. I said, no, this is my time, I think. And I just ran over, put it over the shoulder, and I can't even remember, to be honest. I remember seeing Harvey Thomas and nearly bowling him over, and that was about it. But honestly, it was a nice feeling, and I'm really glad we got the win, because we deserve a win after a couple of hard weeks.
What a cracking game of footy. Thanks so much for your time, Jake. Enjoy the trip home, and good luck against the Dockers next week.
No, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Jake Riccardi joining us on ABC Sport after the Giants win by 4 points over the Cats. It's had a bit of everything in it, didn't it?
My word, it did. It was great. It was
very
great
entertaining.
Really good chat, yeah.
Guess they're the type of chats you have when you're a winner, as opposed to in the Geelong rooms where the mood would be a little bit different. So we're still going to get the votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year. Oh, good hand.
3-time All-Australian.
Oh, I came prepared. That's okay.
3-time All-Australian. I've got mine if you want them, but it's fine.
Okay, Brisbane.
See if we can meet in the middle. What do you reckon?
I reckon you might nail this, kids.
Brisbane 6-9-45 lead North Melbourne 4-3-27. The votes from Kieran Peterson in the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Well, I could have thrown a blanket over those that probably deserve one vote out of that, but I've got to give one vote to Bailey Smith from the losing team, unfortunately, tonight. That team and the way that they played wouldn't have lost any fans, and Bailey Smith was the one who really led the way for them. 34 touches, he had 10 tackles, 8 marks. The only thing he really didn't do was hit the scoreboard tonight, but I thought he was outstanding. I thought he provided a lot of run and carry and the drive for the Cats off the half-back line in particular, and certainly went to work in the middle of the ground as well. I've given 2 votes to Jesse Hogan, and I do apologise, Jesse, because when he kicks 7, you really do deserve three. But a couple of his goals were a little bit out the back, so I have given him...
Joe the Goose.
Little Joe the Goose. I've given him...
Brutal.
He still gets 2 votes. What I really enjoyed about his work tonight was that even when he was out of position, he managed to find his way to make the contest and keep his feet and keep it going. He had 22 disposals. He kicked 7 goals, 1, so he's incredibly accurate in front of goal as well. But
doesn't sound like it.
Only 2 and 7, not very good.
Hang on.
Not good enough.
Hang on. 10 contested possessions is not bad for a full forward as well. Give me a second. And 3 votes goes to Tom Green. I thought he was absolutely outstanding tonight, particularly when the heat was on early in that first half. He had 37 disposals. He had 18 kicks. He had kicked that unbelievable goal from the pocket in front of where the open the grandstand opening is, and we know over there that there's a really tremendous breeze that comes through and really affects the kick. So I thought that was an incredible goal. He had 17 contested possessions and really was the driver for the Giants around the midfield. And got them going from there. So 1 vote Bailey Smith, 2 votes Jesse Hogan, and 3 votes to Tom Green.
Karen Peterson with her votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year after the Giants' 4-point win over the Cats. We touched on it a few times, the Geelong mood in the change rooms after a couple of opportunities. Sean Manor couldn't capitalise out on the full. Mark Blitzhouse from 35, 40 metres out directly in front, missed into the left goalpost. What did Geelong take out of this afternoon?
Oh, they took out that they were able to wrestle the game back a couple of times. I mean, the blitz from the Giants early in the game, 4 of the first 5, they were able to get the game back on terms really well, so they readjusted their style. So that's a tick, being able to maintain momentum or get back momentum after being caught up in an onslaught. And then it was just about trying to find a way past. So I think there's enough for the Cats to take out of this away from the 4 points. I mean, they lose by 3 points last week. Sorry, they won by 3 points last week. They lose by 18 points the week before. They win by 4 points here, and the week before that was the Hawks by 7 points. So they've been in really tight games in the last month of footy, and they're 2-2. So I reckon Chris Scott would have liked that to have been 3-1. Perfect world's 4-0, of course. But I reckon they found a way, or they know they can get the game back on terms when it goes against them. And that's, as you go deeper into a season, particularly a finals game, when it's not quite going your way. If you've been, a bit like Jack Riccardi was saying, if you've been to that circus before and you know how to deal with it, it does give you great confidence for down the line. They don't get anything out of it today, and they walk away with 0 points, but they do know that in time they do have the capacity as a team and certainly individuals to get the game on terms when it's not going your way. And that's a great art in modern footy, I reckon.
The Cats beat 14 goals, 17 to the Giants, 16-9. Tyson Stengel was probably the biggest culprit with 2 goals, 4. But, I mean, it was a game that had it all, didn't it? I mean, the pressure was outstanding, the scoring prowess from both sides. I mean, I feel like we'll see them again in September, everything going well.
Got a feeling you might be right. 31 shots to 25. But it's where you get them, how you get them, what you're under. And I thought the Giants got better looks all day. And whilst they didn't have as many opportunities inside 50s or scoring shots, they still did get the better looks the way they moved the ball.
Thank you very much, Harv. Thank you, Kez, for coming down the highway to Geelong. Thanks to Ben, thanks to Lauren, to Lee, who's done a big shift at the back of the box, and to Adam Jones back at base. A Mother's Day classic here at Cardinia Park as the Giants make it 5 consecutive wins here at the Cats' home. They win by 4 points, 16-9, 105 to Geelong, 14-17, 101 in front of 28,407 fans. It was Jesse Hogan who booted 7 goals, but it was the 3 votes that went to Tom Green in his 100th game in the ABC Footballer of the Year. For Fun Matter listeners, we head to Hobart. Chris Rowbottom, Michael Maney, Nathan Burke and Mick Moldhouse. It's the Kangas and the Brisbane Lions. Good night from Geelong.
Pressure, won't get